Okie dokie dokie. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of Wick TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Today, we are going to be talking about edgy jokes, dehumanization, and whether or not influencers, public figures, etc., on our side, the anti-Trump side, have a responsibility to behave well in public settings. As most of you are aware, after the Texas floods, Destiny put out a tweet saying the following: "I heard God killed those kids because they were using NordVPN promo code Destiny to get around the Texas porn ban." This is not the first time Destiny is engaged in such dark humor. Asmongold recently made a comment that he thinks such statements and jokes are counterproductive and work against his goals. So we're going to talk about it today. Is this humor a good way to expose Republican hypocrisy and raise awareness of issues? Or is it undermining the work of opposing Trump? How dark woke, quote unquote, should we go? Does when they go low, we go lower help us or hurt us? And we've got quite the cast to talk about it, including the man himself. We're just going to go around, quick opening thoughts, and then we'll get into the meat of it. We're going to start with Counterpoints. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's not about dark, edgy jokes in particular. Obviously, we all like a good fucked up joke every now and then. That's not the problem. The problem is what is gained and what is lost. Also, the hybridization of alt media and mainstream media. That's the real question here. Just as an example, I did get it confirmed that roughly billions of dollars were spent on advertising in the 2024 election, and roughly $100 million got spent on newspaper ads by the Democratic Party in 2024. Democrats are scared of alternative media. The reason why they're scared of alternative media is because we have people like Vosh jerking off to kitty horse porn. We have people like Hassan, hanging out with terrorists. And we got Destiny talking about dead kids in Texas and how they deserve to die because they were jerking off to, porn with using a VPN. So this is the kind of shit that is going to push normies away. It's going to push the mainstream away. It's going to push those dollars away. And so as a result, it's not whether or not you can make fucked up jokes. I don't give a shit about that. What I give a shit about is we got real work to do.
Okay. Destiny, answer for your crimes.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much of a downside unless you let there be a downside. I think that conservatives are allowed to have humor. I thought comedy was legal again. And I think that the big issue with Democrats being scared of alternative media is that they're scared of like any environment that they don't have like optimal control over. And I think they dramatically overestimate how much the public gives a fuck about edgy jokes. I think it has less to do with edgy jokes and more to do with who has the power in the situation. And so if you have the power, it's unironically like what conservatives used to say: find out who you can't make fun of, and then you'll find out who controls you. And for a lot of things, yeah, conservatives can just make the most insane jokes ever and be fine. And Democrats have to be like tiptoeing around every single topic. I think it's funny to make jokes, and we should keep making jokes. Fuck them.
Okay, we're going to talk about it, I'm sure. Not so erudite. Kyla, please.
Yeah, so I wanted to have this conversation because I care about real political outcomes. I think if we claim to be evidence-based, left-leaning commentators who want to fight misinfo and push for positive change, we need to be honest about what works. So it's fine for advocacy to reflect our personalities, but if we just do something because it feels good, it's probably important that we don't confuse that with what's effective. And what I would argue for is we don't have to be maximally effective at all times, right? I would never advocate for that necessarily. But the evidence typically shows, whether it's psychological theory or basic behavioral science, that shame and being super nasty typically is a bad motivator for change, particularly for people who view you as the outgroup. And so in my mind, if the goal is to move people and actually shifts hearts and minds, we need to make sure that we're being mindful of like how we're coming across, right? If we want to claim moral superiority, well, then we can't be doing things that make us look morally more questionable. If we think that scorching or going scorched earth and dunking leads to progress, we should probably stop kidding ourselves. It probably doesn't. And I think one of the things that I think is Stephen's strength specifically is his ability to kind of be that token liberal in conservative spaces. I think he's been effective at being like that one liberal where they go, this guy's pretty reasonable, which essentially introduces a fundamental binary paradigm shift for a lot of people listening. And I think that that's really important to do. And my suspicion is that this type of joke, while I don't really care about edgy jokes in and of themselves, my suspicion is that essentially this joke was more offensive than it was funny, and you lost a whole bunch of social capital with people that I think you could be more effective if you maintain that social capital with. I have a feeling that my criticisms of Soy Pill and Steven will be somewhat different. So right now I'm angling them more at Steven, but I'm sure as we talk, there'll be stuff that is more directed at Soy Pill. So yeah.
Oh, we'll get to Soy Pill in a second. Soy Pill, speaking of the devil, go ahead. Answer for your crimes.
So I thought Destiny's joke was pretty funny, but somehow the right wing was able to capitalize this and shift the conversation from horrible policy by Ted Cruz and the right wing got a bunch of people killed to, oh, some guy was mean. So we're letting the right wing drive this outrage machine. They don't fucking care. Marjorie Taylor Greene can call us all pedophiles. She doesn't get repercussions. The only reason we're allowed to do it now is because they're blocking the Epstein file release. But vibes do matter. And look at the vibe conversation. Like, Kamala didn't lose because she was too mean. She lost because she didn't go on these podcasts where she could be more authentic. Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Nelk Boys, and they tell Holocaust jokes, rape jokes, like all sorts of wild shit. Like, it's this idea that, oh, well, you're not authentic enough, but also you have to be prim and proper and perfect because if you don't, like, you're not cool. I'm not arguing for there to be no policing. We can call it illegal things like calls to violence, sex crimes, but why waste our time complaining about optics to some arbitrary amount of voters who care about optics over policy? I'm willing to change my mind. I don't know, Kyla, you might have this. If you can show me some data that says, oh, voters left the Democrats because of crass humor and meanness, but I've heard far more people say they leave the left because they're policing too much and telling white men to sit down and be quiet. So I say, let the white boys have their summer. Stop wasting energy clutching your pearls at fucking nothing. Save it for educating people on policy that actually matters. We tried to go high. When they go low, we lost 2 elections doing it. They're going to find outrage regardless. It's a waste of time.
Okay, and with that, let's open the floor. Go ahead, gang.
So actually, let's go ahead and you tell me, number one, which part is funny. I'll tell you which part is funny to me, and then also tell me where we're talking about Ted Cruz's policy, because that's part of your rebuttal, is that there's this 3,000 IQ appeal to hypocrisy understanding baked into the tweet. So let's see if we can find that through some literary analysis. So I heard God killed those kids, okay, because they were using NordVPN. I'm not done yet. Oh, you think that's funny?
No. Do you want me to tell you why I think the joke is funny?
In a second. So they were using NordVPN promo code Destiny. Hold on, real quick. I just want to explain the promo code. As much as I hated this fucking joke and it pissed me off, promo code VPN was fucking hysterical. Like, objectively,
that's the part I thought was funny.
That's the funniest part of the fucking joke, right?
Okay.
All right. Now, to get around the Texas porn ban, gross. The girls who got killed were 8 years old to 13 years old. Okay. Now, where is the appeal to hypocrisy amongst conservatives, and where's the explanation of, like, Republicans canceling funding for ARP for doing the siren in this area?
Well, so you're attacking 2 different arguments in the same breath. One of them, you're saying that somehow edgy jokes must also be calling out hypocrisy. I don't think that's necessary.
That's the steam of the position that DGG is doing 100%.
Well, I'm not DGG. If you want to talk to DGG, talk to them. I'm talking no, I'm saying that edgy jokes are fine, and we should also be calling out hypocrisy from the Republicans. You don't need to do these things in the same breath. But second of all, if anything, if I'm not mistaken, did Destiny not go on Piers Morgan and then defend attack the hypocrisy to like a whole crowd of millions of people? Like, that is a conversation starter, as much as you might not like it.
So Stephen, that's an important question. Did you think that you were going to become is this an avant-garde marketing strategy? Did you think you were going to get an invite from Piers Morgan? You're like, I'm going to tweet out about dead kids jerking off to porn, and this is 100% going to result in people inviting me onto their shows?
Possibly. I would just like to clarify one part of the joke, though. You said that it was gross that they were underage and it was a porn joke. Well, that was why God was punishing them. If they were adults that were using NordVPN to watch porn, then God wouldn't punish them. So it wouldn't make any sense, would it?
No, God would still punish them.
Number one. Number two. Wait, real quick. To answer the question, because did I know I could find it? I don't know. Maybe not. I generally, at this point, when it comes to edgy humor conservatives, I don't necessarily make these jokes with like some huge grand master plan in mind. I just think liberals need to be way less fucking soy about making fun of conservatives for retarded shit. They've like moved the window of acceptable behavior so unbelievably far in one direction that at this point, I refuse to be policed by say actual subhuman degenerate filth about what we can or can't joke about when they make the most unhinged degenerate jokes ever. And I have seen absolutely zero evidence whatsoever that this go low, go high, whatever bullshit has ever worked ever for liberals. It seems like all of the most popular moments have usually been when they're kind of roasting the other side a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. And it feels like liberals are the ones that have the most negative reactions there. So.
Is that why Beto O'Rourke won in Texas? Was because he was being so hardcore when he said that I'm going to take away your AR-15s? Was he giga chatting in that moment? Was that a popular take that he had?
I don't know, but the most popular take I remember Beto O'Rourke having about weapons was when he said something about like "fuck your AR-15s." There was a big deal.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So obviously, you can be giga chat about good things, and you can be giga chat about bad things, and you can get punished for being giga chat about bad things, and rewarded for being giga chat about good things. Right? This stands to reason.
I guess. I don't know. That wasn't really a joke he was making, though. He was just saying a swear word. No.
Yeah, but you made correct me if I'm wrong, but you made the argument that the time that Democrats have most succeeded is when they haven't been soy, when they haven't been milquetoast, and they've stand on business. Well, I feel like
I'm just saying, I don't know if they've ever gotten credit. I don't think they've ever gotten credit ever for being like kind and nice to conservative stuff. I just don't know.
I don't think we're asking you to be kind or nice. I think you could have been incredibly
No, not about me. I'm just saying that in general to in general on the Democrat side, this like call to being kind and compassionate and empathetic and understanding. I just don't know if like Democrats have ever gotten credit ever on that.
I wanted to give.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody calls you pussies.
Yeah, yes. I want to give Kyla a chance to get in. She was trying to get in earlier. Go ahead. Please.
Yeah, sure. I just want to make sure to reframe this because even Soy Pill's opening made it seem like this is about edgy jokes, which is understandable because I think for Wick it's about edgy jokes. I'm not totally sure. I just want to be very clear. I don't give a fuck about edgy jokes. I don't give a single rip. You make as many edgy jokes as you want to. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. What I care about here fundamentally is our predisposition in how we are willing to talk to the opposing side. And I think that that is something that is decaying, not just amongst leftists, which had never existed, but I'm seeing it decay within liberals. And I think that that is harmful to our cause, right? So in the case of like Steven's edgy joke, okay, well, yeah, unfortunately, it was way more offensive than it was funny. It was a little fancy, it was a lot offensive, and it was made more offensive by the timing. So it flopped to even the point that the left didn't like it, right? But again, I don't really care. I'm not interested in just policing people's edgy joke. What I'm interested in is thinking about how we talk to and engage with one another. For example, Soy Pill, the way that you talk to Tally on that panel, I think is part of the problem. I don't think that this is how you are ontologically all the time, but I think this idea where we talk to people of opposite ideas, we go as aggressive as possible, and we try to tear down not just like who they are, but their humanity. I mean, some of the statements that I quoted from you saying, I think were like pretty shitty, right? It's not just about you're being a little bit mean. It's this entire orientation which says if we want democracy to work, we have to be able to talk to the other side. And while I'll be the first to say that I think the right is full of crazy people and assholes, they're crazy people and assholes that we have to be able to talk to and convince to our side. And I'm not seeing that like the smug nastiness or scorched earth policy that I would criticize Stephen of with, say, like maybe a Tectone or an Asmongold is going to be effective for polaring particularly moderates and undecided towards our position.
Yeah,
wait, real quick, just as a real quick thing on that. Isn't that exactly what Trump did with the entire tech bro movement, though? Like, didn't he pull in a bunch of people, like record high Hispanic voters, record high tech bro people, Elon Musk, like with the most divisive and vitriolic and toxic rhetoric ever? Didn't he pull in a ton of women?
Yeah, sure, but people are stupid.
But
hold on. I want to back up.
Let Kyla finish, please. Let Kyla finish.
The issue is you would have to submit to me evidence that it was him being a fucking asshole versus Kamala, A, getting switched last minute so they didn't even know who they were voting for, and B, on top of that, her entire mantra was essentially, let's keep things the same when people desperately wanted change. So maybe it was
Kyla, the point isn't that it's attracting voters necessarily. It's the point is that it's clearly not alienating all these moderates, that they're still voting for him in these record high numbers. Like this isn't some poison that's going to destroy the Democratic Party and their chances of winning.
Yeah, but Tally is the person that's winnable. I watched the Tally Bots Lib and Learn Bully session.
Tally is stupid, and I don't care.
That doesn't matter. By the way,
nice to her is going to win her over. We should be educating her on policy. That's a completely different conversation.
Soy Pill, regardless of whether or not you question Tally's individual intelligence, democracy is about appealing to stupid people.
Right. And there's
I don't know if you knew that. So hold on.
No, I'm not done. You don't know my position.
Hey, let Counterpoints finish his point, then you can respond.
Let him strawman me for 5 minutes, and then I can give my real position.
No. I'll take about 1 minute. And on top of that, I'll be very precise with my language, which doesn't have anything about your character involved in it, okay? What's funny is Tally is in a red state, but she's a blue person. She did not think that her vote really mattered, and what she wanted was to do a protest vote, effectively saying the Democrats are not catering to me as a part of the base, and I am your natural supporter. And your guys' reaction to that so far hasn't been, damn, we lost kind of like a progressive, liberal, Jewish girl. What are we doing that's so off-putting? Your entire perspective has been struggle sessioning her and calling her a fucking idiot, which, by the way, other moderates are going to see, and they're going to be like, well, fuck you too.
I called her a retard, for to be clear. And second of all, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be advocating for educating people on what policy affects them and how they should be voting differently. But clearly, if this person is so adverse to learning about the consequences of policy that whoever was mean to her last, or whatever kind of perception she has of which party is nicer or less adverse, like that's what she votes on, why would I waste time on this person who's hold on, let me finish. I let you finish your stupid thing. No, so when she is on a platform and the topic is, hey, Tolly, what do Democrats need to do? That's when I'm going to come at you. For like, my channel is about reaching out to Trump supporters, which is a very different thing. I understand the point of compassion, the point of letting them speak, and understanding why they voted so we can change them. But when these pundits are out here saying the dumbest shit ever, displaying their lack of intelligence, I'm going to come up and I'm going to be mean to them, because that's my authentic feeling, is that they're fucking retarded. They need to shut the fuck up. That's a very different conversation than trying to convince a swath of people to come over. And these things can be done in parallel.
Okay, so I want to acknowledge what Wick said, which is effectively that she was in an overwhelming blue state, so she didn't think that her vote was going to matter. So it was the opposite of what I said, but the point still stands. All right, so here's my fucking frustration with this, okay? So I get exactly what you said, and on top of that, plurality of tactics, all right? So if Steven wants to be fucking edgy, you want to have debates, and then you want to be nice to some people but mean to some people, I totally understand a plurality of tactics, okay? But what I'm saying is there's something so fundamentally obvious that should be acknowledged by every single fucking Democrat and isn't, which is effectively on October 7th, 2023, you had tons of progressives, not just leftists, saying prison, so what was Hamas supposed to do? While there's people getting raped and murdered on Twitter, and then a bunch of Jews go, oh shit, my progressive coalition, my multi-ethnic, multi-religious coalition actually views me as subhuman and laughs when fucking my people get murdered. What the fuck?
Yeah,
and they got so turned off, they moved away from the Democrats.
The issue here isn't about edgy jokes. The issue is that legitimately a lot of people on the left supported Hamas terrorist attacking Israel. I think that was the issue.
Well, no shit. That's why I brought it up in my intro.
Yeah, but my intro, I said no calls to violence, dude.
This isn't an issue of like edgy humor. This is an issue of like really incompatible policy positions, I think. I think the issue when it comes to this like weird like joke or rhetoric policing is you've got like, I don't know enough about Talia, but was that her name? Talia? Tali, yeah. Tali. Okay. So I'm not saying she's an extremist or whatever, just because I just don't know her positions. But it feels like when talking about her, it's the equivalent of like Soy Pilled, or the Soy Pill over here is like somebody who speeds occasionally in his car, and Tali is like kind of sort of wanting to support the mob. And then, you know, we've got the Soy Pill speeding in his car, and we're like, well, she's just not going to side with you if you're a criminal. And it's like, okay, I just don't think speeding is that big of a deal. It's not really about the speeding. It's the fact that how are you aligned with the mob and complaining about one side speeding? That just doesn't make any sense to me. That's soy as fuck, not in the Soy Pill way, but like in an actual.
Yeah, hold on, stop. We have to stop framing this as an edgy joke issue. Maybe that's Connor's issue. I don't know. And this isn't even a moral issue to me, to be super frank. What I'm talking about is effectiveness. I do not think that super divisiveness is what is effective. I don't think it's what's been effective for Trump at all in any way, because he lost in 2016 despite getting smeared aggressively by the Democrats. He still won, had a weak presidency, and then Joe Biden won because everyone was sick of how divisive he was. And then he won again, but again, in large part because
I think Biden won because of COVID. I think COVID fucked the whole world up and everybody was mad, but it's like Trump literally tried to steal the presidency and like didn't lose as bad as anywhere as he should have, and then he won again. And Trump is like probably the most divisive president or person period that I've seen in, I don't know, my lifetime. So it just seems like the divisiveness is not a thing that scares people away from your movement. I just don't know where that idea comes from, because especially if you look at the big group of people that vote for him, white people, like what's the reason they cite the most for wanting to be with Trump? It's like wokeness, which seems to play right into divisive and edgy jokes.
Well, actually, part of the issue is wokeness is something that you guys don't really do. Maybe Soy is leaning into it. I'm not really sure. Wokeness is generally this like PR policy of canceling and like purifying people out of our group to say that they're not good enough. That's calling everyone a racist and all these sorts of things. It's a thing that got you banned off of Twitch, right? And it's a thing that if Soy Pill went on TikTok for 1 second, it would get banned him off of because he uses edgy jokes too, right? So wokeness is incredibly divisive and it is driving people away because people fucking hate it. And so when I'm talking about being mean, I'm not saying don't be mean. That's never been my position. I'm clearly mean to people all the time. What I'm saying is we have to be mean effectively. And I don't think scorched earth is effective policy. In the case of your joke, it was funny. And I bet you if you gave it 2 weeks to breathe, it might have actually landed super well. Unfortunately, it didn't because the offensive level was higher than the funniness, probably because of the immediacy of the event happening. Unfortunately, right? I'm not saying don't make those jokes.
That analysis can't ever be applied to anything for conservatives, though. Why do we have
I don't
two
give a
forms
fuck
of
about
analysis?
conservatives winning. I don't care about them winning.
You should care about them because you're saying you care about political effectiveness. They just won both halves of Congress. They controlled the Supreme Court, and they won the presidency even with a popular vote. So clearly, what they're doing is effective. So I don't know how we can say, well, I don't care what the conservatives do. I just want to be effective.
But is what's effective
bullshit about
calling
your
people
point.
rats? Is that what's effective?
I think that's what
Well, and
literally
also,
what people like about him. If
Steven,
you
this
ask
point is
people what do they
bullshit.
like about Trump, they don't say the policy. They don't know any of Trump's policies. They don't say.
Well,
They just say,
hold on.
I think he
This is
tells it
total
like it is.
bullshit,
Meaning
and
he
I'm
makes
not
fun
going
of
to let it
people.
slide. But I'm calling bullshit right now, okay? So number one, I've had DGG in my fucking comments for the past fucking week because I've effectively had my milquetoast criticism of the fucking take or whatever. And what they've all said is like, well, look at how mean Tectone was. And look how mean and stupid Asmongold is. And look how mean and stupid Donut Operator was in reference to the Palisades fire. And so I go and check the fucking tweets and they go, fuck you, Biden. So where's the direct analog to this specific behavior where you're making fun of fucking dead people?
Where, first of all, it wasn't just fuck you, Biden. One was a fuck you to a request for FEMA funds, I think. Another one was blaming Biden and calling him old and decrepit for not, for he didn't go to either Texas or California or something. Another one was like making fun of LGBT people and DEI. Is it the exact equivalent? No, but it's like insanely tasteless. What is the...
Is that equivalent to mocking the dead? I don't give a fuck about mocking the dead. I'll make fun of the dead right now. I'm talking about other people who care about that shit.
An equivalent to mocking the dead. An equivalent to mocking the dead would be all of the Democrats, or not the Democrats. It would be Tim Pool and others who are making fun of the one dude on the street in New York that got stabbed to death in front of his girlfriend. Who are like, this is exactly the kind of thing that these guys vote for. Or the go-to example is
it when they're all burning.
Hold on, this isn't about being equivocal. This isn't about being equivocal. This isn't about being equivocal.
This is bullshit.
No,
I'm not going to let it
we have
slide.
to have a higher standard. We already hold ourselves to a higher standard than Republicans. They have no morals. Have you not read Lauren Southern's book? You have people unironically taking money to peddle false information. It's only the right that has done bad things. But the issue is
you guys are missing the
or
point.
is it political effectiveness? Which one is it then? Those are two different things.
Hold on,
well,
and
you're
before we
saying
move on,
that we
I
should
want
do
to
whatever
issue
the
a
Republicans
challenge.
do because they're already doing bad stuff. And I am saying, I don't know if these are the standards that we want to hold ourselves to. For example, if it is, why don't you just spread a bunch of misinfo and start paying for bot farms? That would be way more effective.
The question is whether we want political effectiveness or moral standards. I think there's a different morality about making fun of people versus like lying about stuff. I would argue that these are two different things. But the question is just, are we talking about political effectiveness or are we talking about like having some go high when they go low road moral standard thing?
I want to make one point and I want to challenge the audience, okay? Because what I'm hearing is turnabout is fair play. And so what I'm looking about is turnabout. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So if you want to come up with other egregious behaviors that the right wing is engaged in, I'm going to agree with you. I endlessly bitch about the $9 billion rescission package that's projected to kill 14 million people. Trust me, I care way more about that than I care about Steven's fucked up joke, okay? However,
moral
that being said, if you're going to say, I'm not done yet, Erudite,
I'm sorry, you're yapping.
I'm not done yet, Erudite, thank you. I'm not done yet, Kyla, thank you.
Okay,
I'm not done yet,
let Counterpoints finish. Hold on, let Counterpoints
finish.
Thank you. Land your plane, sir.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Anyways, so I challenge you. Send it to my DMs. Send it to my email. Show me where these alt media pundits have been shitting on the dead people in the Palisades fires. Okay. Send it to me, please.
Kyla, now it's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I shouldn't go aggro on Connor. He's my debate partner. So
Okay.
the issue for me is that moral standards can be part of a political effectiveness, particularly if they're your espoused moral standards, right? The left typically has stood on some level of moral standards. We think that we're better. We're not trying to steal elections. We're not trying to spread misinformation. We're not trying to take away people's rights. That's the standards that we stand upon, which is why it would be really ineffective advocacy if we say all these things and then there's evidence that we're doing the opposite. This is why MAGA is in an absolute blowout right now, because one of the standards that they cared about was like truth and justice, particularly around the Epstein files. And Trump is completely caving to that. And it is causing a massive Republican fallout. There is massive schism going on as a result of them not standing up to some of their standards. Now, I agree that the Republican standards of being a pundit is not the standards that I want the left to have. But that's because I think the left is right. I think reality leans left, and there are certain standards that I don't want to fall to. And one of the standards, for example, here is one that I actually don't think Republicans fail very hard, which is how we talk to people who we disagree with. Typically, when I go into Republican spaces, they're going to say a bunch of stupid information and they're going to spread misinfo, and at worst, they'll be bad faith. However, if I go into leftist spaces, as you personally know, Stephen, as Soy Pill, I literally just go on TikTok once and debate people, and I'm sure you'll experience it. The leftists are fucking deranged. They're super nasty. They try to destroy your career, and they morally condemn you along lines and values that you hold, like not being a racist. And so we keep losing in these ways because in part, we allowed the leftists to set the tone of what the left looks like, which we should have never agreed to at
Kyla,
all.
can I interrupt you?
But
'Cause
in
you've
converse,
made
no, you don't get
two
to interrupt me.
completely
No, one second.
incongruent arguments right
Let
now.
her finish and then
in
go on.
converse, yeah, it's a two-parted argument. Sorry, Soy Pill, if that's hard for you to keep up on. Okay.
We can do one at a time.
The second part is how we engage with those who are opposite. Some of the most, I will just say this, at the TPUSA event, every single conservative that came up was super excited to see Destiny. They're like, he's so good. He's so smart. But man, I wish you wouldn't make fun of dead kids. And all through the canvassing events, do you know how many people came up to me who were conservatives who were polled because of your red pill arc, where to this day Myron Gaines respects you because even though you disagreed with him the entire time, and even though you were harsh on it, you were not nasty and you didn't go scorched earth, or you didn't do this like smug condescending shit that like leftists and I think Soy Pill think is based. That was effective. It just was effective. And I think that there is mounds of evidence to support that.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm just turning off my
two
camera.
things.
Let's go Soy Pill and Soy Pill, and then
two things. One, and on one side of your mouth, you're saying, "Hey, the left is losing because we're policing and we're woke and we're calling people racist and we have these standards and it's driving people away," which is what is happening when people are complaining about Destiny's joke. Oh, you can't do that. That's crossing a line. And this is exactly what I'm talking about in the beginning when I said there's an authenticity problem where people look at like a Dean Withers and a Harry Sisson, and you just saw him maybe on the Adam Friedland show. He wouldn't say retarded because he's like, I can't do that. That's my democratic, handlers won't let me say the nasty words. And that's why no one fucking likes them, because they're lame and manufactured. Meanwhile, you've got all these people that Trump, went on their podcast and he appeared authentic to. And that's the reason why people say they like Trump, is the being authentic and saying what you feel. And you can say, oh, I don't want to go down to that standard. But in the same breath, you're saying, well, we shouldn't steal elections. We shouldn't spread misinfo. Obviously. But that is not what is happening right now. What's happening is people are policing jokes because, oh, they're too edgy and you're too mean. And when you say there's a way, hold on. No, hold on. I'm sorry. I thought we weren't interrupting, Kyla.
You have to actually engage with my arguments.
Well,
I don't know how many times I have to tell you it's not about edgy jokes. And if you keep citing that,
interrupt me before I can finish my sentence.
If you keep strawmanning me, I'm going to interrupt you to correct your perception of my argument, because you have to talk to me.
I know
and
you
stop
think
saying
I'm criticizing
jokes.
you.
And stop saying jokes, because that's not what I'm saying.
Why are we here, Kyla? Was it not because of an edgy joke?
I literally said at the very beginning that that might be Wick's issue, and that is, but that isn't my issue. And then I gave an entire argument.
I'll say it's my issue.
Okay, it's counter. Okay, so you I guess shouldn't be here for the topic of the joke thing. You should be here for the how do we talk to people. And obviously,
in fact, I think I texted Wick and I said
it's all connected. Let me explain this. It's all connected. These jokes is how we treat people. They feel that you're laughing, but it's true, right? If someone is making a joke, right, about something that someone deeply cares about, and they get deeply offended, this will drive them to act against our interests, right? So why do this? What upside, what gain is there? So her take, Eerodite's take on political effectiveness is tied into the topic as a whole. That's why she's here. Anyway, continue.
Right. And I'm
I
saying
will-
that edgy jokes are
By
part
the
of
way,
an authenticity.
fucking weak
that
shit to have to appeal to the name of the debate so
I'm
that you
not
can get a
calling
fucking
you.
sick
I'm not
dunk.
saying you're
You
losing.
said,
I'm
"Why
not
are
trying
you
to dunk on you,
here?"
Kyla.
Which is so
no,
fucking
oh my
annoying.
God.
I
Kyla, please. We're friends.
even
I'm not
naughty
actually trying
jokes
to
aren't
dunk
my
on you for that.
problem.
I'm just like,
It's
obviously, we're talking
dehumanizing and
about
being
something else.
nasty. Then talk to me.
Okay, so I'm talking to you. So yes, the dehumanizing, nasty, edgy jokes are part of an authenticity that you can see in places that appeal to young voters that are swinging away from the uptight policing Democrats that you are calling a problem, and I agree is a problem. The over-policing, the wokeness, the left stuff. And just to be clear, I don't think that just dunking and saying, oh, you're racist, you're stupid, is like, oh, it's based, we should always do that. The reason I did that to Tali is not because I think that's how you should talk to all Trump supporters. It's when they speak on an authority where they're saying, well, we know what we should do. This is very different from understanding how you can win people over. And this idea that like, well, I have to be infinitely curious about why Tali, this fucking moron, decided to vote for Trump despite being gay, being Jewish, and having all of these things on her. But she doesn't have to be at all curious about why I might call her out about that, why she should vote for a Democrat, is insane. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And we should be spending it educating people like that on policy and how it's going to affect them, because that's the only way you're actually going to have political effectiveness, not policing jokes. I think it's a waste of time.
Okay.
Sure. So the first thing that you pointed to, was a dialectic, right? You said on one side of your mouth, you're saying that we should stop like canceling people out. And on the other side, you're now essentially policing me for how mean I'm being. I'm talking about a dialectic here. I'm talking about the intolerance of tolerance, right? In the case of purity woke scolding, I think it's bad because I think it derails from the actual ideas. I think it typically targets people that it shouldn't be targeting because it's endlessly looking for new targets. And I think it kicks out people that we align with fundamentally. I am not sitting here and saying you're not left or you're ontologically evil for these things. I'm saying you're ineffective and it's betraying our own moral standards that I think we have erected and I think we should stand to, which is that we want to engage with each other and we want to be able to talk to the opposing side. I think
these
that
things
that's our
aren't mutually
value.
exclusive. That's what I'm saying. And also, can you please, like, because I don't have data on this, and this isn't me like calling you out, could you show me where there's this like swath of voters that are turned off by this and didn't vote because of it, versus, which I think there's probably more data for, who is saying, well, I'm looking for an authentic Democratic Party, which I think edgy jokes like this, as much as you might say, hey, they're ineffective, I think they're much more effective.
Never said edgy jokes are ineffective.
Let's give it to
whatever
I'm
way
sorry,
you want to
if you want to
describe
talk,
it.
no. Well, if you want to talk to me, just ask me my opinion, right?
Can
What
you
I
give
would
me
say is,
when I repeat this,
yeah,
so I don't
dropping
say it wrong.
retard. Well, it's not just don't say it wrong. It's understand my position.
Right.
That's what I'm asking you to do.
You say political effectiveness. This joke itself was offensive. What about it was not politically effective? And then I will use that language every time I reference it. I'm not trying to strawman you. I'm literally just trying to repeat what you said. Sorry.
I'll tell you, talking about prepubescent kids jerking off, that's probably the least politically effective aspect of the joke.
Wouldn't it be schlicking in this case because they're mostly girls?
So to be clear, there's not going to be political data that you're asking for. In large part, I think Blue Rose openly, actually, David Shore talked to me about this, and I asked him why he didn't include like wokeness as a reason why people voted. And he was like, well, our list of 40 things was just kind of arbitrary fundamentally. And he agreed probably it actually should have been included. It would have been interested to know. So I don't have this data to give you, or people like, well, man, Destiny was really mean this one day to me, so that's why I voted for Trump, right? Mm-hmm. What I do have is psychological theory, right, about how people work. And what we're talking about here when we're talking about changing minds is we're talking about changing fundamentals or deep things to people's worldviews. And these are really, really hard things to change, as anyone in psychology can tell you. And what I'm saying is that while edgy jokes can be useful because it code switches to young people that you're chill, that you don't give a fuck about the PC shit, and you can make a joke and roll with it, the problem is that when you're smug, condescending, and nasty all the time, what it does is it doesn't code switch to anyone. Typically, people don't like condescension at all. In fact, that's why I think on your panel, people were more mad at you than Sansal, who was saying put Republicans in gulags, which is way more extreme than anything you were saying. It's because you're being smug the whole time. So it rubs people worse. And in general, shaming people for deep intrinsic beliefs doesn't cause people to change. In fact, there's a dearth of data there's a large amount of data that shows it causes people typically to become defensive and move more towards their original position.
Okay, so my position is not we should be shaming people in mass to change their votes. So I mean,
after
if you
you're done, we're going to give
my
it
position. We can do that too.
Yeah. Okay. Counterpoints.
Yeah.
Please.
So I actually. I don't want to be exclusively in political commentary for the next 20 years, okay? And I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera while I talk just because my toddler is refusing to leave the room. So anyways, The point being that I am about political efficacy insofar as we're trying to figure out how to combine alt media and normal media. Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out how to do. We're also trying to figure out how to get mainstream politics to talk to alt media political people. Okay, and what's happening is we're talking about this fucked up joke, and I am here to police the jokes a little bit, and I'm bringing it up. And Steven's probably the most successful person here. And he's like, lol, wouldn't it specifically be female style of masturbation? And I'm telling you, that's the exact kind of fucking thing. It's funny. I'm not going to say it's not funny, but that's the exact kind of thing that if I try to book with a mainstream person and I say, oh, hey, I have this guy. He's huge in alt media. He's got tens of thousands of listeners. He's got millions of post-recorded views. He wants to canvas. He wants to be active. Can we do an interview together? And then if somebody takes that clip and they blow it up, they're going to be like, isn't that the guy who talks about like prepubescent female masturbation? And they're going to say no. So you're right. I do want to police your jokes a little bit.
Yeah, but like, what's the problem? Wait. What's the worst part? What's the worst part that would make me unbookable? Do you know what it is?
Well, I would say probably your abrasive personality and sex dramas.
No, I would say it's the fact that I'm on the left. You don't have to go to abrasive personality and sex dramas. Andrew Tate was like the leading red pillar for 2 years, and the conservatives.
That's actually a half decent point.
And so, he was invited into the White House, by the way. And that's not stopping any of these people from getting invited on shows. If anything, the problem you're describing, Connor, is that the left needs to be less uptight about who they invite on shows, which, by the way, they're pivoting to. I don't know if you've heard like the Washington Post story from today, but they are realizing that, like disowning people over policing for this kind of stuff is a waste of time and it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the big issue is that, like, you keep saying like people don't like condescension, or people love condescension. They just like it when it's on their side. People absolutely do. You can see 1 billion people looking at Trump and everybody else being condescending as fuck to their political adversaries. People like it. They just don't like when it's directed at them.
Side. It bolsters your own side, but that's not effective in pulling the opposite side, which is what
politics isn't won by polling the opposite side. The goal shouldn't be how do I appeal to my diametrically opposed political enemies at all points in time. At some point, you have to have
the moderates. It should be
how about appealing to our own side of people that like can go out and vote. How about appealing to like your own party members that are like, these are Democrats and feel demotivated as fuck and don't like to actually go out and do anything because our whole party is just living constantly in the criticism of conservatives who have never in their lives considered criticism from the left.
Stephen, part of why you're effective is because you can do both. And what I'm saying to you
I'm not a politician, so there's like a double. It's careful. I'm not trying to get elected, so there's like a different type of thing that I'm going for. I'm just saying, like,
rally behind politicians, and that's going to get you're very effective at getting people politically active. What I'm saying here is that, like, I guess to Soy Pill, right? I understand that your position is not to be mean people to get them to change their votes. Got it. My criticism to you on the Tally thing specifically is that when you're mean to Tally and when you talk about her in such a smug, condescending, and disregarding way, you're signaling to her and everyone like her that basically you look down at them as subhumans. None of those people.
Hold on. I never used the word subhuman, but I do look down on them, and I'm going to be very explicit in public about that. And I think that anger is the same thing that a lot of people who are disaffected on the left, who feel like they don't have people who will go out and say what people like, the same people that say, oh, Trump says it like it is. There's a swath of leftists that are like, why are these Democrats being so fucking nice to these people that are killing my family, who are stripping their rights away? And I'm like, hey, dipshit, you should not be the authority here. That's very different from reaching out to specific voters. And if people clip that, whatever, but we tried being perfect for 2 fucking elections, and they're going to clip everything from the perfect party of the most. Wait, hold on, let me finish. These smug liberals who are going high get clipped.
We've never gone high.
Things.
No, stop this. Never gone high. The Democrat Party has never gone high.
Of course we've gone high.
We've never gone high. Nice enough in the Clinton era. Oh, oops.
Hold on. My only question to you is the Tally conversation is it effective? That's all I'm asking.
Wait, can we real quick? What happened in this? Wait, real quick.
No, he's got to answer
this question. Tally conversation.
I'm saying no. It was not effective.
Wait, what happened? What was
TLDR
conversation?
A TLDR.
Can we summarize it? Yeah.
Sure. I had Stardust and Short Fatted Taku or Dev on my show to talk about did Democrats and Tally. It's a Wick and Tally show. I co-host a show with her every week, and so our guests were Stardust and Dev, and the subject was, did Democrats contribute to the rise of MAGA and how? And we talked about that. Soy Pill ranted and raved in chat and started DMing me saying he wanted on. And so about an hour in, I let him on, and he started going after Tally and calling, like, why are you even here?
I went after
why
Tally.
are you on this
Tally
show? Etc.
Tally Tully voted for Trump and was speaking as some sort of like, what should the Democrats be doing moving forward, when she does not give a shit about policy, which she admitted multiple times, raised her hand to say she was a vibes-based voter, like when questioned about specific things like January 6th, which she acknowledged is bad and knew all the details of before voting, still did not care. So it's like, why waste any time, one, listening to this person for advice, and two, not shaming this person out of the fucking space for having absolutely nothing to contribute and admittedly being retarded. That's very different.
But you already acknowledged. It's not that different because Tally's
100% different.
It's much close. Tally is a voter and she's basically
one voter. I will shout out.
Tally, if you think that Tally is like distinctly more stupid than the average voter, I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't say that. I said that she's a pundit, which is different from talking to someone that I'm trying to convince. She's barely a pundit. She doesn't even have. She's in a public space, and I'm yelling at her for that, Kyla. So if I'm talking to Matt Walsh, do I have to be nice to him so that I can convince the Republicans?
I think Tally's like Matt Walsh.
There's some people that deserve scorched earth. The issue is you already said it's not effective. My question is,
I said that conversation was not an effective one, no.
So why are you defending it?
Because it's an actual authentic expression of my anger at someone stupid being used as a position of authority. And I think it's fine to do that every once in a while. It's not some
I agree. I actually agree with
poison.
you. I agree, which is why I said in my opening statement, I don't expect you to be perfect in your advocacy. But if all you have is conservative fatigue and that's why you're taking it out on them, again, it's fine. But what I'm talking about
that's not all I have.
Efficacy.
Okay.
Wait, I'm just curious. Wait, on the Telly thing, would it be more effective to spend an hour roasting the fuck out of her and getting a bunch of other people to laugh at her, or would it be more effective to spend an hour trying to convert her to vote differently when she probably won't? I feel like you just make fun of these people.
She definitely will vote differently, is my suspicion.
She said she wouldn't. She literally said, I actually don't know if I'd vote for a Democrat. After 3 different shows, your show, Live and Learn, and our panel.
At this point,
yes, because you spent the whole time calling her retarded.
Of course. She's literally gone on a circus chase of every liberal getting in their list on stupid. Nice. Yes.
Did it work?
I was nice.
Did you
You're
change
right.
her?
I was nice.
Did it work?
Yeah, when 4 out of 5 people are bullying the fuck out of you and one person is nice, why would you be like, oh yeah, it turns out everybody in this tribe is great. Soy Pill, fuck this. I've been waiting for 10 goddamn minutes listening to you fucking rant. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. I'm talking. I don't want to hear.
My whole point is there are other people like
no, Eerodite, still talking. White man, sit down, listen. Jesus Christ. So anyways, the whole fucking point of this is that you were like, Democrats were so nice over the past fucking 10 years. Where the fuck was that? What the fuck are you talking about? The whole goddamn reaction of the right wing has been to snide, smug, far left dickbags running fucking media for a decade, running social media for a fucking decade. That's why Elon bought Twitter. Not just that, but in 2016, I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but I wasn't going to vote for Hillary Clinton either because jihadist terrorist attacks were happening every other goddamn month. And the Democrats were talking about bringing in 250,000 new fucking refugees. Not just that, but in 2020, no, I'm not done yet. Thank you. I listened to you for 5 minutes. You can listen to me for fucking 3.5. So the other thing is in fucking 2020, we had the goddamn summer of love where basically like, not only did we have the COVID lockdown bullshit, but we also had BLM going on and people saying fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. Do you know how oftentimes I see that bullshit where Democrats, regardless of all the fucked up shit of Trump, again, I can list all the fucked up parts of Trump better than you can. Summer of Love, Chaz Chop, sweeping for jihadists, sweeping for BLM is still brought up, and that's not good behavior.
Yeah, none of that is anything we're talking about regarding mean comments. If you want to talk
yes, it is. You said that you were on your best behavior for a decade and it didn't work. Don't gaslight me in real time, you fuck.
Why is saying fiery but mostly
you were on your best behavior for 10 years and everything I listed was your best behavior?
Calm down.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Don't tell me that you're fucking lying to me. Don't lie to me.
Okay, fiery but mostly peaceful. That's Democrats being mean?
It's Democrats sweeping for the BLM riots of 2020. It's bad
behavior.
behavior.
Is that what we're talking about? In the entirety of all we have the fiery but mostly peaceful from the one CNN Chiron or whatever, the Chiron, that one thing compared to
let Destiny go,
you guys let me back, but hold on, just to be clear, we're comparing that to the entire subhuman conservative apparatus claiming that Haitians in the United States were eating cats and dogs, and that message got repeated by the president of the United States of America on a debate, and then it was repeated by the vice president, J.D. Vance, and he said, I knew it was a fucking lie, but it gets people talking. And now you want to hold us to some standard of, well, remember when that one CNN during the BLM riots had the thing in the background? It's like, fuck that bullshit. Make fun of dead kids and fuck all of it. It's fucking retarded. The standards are so insane.
Wait, the argument doesn't need to be that Dems were holy and perfect and that Republicans are bad. Republicans are way worse than the Dems have ever been. It's just annoying when you guys are being like, the Dems have always played it high. 2016, Hillary was not playing it high. It was absolutely
name one not
dirty
high comment that she said? What was dirty?
Wait,
she said
like
basket of deplorables, right? And they're still holding that over. Like that's
just the
that's the
entire
worst thing you
campaign
can
was
point to.
smearing
I just want to
the
be clear.
entire campaign was smearing him.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. It's not just about the.
Hold
on.
All of the news, the news.
Hold on.
Okay, wait.
Reporting accurately is smearing. That's your problem.
Wait.
That's Trump's problem.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
This is
a mistake. Soy Pill, you're making a mistake. Soy Pill, you're making a mistake. It's not just about what the politicians say. It's what about your side says. It's what's about your culture says. And you would have to have not lived through that time if you thought the Democrats, I'm talking about the people, I'm talking the rank and file, treated Republicans or even moderates well. A lot of people disowned their families, right, during that time because they thought they might be voting for Trump, right? They literally won't talk to their families. They literally excise people from their friend groups. It was a huge issue, and it turned off a lot of fucking people.
I don't disagree with this, but the problem is I guess we're going to keep conflating these different parts of what is being mean, right? But this whole strategy.
Is that not being mean?
Hold on. No, excising your family, by the way, is a very mature thing to do if there's crossing a line that you think they shouldn't cross. And I've done it before. And that's very different from, hey, you're a fucking idiot. No one should talk to you. You don't know how to vote, which I agree turned some people off in 2016. I know a lot of people who were turned off from the Dems by that. But when I'm talking about they go high, we go high, they go low, that is a very different strategy. That is, hey, these people are smearing and calling names and like dehumanizing, and we're not going to do that. That is what the Dems have been doing up until about like the weird comments from, or maybe like Joe Biden saying,
relevant point, so I went next.
Will you shut up? You know, this is what we're talking about. And then, yeah, you can talk about the populists. Obviously, they're going to be way more, edgy than the politicians, but the politicians of the right are going low every single time, and it is not hurting them.
Okay, I have a relevant point. I want to make it before anybody else fucking gets in. Don't piss on my leg and fucking tell me it's raining, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse specifically. I already know that this is a perfect point about Democrats misbehaving very badly in reference to this because Steven recognizes this point. All the progressives, all the fucking libs, and the mainstream media establishment, and the president of the United States himself ran with the narrative that a 16-year-old kid grabbed an assault rifle and committed a mass shooting against BLM fucking protesters and killed 3 black people in Kenosha, Wisconsin. But as soon as you watch the fucking video, it's obviously not true. Now,
Connor, I don't disagree with you.
I'm not done.
Can I back you up? Wait, but I can back you up. Here, let me back you up.
No, let him finish, please.
The reason why I respected Steven so much was because he was willing to pursue truth, political side. I actually stopped respecting Vosh as much because he went exclusively with what was convenient to his political side. So if you guys start engaging in that behavior, I will lose respect for you.
What did Biden say? Didn't Biden say that he would respect the court's decision on the Rittenhouse case?
Yeah, he did. He also retweeted out a video calling him a white supremacist mass shooter.
So, hold on, wait. It was like it was implied with the way that the compilation video, but like the fact that you just said that is crazy to me.
Do you think that it matters that the president of the United States calls you a white supremacist mass shooter? Obviously, it does.
I think that if you're going to obsess over a single video that was made, that he retweeted on his account, and you're going to claim that like, oh my God, this was so horrible, and ignore the 50 trillion insane things that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the leader of MAGA and the Republican Party, says daily, that's a standard that we're never going to win, which is why we just make fun of dead kids and everything else. Because you were never going to appeal to people like you. It'll never work. You'll always be able to find. You'll always be able to find one person. You'll always be able to find one bad person on Twitter, one bad lawmaker, whatever, one bad person that says anything. And then meanwhile, Republicans are like rapid firing out the most insane things ever. You want to talk about Rittenhouse? What about George Floyd?
Okay, Steven, you've gotten lazy in your argumentation. I'm not that guy. I talk about George Floyd. I'm not talking about you.
This isn't about you.
90% of my time.
This isn't about you. I spend
90% of my time criticizing the fucking right because they've lost their fucking mind.
This isn't about you. This isn't about you. Huh? This is about the electorate.
Yeah, it's about you.
No, it's not about me. It's about the electorate. I thought we were having a conversation about the electorate.
No, it's about you.
What is it about me? I'm voting probably for them no matter what.
Engaged in bad behavior that I think is ineffective and counterproductive, and I don't like it. That's why I'm talking to you.
And I'm saying
the conversation is about the tallies.
It seems to be that everybody on the Republican side can be the most degenerate fucking people they want, and they don't. It doesn't seem to be
giving them that permission or license.
But it works.
No, it doesn't. It's destroying the fucking country.
It works for their party. It works for them to win elections.
So then why don't we just start doing misinfo? Why don't we just start doing misinfo?
Because I think misinfo is bad.
Yeah, so is like treating other people like they're subhuman. I didn't say edgy jokes, you stupid motherfucker.
Being condescending to somebody is not a morally horrible thing to do. It's just
nobody
rude.
Fucking said it was, Steven.
Then why do you compare that to lying?
Because I'm talking about efficacy.
We're not talking about efficacy to forsake morality. We're talking the difference between being condescending or telling mean jokes is different than lying.
I thought is that we can actually talk to the other side and engage with them and not go scorched earth all the time. I thought bipartisanship was some of the value. Yes, they are more deplorable in every single way. I will just grant this to you every single time.
Kyla,
but what I'm talking about, don't fucking interrupt me, is Connor and Tallies, who are people who don't like the right. They think it's despicable. Maybe not Tally. Let's just say Connor, who are informed, are looking at the left's behavior and also find it deplorable. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, can't we just tweak that? We are already good at policy.
You abandon.
We're already good at policy.
Because of that, he's
you abandon those people because they're not worth appealing to. You're better off energizing your own side. If somebody can sit in an area where they look at one guy and they see him rape 500 people, and then they look over there like, well, that guy he made some rude comments about some woman's bra or whatever. So I think these two things, I'm really undecided. You never even waste time with that person. You just try to you energize your own side, or maybe you find people who are genuinely, legitimately in the middle. But if there are people, like I said, I haven't seen the Tally stuff, but if this is somebody who's legitimately undecided about both sides, this person's fucking retarded. You don't waste your time on that person. Why would you take
I'm telling you, the average moderate is fucking retarded. I'm telling you that the average moderate is that most voters
clip it and the Democrats will never win because you just said that. We're done. Why'd you say it?
Actually, I disagree. I believe that democracy works with retards. I actually think that it does. I think it's baked into the system to assume that people are fucking stupid. Okay,
I also agree.
Great.
But you're saying on one side, Steven, I love that you can go out and be this person who reaches out to people. However, because you made this edgy joke or because you cross a line sometimes, that's like poison to the thing. And it's like, wait, hold on. You're quoting people at events that say they like him, they're Republican, they're conservatives, and they still show up despite not liking the thing that he said. Clearly, it's not the delineating factor.
You guys because they would ever side with him in any political agreement ever.
If you guys agree with me, then why? Well, he's walking away now. Why is Steven right now saying, don't reach the retards, abandon them? It sounds like you guys disagree with each other as well. I'm saying we have to reach the retards. Yes, the extremists will never reach. I'm not talking about the embedded MAGAs who will never move. I'm not talking about those people.
By the way, I think Steven just got tired.
No, so clearly, Kyla, I'm not saying don't reach out to people who are retarded because I do think most people are stupid and we do need to appeal to stupid people. What I'm saying is we are not going to waste energy policing our own side saying, hey, there's some unambiguous, we can't really tell you how many people this is.
How am I even policing our own side? I'm not trying to cancel. I'm not saying that you guys are bad, that nobody should support you. I'm saying,
is that not policing?
I'm saying you would be more effective if we actually held to the standards that we say we care about. The right is fucked in large part because they've forgotten to have principles. They don't have them. They don't even begin to espouse them anymore.
They're in power right now.
They're getting fucked by the one principle that they held, which is around the Epstein files. It's fucking them over. When you hold standards for yourself and then you fail the standards, the people notice. The problem the Democrats had is multifaceted. Number one, we pretended to have moral standards that we never gave a fuck about. To the progressives. And number two is that the standards that we do have, which are good democratic standards, we are not always upholding to. We need to be more clear about when we're upholding to them. There are some people that we need to go scorched earth over, but I am telling you, Tectones and Asmongold's don't need scorched earth, and neither do Tallies. Those are not the people. The Matt Walshes, go fucking off.
Winning
don't
some
care.
people over by being uptight like we were for 20 years. I don't see this happening.
Soy Pill, there's literally people in my comment section who stay. I would like to interject. Thank you.
Sure.
So there are people who come into my comment section and they say, oh, I really liked Steven until X. And you know what X normally is? It's either the past fucking week with the dead girls or it's Corey Compatore.
Yep.
It's the fucking firefighter. What's that?
Are they saying they're going to vote Trump now?
You guys claim God guided that bullet, okay? So I'm just laughing at it.
Well, and by the way, actually, hold on. This brings up a previous point. So you were saying that like, oh, it's just jokes. It's just jokes. And actually, that Soy Pill's probably brought it up more than anybody else, saying like, oh, you're trying to police our jokes. You're trying to police our jokes. Excuse me, correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the malice that most people are identifying, is the fact that you and I both genuinely believe that MAGA is a quasi-fascist movement that doesn't care about the rule of law, the Republic of the United States, or its people, correct?
Yes.
And that's why you don't care that Corey Compatore or whatever his name is wittingly or unwittingly, he's effectively supporting fascism.
Who's this person? I don't know this person.
It's the firefighter who got shot at Trump's rally.
The Trump rally in Butler.
I care that a person died. I care that right now when Medicaid gets shut down, the red states are going to be hurting the most. It's a little bit like, well, you voted for this, but like I care that people are
Steven,
dying.
do you
obviously.
care that
But
Corey Compatore died?
I think you can joke about it.
No.
Corey, do you care? Or Steven, do you care that Corey died?
Well, I mean, it's bad when people die, but I'm not
Do you think it's funny?
spill any milk over it. I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you can make a joke about it, and it could be absolutely funny, 100%. Yeah.
So why can't we
Okay,
make a joke about
what
the
I'm pointing out
October
is that
7th
there is an
stuff? Hold on,
underlying
stop,
malice
please.
that you are
Counterpoints.
denying.
Counterpoints. Why can't we make a joke about the October 7th stuff then? That's funny.
Do it.
What's that? Make a joke about what?
it.
The October 7th stuff, right? When Hamas came in, cut all those Jews. It's funny, right?
Yeah, you
Can we
can.
make jokes?
I just expect people to be fucking pissed off about it and stop supporting you politically.
What was the God? Do you think someone here is going to say we can't joke about Jews?
Well, no.
No.
Wait, hold on. Soy, do you think we can make jokes about October 7th? Are you okay with that?
I would never make a joke about a Jewish person. That's not my thing.
I make a Holocaust and October 7th jokes all the time. Of course, obviously.
Hold on. Do you think that the people making jokes about it on October 7th drew people to their side or pushed them away?
Yeah,
No.
Is there an undercurrent of malice? This is relevant. Is there an undercurrent of malice within the joke?
Yeah, it was the policy. It's not the fact that people like Hassan or whoever the fuck are making jokes about October 7th. It's the fact they actually legitimately 100% support Hamas. That's a big difference.
No shit. That's why people are pissed off, because they actually think that you don't give a fuck when conservatives die because they're the victims of their own policy.
Bullshit.
Yes.
God.
Me. That's literally
Destiny
the point.
Really
what the fuck are you talking
Destiny
about?
really thought that God smited those girls for masturbating with NordVPN? Seriously?
No, they think you just don't care about.
No, they think that you don't. You think that they think that you feel that
there's
Republicans
an
are
underlying malice that you legitimately do not give a fuck about these kids. And I'm pretty sure I heard that you don't give a fuck about these kids. I'm pretty sure you've said you don't give a fuck.
I'm just tired of the Martin Bailey. I'm just so tired of this Martin Bailey.
There is no Martin Bailey. No one
yes,
here
there is. You're doing it over and over again. I am saying being mean loses the middle, and then you guys go, so you just want us to be nice and not mean jokes.
Okay, wait.
No, but the way you're being mean in these specific instances is alienating people to your effect, like detriment of everything.
Not policing, by the way.
But the Republicans are mean and they won.
I am.
We don't even know if them being mean is what made them win, Stephen. What's more likely, Stephen? Do you think that Trump won because he was divisive and mean?
Yes,
or do you think he won because he had 8 years of campaigning, funding behind him, and Kamala had 3 fucking months?
What was the campaigning that he was doing? It was
being in the eye of the public.
And how was he in the eye of the public? Being mean and being divisive. That's literally all.
I don't think that a lot of people were like, yes, this is why I love him. The issue is that Kamala has
literally all say that. What do you mean?
Every single incumbent lost. Did every incumbent just lose because their alternative was just mean?
Kyla, have you been to like these Trump rallies where they're all like, God, I love how mean he is to Democrats. All these shirts are like, yeah, Trump that bitch.
Of course. And I've been to Democrat rallies where they also love how mean Dean Withers is to Republicans. Yes, partisan hacks love when you're mean to the opposing side. This is obviously fucking.
That's what we
I'm not talking about partisan hacks. You stupid Matt Bailey.
I would rather.
I am talking about the middle. I'm talking about the middle.
If you want to spend your time trying to convince those people who are undecided somehow still, then you can do that. It's just not a very efficient use of time. If you want to talk something from a moral perspective, that's fine, but it's not effective.
Who won in 2020? I can't remember. Who was it?
Biden did?
Wasn't Trump mean like the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, so why didn't he win?
Because COVID literally destroyed his entire fucking
right. So do you guys? Well, Soy Pill, you actually implied that the reason that he won this year in 2024.
No, I'm saying
Trump
being
because
mean
he was
doesn't
mean.
lose you.
That the moderate didn't care so much.
I'm saying, no, that is not the.
You have no evidence for that claim. You have no evidence for that claim.
What do you mean? He won.
He won it?
My point is, this is not a thing that's driving away so many people that it loses you elections. That's what I'm saying.
You have no idea.
The reason people win.
You have no idea if that's even true. You literally
He
said
won.
that
He's
Trump
mean
won
and he
because
won.
he was
That is
being
my
mean.
argument.
He was
He's
divisive
mean
and getting
he won.
Trump.
My argument is
He
that it
just
did not
said
make him lose.
Steven just said it. You don't get to run away from this. You guys literally said that him being mean and divisive got eyes on him, which was free campaign money, which is what got him to win, and that the moderate didn't mind it.
Okay,
right?
just to be
And in
clear,
fact, they enjoyed
there's
them being
multiple
mean to the
things
wokes.
happening, and it is a
So
very popular thing among his base. That does not mean it is
Oh.
the reason he won, and I'm not saying that. I don't think Steven's saying it either.
Like, here's
Okay,
a really
so
simple question.
stop.
Let's say that Trump
Here's what I'm
became more.
asking you.
Wait, if Trump
Don't
became
Mott
more
and
inclusive
Bailey
with his
me.
rhetoric,
That's
if
not a
Trump
Mott
became
and
more.
Bailey.
Wait,
You're
Let
just
It's a
Destiny
Mott and
go.
Bailey.
Hold on.
It is
Hold
a
on.
Mott and Bailey.
Hold on. Let Destiny go. Let
If
Destiny go.
Trump
I want to
became
hear
more
his question.
inclusive with his rhetoric, would he do better or worse?
I think hard to say. I think potentially better, probably better. Actually, I think the moderates would hate him a lot less. Doesn't he have like one of the lowest ratings of like?
He'd win by more
like-
if he did that. If he wasn't
people
such a
don't like
fucking
him.
He has low
divisive
ratings, but among
bitch,
Republicans,
he
he
would win by more.
massively high rating. He has a massively high rating.
Among partisan
Yeah,
hacks.
because
But
he's
I'm
a
interested.
hardcore
again,
fucking right
I'm
winger.
interested in the moderates, in like the 30%, right? So yeah, of course the Republicans like him because he's getting sick dunks on the left, and I think that that's shit. I think he would have way more popularity if he was less divisive and nasty.
And not just
Absolutely.
that, there's clear evidence for this.
Republican in the primary, do you think
hold
he
on,
should have done more?
I was talking. Thank you, appreciate you, love you, listen to you for 10 minutes. So we have all the fucking right-wing centrists or whatever, which, by the way, Steven, you said no centrists exist. It was me that you were describing that doesn't exist. But we have Konstantin Kisin. We got his fucking schlubby glasses fucking person. We have Lex Friedman. We have Joe Rogan. We have all these people
Richard
who were
Hanania.
left 5 years ago, including Andrew Schultz and everybody on his fucking podcast. And what did they do? They used Trump as a fucking Rorschach test. They read in what they wanted to see because the left fucking pissed them off while not paying attention to what Trump said at all. And then they voted fucking right in the last election. So
Why did the
pretending that
left piss
people
them
are
off and not the
unwinnable
right?
or that
Why
it
don't you guys
doesn't
don't ever
matter
answer
is
questions? You see,
bullshit.
yes, I understand you. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Why did the left
Bullshit.
piss them off and not the right?
What?
Why did the left piss them off, but the right didn't? When the right is so aggressive on
Because
all
they're
of these issues,
white men who
Because
want to
it's
tell
vi-
edgy jokes.
It's vibes.
About
It's all
minorities,
vibes.
but
They
not
hate
about
all
dead
these
kids.
left
They
PC
want to
vibes.
tell
White
edgy
men who want to
jokes?
tell edgy
That's
jokes
my
about
point.
minorities, not
Oh,
dead
it's almost like
kids.
nobody's
Yes.
arguing about edgy jokes. Soy Pill, congrats.
First of all, Connor
You've
clearly
arrived.
is, and
We're
he
an
just
hour in,
agreed-
but you
and he
finally
just
got
agreed
here.
with us that
accepted,
clearly
I've
this
accepted Soy Pill's
huge-
argument.
these
I'm
people-
trying to police his jokes.
Okay,
and
Counterpoints
Connor
is in
just
charge
admitted-
while I
hold
have
on.
to use the
Wait, oh my
restroom,
God.
so just
Yeah,
Counterpoints
Connor
in charge.
just admitted that these people who have these million like fucking people audiences who Kamala did not go on, and that is a big criticism of what she should have done, are people that want to be edgy, that want to be authentic, that don't want to be policed, and these people are now like young voters are swinging towards Trump. So somehow, how this is not a way that we should go. We should not be more like these podcast hosts who are like appealing to the everyman, the more authentic people. We shouldn't do that.
No,
Are you asking me
unironically,
or
what I'm
Connor?
saying
'Cause
is this
asking Connor,
specific
'cause he just
joke,
said that.
kind of like Kyla said, was more offensive than it was funny. So it was a bad joke. And by the way, actually, Steven made content about this where he's like, isn't Tectone the edgy guy? Isn't Asmongold the edgy guy? Don't they love shitting on Mexicans getting deported? Don't they love all this shit? Yeah, they do. They're fucking hypocrites. But just because they're hypocrites and they're stupid doesn't mean that you don't have to appeal to them.
but it does, because I can look at how do they grow their audiences. Who's the most popular political streamer in the world right now? It's Asmongold. Where are all of these like
people do
incredibly?
you think you gained by asking or making fun of like dead kids? How many people do you think you gained when you asked if a fucking father of a 12-year-old if his daughter had sex? How many people followed you off of that
How many
tweet?
people did Asmongold gain asking about fucking dressing up as a Pokemon trainer to go to fucking catch illegal immigrants, or laughing about fucking Alligator Alcatraz,
Because plenty
or
of
like
people hate Mexicans. Most people don't hate kids.
okay, so then the issue has nothing to do with, I guess, edgy jokes, whatever. It's just targeting it better, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
that would be my argument, is that edgy jokes are totally fine. In the case of these edgy jokes, your timing made them more offensive than they were funny. So you
Wait,
took it
then
out.
your issue is edgy jokes. You can't say I would
My
prefer an
issue is
edgy
not
joke at a
edgy
later
jokes.
point in time. That makes it
My
not an
issue
edgy
is
joke anymore. That's the whole
Nope.
point.
No,
Yes.
no, I think making
Yeah,
fun of dead
timing
kids
is
is
like-
always an edgy joke.
Okay, so then what? Then the time thing you just said was completely irrelevant. You just don't ever want people to make fun of dead
Nope.
kids.
I literally didn't say that. Do you want me to restate it?
You just
Yeah, I
said
restate it.
it was too close to the event, essentially. That's kind of what
So-
you're going for.
it made it probably more offensive to people. In the case of this edgy joke that he made, because it was so close to the event and it was quote tweeting people actively looking for the kids, people found it more offensive than they found it funny, which is why it didn't hit hard. I don't personally care either way. I do think it's ineffective in this case. I don't give a fuck.
I'll go ahead and stand on business that as a 40-year-old man, you shouldn't talk about 12-year-olds jerking off. That's my perspective.
Right.
I think that as a 36-year-old man, you probably should never talk about patients eating fucking dogs. You shouldn't talk about deporting people. You shouldn't laugh about people getting killed or denying FEMA funds or wildfires, whatever.
Steven, what are you interested in? Growing the biggest audience or being a politically effective pundit? Which one matters to you more?
It's a combination of the two.
Mutually exclusive.
Sure, but which one would you prioritize more?
I don't know at this point in time right now. But I mean, hold on. Are the most politically effective pundits the people that are like doing the inclusive to all people, or the people that are engaging in like the most derisive and the most like condescending rhetoric?
I don't think that Asmongold is engaging in the most derisive and condescending rhetoric. No, I think like the strongest that we have, he's just not. He's being nasty, but it's somewhere in between, right? Asmongold, for example, has some level of like being reasonable, being like, man, it's really shitty when conservatives do this stuff.
Did he not dress up like a Pokemon trainer to catch illegal immigrants? Is that not derisive?
Yeah, and then he made the Muslim jokes, and then he walked back the Muslim jokes because he pissed not even Muslim joke.
He does bad things.
He did the spicy fucking Muslim statement, and then he walked it back immediately because he knew he pissed off a bunch of people because he
didn't walk it back because he walked it back because he got banned for a week. That was a different.
Oh, bullshit. Some people actually have feelings, Steven. He can actually feel some level of contrition.
You think Asmongold feels bad about offending Palestinians?
Maybe.
No, I don't. I think Asmongold. Here, I'll be super straight. I think Asmongold cares about growing his audience. I think the most important thing to Asmongold is growing his audience fundamentally. However, some things I've noticed him say over and over and over again, for example, is he constantly tells his audience to not be racist. Now, I would put to him and say it's a little hypocritical to go dress up like a Pokemon trainer and chase around illegal immigrants while also saying don't be racist. Feels like this is going to lead to the same thing. I'd be right with you on the hypocrisy of Asmongold. However, he's also doing things like when people were covering like the super fat chick that was talking about men's issues, he like told his audience like I think 5 or 6 times to stop mocking her weight and that this isn't anything about her like beauty or looks and that they should only talk about ideas, right? So I'm not saying that Asmongold is this perfect arbiter of what we should be like. What I'm saying is he's a pretty good example of retarded middle. He's a pretty good example of it. Somebody who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's just kind of like jumping on waves that will make him popular. And the question to me is, will Asmongold ever talk to you now that you've gone scorched earth with him?
Asmongold wouldn't talk to me before I went scorched earth with him. So
what about Tectone?
I have no idea. Probably not as well. Didn't we literally try to schedule something with him and he bailed?
No, he first of all, he bails all the time because he's ADHD.
Okay, so then the answer is no. So apparently it doesn't matter.
No, he has been absolutely willing to come on your show up until the point, unironically, he canceled the show on me, thanks by the way, because of the shit that you said about him. He's been willing to engage with you the entire time.
He was willing to come on the show and kept either missing flights or saying he didn't want to travel to Florida or just didn't do it. So no, I don't buy that for a second.
Okay, that's really handy. It's really handy for you.
Well, what was he planning on coming on supposedly like months and months earlier, but never managed to make his way down or had to cancel?
Yes, he was planning to come on for a long time, and he is a flake, but that doesn't mean that he's not willing to talk to you. And I have a feeling that if I messaged him and we had some level of rapport and asked if he'd be willing to talk to you pre all this, like you mocking him for his dad shit, he probably would have said yes.
I'm actually going to back up Eerodite. He talked to fucking Chud Logic.
It's great that he talked to Chud Logic. If I have to play nice with somebody who's going to weaponize their dad's veteran military service,
nice.
You are. You keep trying to say it.
I'm not.
I'm not asking you to play nice. I'm just saying don't say these certain jokes.
No, stop. I'm asking you to be nice in the right ways and mean in the right ways. I think when you are mean to certain people is absolutely effective. When you humiliate people who have extreme beliefs that nobody would get on board for example, when that like Endure guy got mocked by Melina, that was super effective. We were super mean to him and it destroyed his career because nobody thinks you should endure abuse. It's a fucking insane thing to say, right?
Why isn't the standard the same on the Republican side? Why isn't the standard the same on the Republican side?
Because they're awful people, and to be clear...
So do you think it's ineffective? Wait, do you think it's ineffective for them?
Unironically doing evil shit.
Do you think that it's hurting their political effectiveness when they're mean to everybody?
Yes.
Yes. Now
Yes.
they're getting
I think the
hoisted by their
issue-
own
the issue
petard.
is-
They
I'm
are
not
being
even
hoisted
joking.
by their own
Just wait.
petard.
Okay, so you can say this, but just to follow. So a great example of this is the obsession with Leah Thomas. They obsessed over this swimmer girl forever, who I don't remember her. Maybe she was a huge piece of shit. Maybe she was making fun of dead kids and I just missed it. They made fun of her so fucking hard that not only did they get fucking all this trans shit rolled back in all these places, so they actually have like new laws passed because of it. They managed to get her fucking awards revoked at her school.
Yes,
and they
because
won all their
going after
elections, doing all things.
vulnerability.
So, like, where is
Yes.
the ineffectiveness of their messaging here? It seems like it
Because
worked really fucking
all
well.
of these groups that you were talking about, for example, Leah Thomas, people are worried genuinely, and I think you are genuinely worried about this, is destroying fair play in sports. Leah Thomas is absolutely a person that we are under question about whether or not fair play is
You just
happening
switched
in
to
sports.
policy. I don't know why you're talking about policy right now. I'm talking about rhetoric.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Can I tell
in
you
the
how they're
case
being
of
hoisted
all of
by
this
their own
rhetoric,
petard?
you can't shame
I'll just put
50%
my
of the
hand up.
population, not because it's bad to, but because it's ineffective. Now, to be clear, the reason that they're effective in shaming these groups is because they're smaller populations. Does that make it evil? Yes, I disagree with them shaming trans people, which is why I fight with them about it all the time. However, the reason why they can do it and get away with it and not necessarily lose everyone is because they're not shaving 50% of the population. If you shame 51% of the population who voted for Trump, unfortunately, even if you are right to, and I think you are, I don't think it's wrong
Kyla,
that you feel
Trump
embarrassed
said
by
the
them.
Democrats
Stop
are
interrupting
pests
me.
that need to be
Oh,
excised and won the
Stop
election.
interrupting
What are you
me.
talking
Stop.
about?
I'm not done.
Okay, we'll keep saying something wrong.
God, you're so fucking impossible to talk
Nice.
to sometimes.
I'm mad.
I'm done.
Sorry, you're making me mad. Okay, cool. So Trump said that Democrats or the Republicans are saying that Democrats are pests that need to be excised from the fucking like
Fuck me in my
country,
hand, right?
and they won. Like this clearly is not like, oh well, it's because of the small group that it worked. No, it works when they demonize Democrats. It works when they demonize every minority. It works when they
You're doing it again. You're
immigrants.
literally
They
doing the
demonize
thing.
all these
they
people.
didn't win
and
over
it
divisive
works.
rhetoric. Actually, they did. Tee hee ooh woo. Which
I'm
is
saying
it,
it
Soy
does
Pill?
not.
You got a
I'm
fucking
saying-
pick. I would argue.
It's so
I
easy
would
to
argue
understand. Hold on,
that
Kyla, I
why
know you're
Trump
smart. You
won
can understand
is
this.
he had
Kyla,
8
please
years
listen to
of
me because you're asking me a
advertising.
question.
8
Kyla,
years
please.
of advertising, and
Mhm.
Kamala had 3 fucking months, and
Yeah.
our incumbent fell into dementia. Unfortunately,
I'm not disagreeing with
That's
you. And
why
if
we
you
lost.
listened to me earlier too, you'd know I'd said this is not the reason, but Stephen and I's point is that this clearly is not such a poison thing that it's alienating everyone. If he can talk about more than half the country about like this and still win.
Okay.
Okay,
Counterpoints.
on
So
my
what
list
I would
of
like to
issues-
say,
Okay.
I've waited patiently. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Anyways, so what I would like to say is that you asked for an example where Republicans are actually suffering for their rhetoric. And what I would say to you is it
Don't say
took a
Epstein.
fucking decade, but what?
He said, "Don't say Epstein."
No, I will. I 100% will. Fuck
Oh
you.
my
Why wouldn't
God.
I?
That's just not
Because
a
it has
very good
nothing to
example.
do
Hold
with
on.
rhetoric at all. It has nothing to do with rhetoric. You're
Listen
going to
to
waste
both
5
you
minutes
cunts for 5
yapping on
minutes.
the
Shut
most
up.
irrelevant shit in the
Shut up.
world. Oh my God.
Shut up. Shut up. I'm sick of your shit. All right. So they primed people to think that LGBTQIA are fucking groomers. They primed them to think that fucking every gay person was a pedophile. They talked about how the demon rats, do you know where I heard fucking demon rats? Demon rats are fucking pedophiles and they're trying to groom your kids. And they're trying to fuck your kids and they're trying to make them trans and all that kind of stuff. So they did a decade of fucking propaganda about how pedophiles are the most unique evil on the fucking face of the planet. And then Donald Trump tries to fucking sweep the Epstein files and it finally cracks the fucking base. Finally, there's something that they were primed in order to hate so much that even when their cult leader told them, hey, change your tune on a dime, 180 degrees, half the base said, fuck you, we're not changing.
Right,
And don't
Connor,
tell
the
me just
reason
because
this
it's
isn't-
convenient
this
to my
is- no,
argument
it's-
that you're not going to use it as an example. Bullshit.
No, the reason, Connor, the
try.
reason it's a bad example is because what you just described was decades of demonizing people, being incredibly mean, and taking all these marginalized groups and just absolutely disparaging them, and it working. And then the thing that's breaking is that he's now lying and saying, "Actually, I never cared about that. Also, Epstein's not a big deal." Not that he stopped being.
Why would you
mean,
want to volunteer? Hold on. So do you think it was evil that they vilified gay people and trans people and fucking other groups in order to be pedophiles for a fucking decade? Was that good or bad?
Obviously, that was bad, and I'm not.
Wait. When you say good or bad with respect to what? It was effective. It worked, didn't it? How many times? I bet even you were probably on
It was
shows
very
saying.
bad. I'm making a moral judgment.
Were you one of those people that were saying the most effective ad was saying that Donald Trump is going to be president for us and Kamala Harris is going to be president for they, them? Like, well, this is all hateful rhetoric that seemed to have been pretty effective, no?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
it
issue,
was
the
fucking
question
effective
is,
until they got
when is
hoisted
shame
by their own
effective?
petard. Do you want me to watch you guys go charging down the wrong direction for a fucking decade and then have somebody grab your underwear and give you a wedgie so hard that it goes through your fucking asshole and rips your body in half? Because if you
explain
want me
the
to let
hypothetical?
you do that, I'll let you do
If
it.
I can steal a Supreme Court justice seat, if I can have both halves of Congress, and if I can have a fucking authoritarian leftist fucking president for 8 fucking years, then fucking yeah, sure, I'll take a wedgie at the end of all of that. Okay, to eliminate
you've
things like
lost
fucking
your morals.
Roe v.
You've
Wade,
lost your soul.
affirmative
You lost
action.
it. Got
Just
it.
like, what do you mean? Yeah, no shit. You think the Republicans are like, man, we sure did fuck up right now, real bad because of this whole Epstein
This
business,
is
man. We
actually
lost
the
fucking
crux of the
everything.
issue. No. This is 100% the crux of the issue. Eerodite and I care about people having souls and truth
Stop!
and all that
No,
kind of
pick
shit.
one.
And what
I
you
appeal to
just
the moderator.
said,
I appeal to the
what
moderator.
you just
Are we going to talk
said-
about political
what you
effectiveness
just
or what's
said-
morally right? He keeps
what
hopping
you
between both
just
arguments.
said
Pick
is that
one.
Hold on.
If you win, who gives a shit?
The
He can
argument
easily
is
just solve this.
hold
Hold
on.
on, Stephen. He can easily just solve this by saying political effectiveness is tied to like
Exactly.
your spouse morals. Which is
moral
But that
morality
could go either
is
way. That could go
politically
either
effective.
way.
I
So that-
agree,
that-
which is why the group that only had like 1 or 2 principles, because most people, by the way, when asked about the tariffs before the election, were like, well, Trump's probably lying about that. Teehee, right? Which is actually a number of things that moved a bunch of Trumpers off of him when they're like, oh, fuck, he
Did it really
wasn't
move
lying
anybody
about
though?
this.
Like I don't know if
Yes,
this is moving
yes.
anywhere
One of
near
my
as much as
close
it should.
friends who voted
I
for
don't know
Trump
how the economy is in
was
a year.
moved. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. One of my close friends who voted for Trump was moved as a result of that and him betraying his own court. These were
Erudite, in
things
your own
moved-
words, most people are stupid, and you're smart enough to have smart friends who can be moved on things like explaining policy.
Sure, I
sometimes,
agree
so.
that my friends will be moved by different things. However, when we're talking about shame, we have to talk about what's effective, okay? We do have to talk about what's effective. And in the case of when shame works and when it doesn't, shame works when everyone disagrees with the thing that you're shaming. So if I shame somebody for being a pedophile, everyone's happy to jump on board because we all agree pedophilia is kind of not good. There was a really interesting study that came out in Sweden that was looking on the efficacy of shaming rhetoric on human rights violations versus climate change. And what we found is that when we shame people for violating human rights, people tend to jump on board. When we shame people for things like climate change, which is way less, people are clearly not on board with that
Agreed.
one, right? What led is people rallied harder to their climate change beliefs.
No, I don't
So if
know
they
if
just-
Steven is, but I'm definitely not advocating for the scorched earth shame literally every Trump voter because that's all we have. Because clearly we've talked about a multifaceted approach to this, and you can be mean and edgy and reach out to people, and these are both things that
Okay.
are not diametrically
I
opposed.
agree. And I think that you do that well many of the times. I think that you do that well. For example, I wouldn't be having like nearly as cogent of a conversation with leftists, right? If I was talking to leftists, I would have to go like way the back up. However, what I am talking to is when you talk to Tally, for example, I think that that was a really good example of you failing these principles that we have talked about that you care about. That's what I
hold on.
think.
My principles are when someone pisses me off, I'm going to yell at them. Sometimes I can restrain that, but when they're so stupid and also have the smugness and condescension that Tally has to go and say, hey, I know what the
Do you think
Democrats
you
should do.
act
Yeah, I'm
on
going to
every
call them
emotion you
stupid.
feel?
I think
Okay,
you guys
do
are.
you need
I
to
think
talk
both
about
of
kids
you-
masturbating in order to do that?
Hold on.
Asking you,
you
Soy Pill, not
Hold on,
Steven.
Connor,
Steven
Connor,
wants to talk.
Connor,
Connor, I think
respectfully,
comedy is legal now.
Can I finish like my line of argumentation, yours, because I don't care as much about the joke?
Sure.
Okay. So I think both of you are too quick-witted to go scorched earth with as many people as you might want to. Now, Soy Pill, I don't think this is as much of an issue as it is for Stephen. My issue with Soy Pill is honestly exclusively the Tally conversation at this point in time from what I've seen. However, what I've seen from Stephen is that he goes scorched earth with people way too quickly. And I think he's too smart and quick-witted that he doesn't need to go scorched earth first. And I think it does turn people off of him. I think it makes him less effective as a political pundit. For example, there are so many people that approach me regularly going, man, I really miss when Stephen was like more good faith with conservatives. It feels like he goes off super fast. And then you'll talk to conservatives that you disagree with, like you're still respectful with Myron Gaines, who you think I think you probably think 99% of his takes.
I don't know why you keep bringing up Myron when one, we have a respectful back and forth, but two, you will never ever find Myron doing a 2-hour show of like, I can't believe that Dusty made fun of these fucking children. I can't believe he was. My guess is he would probably just say like, oh, wow, pretty edgy, bro, and that would be it. So this is not the same type of thing at all. Like this whole like obsession over being offensive is exclusively in the purview of like most of like the Republican lawmakers and the Republican mainstream media and a lot of the Republican alternative media. And it only works because liberals will do it to ourselves too. Like Republicans will be like, I can't believe you guys made fun of this thing. And liberals will be like, oh my God, they're right. That was so horrible that we made fun of those things. And then when Republicans do it, liberals don't even say anything anymore. We're like, oh yeah, it's the 47th. It's the 47th anniversary of kneeling on George Floyd's neck. That's such a fucking epic joke. Oh, good job.
I'm going to be honest, Stephen. I'll be super clear with you, Stephen.
No, Eerodite.
Hold on. Let Kyla finish. Let Kyla finish her fucking point, and then we can give it to you.
If you had
sit on my dick for 8 minutes at a time.
If you had the same social capital with Asmongold, Tectone, or Donut Operator as you do with Myron, I have a feeling that you would be able to leverage your social capital now. They would probably cover for your joke a lot more because they'd see you nuance. And most importantly, as MAGA is blowing up right now, if there's any time to pull people away from the right, it is right now. You could leverage that social capital to do so. But because you've gone scorched earth with retarded moderates, you won't be able to do so.
That's fine, but to be clear, there's no world where that is the case. The two people with some of the most political capital on the right were Kyle Rittenhouse and Joe Rogan, and they got blasted immediately when they tried to stray from the party, even if their vote wouldn't have mattered. They got immediately blasted, and they came back into the fold fucking immediately too. This fantastical delusion of if you play nice with them, they'll play nice with you is only true insofar as you're not as much of a threat to them and their audience that you'll actually start converting people over to the other side. They just want you there to look like, oh, well, he's kind of like a nice liberal, and that's cool, and so we can like be more respectful of them when we vote to take away all of their rights at the ballot box.
But do you know why that the right is hardly ever moves over these days? Is because the left has made it clear, and Democrats have made it clear for the last, fucking 8 years, that they are not welcome and they will never be welcome in the Democratic Party. And they have done this over and over and over again on a personal level. So yes, you have, hold on, let me finish my fucking point. You have Republicans constantly, you have Republicans, hold on, you have moderates. You have moderates constantly, right, who are just getting constant shit from the left, like, oh, how dare you speak up of this as a white man and things like that, right? How dare you do this, right? And they will. I've gotten more death threats and rape threats from leftists than I've ever gotten from Republicans, right? The leftists are going to hate this conversation way more than any rightoid would, right? The leftists are the ones that are going to cancel me. You're trying to cancel me for having you on. It's not the rightoids, right? It's this constant thing. We give them no off-ramp. We give them no place to go. And when people like Tali does come on and say, hey, my vote is winnable. That's what she said. My vote is winnable.
Wait, what did you just say?
Comes on and says, fuck you.
You just said that you're getting it canceled more. Yes. By the left. I agree. We should stop doing it. We should embrace all of the hilariousness and the edginess. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Thank you. Yes.
Hold on. But Soy Pill, you already agreed that in the case of Tali, it was ineffective what you were doing. And if
to
you
try
want
to win her vote, which I think is a waste of time.
If you want to say, I'm just too tired, I'm too weak, I'm too small bean to be big enough to like be good faith with somebody that just pisses me off, that just hits the threshold of
I was
intolerable.
not bad faith with her. I was mean to her.
You were absolutely hold on. The entire time.
I've waited.
Okay.
You asked me to wait.
Insanely bad faith. I had to stop watching. I was so grossed out by the conversation, if I'm being honest.
Anyways, so
are you going to vote
moderates? Okay. Who wins fucking general elections? Moderates or fucking extremists?
But your smugness.
Your base. Your base.
That's fair.
Bullshit. It's fucking moderates.
I don't think moderates are the ones that win elections. No, it's if your base turns out and votes.
You think that 55% of the fucking Republican Party is the reason why Trump won?
Wait, you just target these groups differently. You can do both. You can do both.
You can talk about kids jerking off and you can be nice to moderates and win the moderates?
Yeah. That's not what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
You can galvanize your base and also appeal to moderates. This is obviously true.
Sure, and I think those are two different those are two different strategies.
And Soy Pill are alienating moderates intentionally. So they're being
you're joking.
If you're going to be alienated by comments like that from the left, but never anything that's a million times said more by the right, then it's not worth targeting. Fuck them.
Right, I don't know what to tell you. People talking about dead kids.
Alienated from the right who are available for you to scoop them up, but you're being a piece of shit, so they're not going to fucking listen to you.
I don't think you realize how precarious you have to be with these people if you're trying so fucking hard to make sure that nobody is saying the wrong joke or something to keep them there. And then if you do, the microsecond that happens, then they retreat back to the most disgusting, divisive fucking person on the fucking planet. I don't know what to say.
Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad that the social rapport that the left has with moderates and with everyone else is so poor that they're literally picking a piece of shit rapist over us because they find us so fucking distasteful?
Kyla, the
That's
point
my
is-
entire argument. Is that
entire-
yes,
the entire-
they are
That's our
retarded
argument,
for
though.
it.
But that's our argument.
Yeah,
No.
Kyla,
I'm
this
saying
whole time
we
I've been
should
saying
figure out how
this
to be a
shit
little
with
bit more
Tali
likable.
is a waste
Yeah,
of
the
fucking
likable
time.
is shitting on the other side. That's why people dehumanize people. It works.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, progressives and liberals have been so fucking annoying for the past decade that the American people picked a rapist.
Annoying
over you.
is different from being mean and being authentic and like actually expressing like a disgust or frustration with people, which you've been doing, Connor, and I think is very authentic. In fact, I appreciate when you yell in this conversation. But if you were up there being like, well, I can't be, if I yell at Soy, then he might not like listen to what I'm saying. No, I'm saying we need to put our energy into getting as many people to understand the consequences of their vote, whether that's for the Democrats or the Republicans, and anything past that is a waste of fucking time trying to tiptoe and walk on eggshells for people like Tali, who, like I believe she said in that conversation, Kyla, no, actually, after all this, I still won't vote for a Democrat.
No, that's not
why
what
the
she
fuck
said.
Should I waste
That's
my
not what
fucking
she
time?
said. You were
She
missing.
said she's
that's
not
not
sure.
what
She's
she
still
said.
undecided,
No,
which
she-
is fucking retarded.
The worst part is, I bet you if you were way less heated with her, especially talking to you two ODD freaks, I can't believe I have to explain this, that when people start demanding that you say something, what's
I
the
didn't demand
likelihood in
anything.
that conversation you're going to say it?
I think
Because
she should
I
go
know
away.
I know for a fact that Steven still won't admit that he's dressing nicer because I encouraged him to, or that he's got an ADHD test because I encouraged you, because he's too fucking ODD. And I have a suspicion, Soy Pill, that you're just as
what's
ODD.
I
And
don't
if
know
somebody
what this means.
convinces you to do something, you're going to be resistant, especially in a public situation where you don't like the answer, that you are going to forever not
I will
going to
always bite the
concede.
bullet. But can you?
Okay, so
explain what
firstly,
ODD
correcting the
is?
record. Okay, the ADHD thing came from my lovely three-time accuser, Cherry. So thank you. That she was the one that turned me on to Adderall. Number one. Number
That's
two. Okay.
crazy.
Number two.
Crazy.
Number two.
I helped
the issue.
book
The
your
issue.
neuropsych
The
test, you
issue.
motherfucker.
The issue. I don't even think I took a neuropsych test. I just did a.
Why
I got a
not?
prescription via telehealth because fuck those. It's not worth it.
Second of all, explain what
the
ODD
issue.
is.
The issue is. Odie is the name that we give dogs when we kick them violently.
No,
the children
it's
dogs.
not. It's not.
The issue is that if somebody can be persuaded by the other side acting at this like -10 mark, and in order to persuade them to the other side, like you have to act at this like +8, and if you drop 1 point, they're going to leave. This is not a person worth holding on to. I just think
But
there's
I am
something else that's not
telling you-
aligning there.
No, I am telling you that right now the Democrats' policy is so good and nobody understands it because they hate everything about the veneer of what the Democrats are so much.
What
Oh,
is
sorry.
the
What
overall-
veneer?
Wait, Kyla. What is about the Democrats now is similar to what Steven's doing at all?
Nothing. I'm not talking about. I'm not even that interested in Steven's edgy joke, other than saying it's probably
No, just
not
in terms of like
effective for
being
timing.
mean, like Kamala
like this
and everybody else,
meanness
like
or this, like,
yeah, where was the mean?
condescension,
Like Walls? Was
Yeah,
he
for
the
example,
super mean guy?
when
Was
I-
Biden the super
yeah.
mean guy?
No, it's the people.
No.
It wasn't the
He was-
politicians. This is what you
he
don't
went high.
understand. People are influenced more by the people who personally attack them than they are by what any politician says. So when you
Okay,
have
but then at
people
that
in their
point, and
family,
we
in
lose,
their
we
friend
lose.
group,
It's over. It's
former
over.
friend
Hold on.
group,
You have to
coming
understand then
after
that
them.
if on our side, if we can just point to the Republicans and go, look at what the president says, look at what the vice president says, look what the Speaker of the House says, and on your side you're like, okay, well, look at this. Twitter user 487,000 just said this, so fuck your
It's
whole
not
side.
just
Fuck
Twitter,
them. I'm
it's
gonna go
people
vote for
in their
Republicans.
real fucking
That's
You're
what
not
you're
Twitter
saying.
user 487. You're not.
No, but I'm
It's
saying that, like, if on the left you can say, like, if we can say on the right, look, they're lying about Haitians eating cats and dogs, and they literally fucking admit it. You go, well, what about that one Kai run where CNN said fiery but mostly peaceful protests? Gotcha. And it's like, well, if that's the standard, like, you're
That's not the
No,
standard,
come
motherfucker.
on.
It's
Come
It literally
$700
is the
billion
standard.
worth of
You-
damage
no,
and 25
you-
fucking
your
homicides.
career.
That's the fucking standard.
Your
That's the
career.
bad behavior. And you should
Yes.
call out bad behavior regardless of who's doing it. That's the other thing that fucking pisses me off. No.
Donald Trump doesn't even acknowledge that
Don't
he's
act so
lost the
fucking obvious, you
2020
fucking bitch.
election.
No, fuck that. You fucking literally said in this debate, oh, this is the crux of the entire issue is I pushed you enough that you finally said all bad behavior is on the table because the right wing is doing bad behavior. As long as we win, I don't give a
Making jokes
fuck.
about people
That's what
being
you
mean
said.
is not all behavior. There's worse stuff in life than making a mean joke at somebody.
Yeah, we
No
both
shit,
agree
nobody
on
said that.
misinformation.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
No.
Then why,
Literally
wait,
invented
wait,
the position.
where did I even imply that all bad behavior is on the table?
So I'm muting myself because I'm putting on Miss Rachel. So anyways,
Wait, where did I say that all bad? Where did I even imply that all bad behavior is on the table?
I'm answering your question. You asked me a question 10 to fucking 15 minutes ago. You literally said, like, as long as it gets me a fucking hardcore left-wing fucking whatever, you were actually excusing a shitload of bad behavior. You might not have used the word.
Bad behavior or edgy jokes. When am I excusing bad behavior?
Yeah, we both
Dude,
said
literally
no
rewind the tape.
misinformation.
I'm not even going to argue.
Bad
If
behavior.
anybody can rewind the tape.
behavior.
Rewind the tape.
Bad behavior is going scorched earth on people who don't deserve it. It's making fun of Tectone's dad because he doesn't like your edgy joke. It's, for example,
Tectone brought his dad out to fight somebody to wield him as a fucking veteran or whatever. So his dad is fair game. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it works.
Saying that he's just sad because the girls died and he has less victims now makes it fair game because once Tectone's dad was public as well.
I'm saying that if you're going to weaponize your dad to win internet arguments, then at that point, I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of out there. Yeah, no shit. That's why when he came back at me and he tried to make fun of me and my son or whatever, I was like, oh, it's fair game. You know, I brought out of his dad for my skin. It's not fucked at all. What do you mean? That was the level that we were at. It's not. That's where we were.
It is just because you guys like Moloch game your way down to hell. Just because you Moloch game your way down to hell.
The Republicans are already in hell. They're already in hell and they're winning down there.
I agree. They're
winning.
They're not. They're literally not.
Literally are. Literally.
No, they won the election in the major bet again. Why? Why? Is it because of edgy jokes and meanness?
It certainly didn't hurt them.
Do you think that that's why they won?
I know that Nikki Haley and DeSantis didn't even get a debate with the meanest guy on the planet, so it seems like it didn't affect them too much being mean.
Okay.
Yeah, was it Schultz who came on and said that all Puerto Ricans live on an island of garbage, and they actually were able to turn that into a promotional thing where Trump drove around in a fucking garbage truck and then won the election? Like, it
and
really
they put it
doesn't
into
fucking matter.
Biden attack because when Biden said the only trash that I saw there were the MAGA,
you're screaming about how often Republicans are. I don't think Republicans are good.
Do you think Joe Biden's mean?
I don't need this. I don't need this. You don't need to convince me that Republicans are in hell.
This is about Joe Biden. Do you think Joe Biden's mean? Do you think Joe Biden is mean? Does he?
No.
Okay, so when he says, "Hey, the people who call all Puerto Ricans garbage are garbage," and they use that as a promotional thing for their campaign, and then are able to win off of that, what would Biden do?
That's not what they won off of, you stupid motherfucker. What I am saying to you is that
fucking helps.
What I am saying, no, it did not. What I am saying is that despite, let me fucking talk. You gotta let me talk now. What I am saying is that despite how awful they are, despite the fact that their principles are in hell, people still find them a better choice than the Democrats. And I am saying that the reason why the Democrats are so disliked, despite our principles being higher, is because of shitty behavior, particularly because we are the side that says that we're the moral good guys. The Republicans aren't doing that anymore in any way, shape, or form.
Because we say, like, the Republicans all.
No, I think that I've said this a million times.
That was the reason.
I'll say this again. The reason that we likely lost is because Trump had about 8 years of campaigning and Kamala had 3 months because her incumbency had dementia. And also something weird happened globally that the right and incumbents overall just failed, probably because of inflation post-COVID. That's probably why we lost.
You're right. That's such a bigger factor. And like nowhere, especially when Tim Walz and the whole campaign started calling them weird, was that the thing that was like, well, moderates were like, whoa, hold on, you're calling them weird?
I don't have an issue with being mean. Soy Pill, again, I don't
hold on, Soy Pill. Do you not think there's a difference?
From the very fucking beginning, and I'll say it again so that you can engage with my arguments.
I
don't know what's so hard about my claims, but then stop saying you just want us to be nice. I've never for a second said be nice. I think that this is weird but super effective because it's mean in an effective way. And what I'm saying is that when you're smug and nasty to Tally, it's ineffective. And I said in the case of Stephen's jokes, unfortunately, they were ineffective.
Republicans weird, smug, and nasty, Kyla?
Not to the same extent. Hold on.
What,
do you think? Hold on. Do you think calling Waltz calling Republicans weird is the same as making a joke about dead
work for your argument? You can do that, but then I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Every single person can understand that if somebody says that's really weird, that it's not the same thing as being super smug and saying things like, "Here, let me pull up the notes." I think you should be embarrassed. I am only here so I can tell you to go away. It is unconscionable that you are here and talking in any way. Do you want me to keep going about all the nasty comments?
I actually do want to. I would make more nasty comments, knowing how stupid she is now. Actually, keep going.
Base.
Okay. Do you think that that's the same thing as calling somebody weird?
No, I would say I'm much more aggressive than Tim Walz.
So glad you showed up in the conversation.
What level of smugness and condescension is allowed?
I'm not sure precisely, but what I am talking about here is that there's
weird is fine. Saying,
don't
hey, these people are
know.
stupid isn't.
Hold
So
on.
what
You're not
is?
going to make me do this thing where I stick out a
Okay,
ruler.
I'll give you one soy
I'm not
pill.
saying you
talk
have to
about
give the
kids
exact
jerking off.
line. But
Yes,
that's
you
what
are.
you
You
advocating
actually
for,
are
because-
saying you're
no,
doing the.
no,
You're
that's the
doing.
line. I gave it to
You
you.
can have
You're being
a
like,
more
at what point
ambiguous
does
one. Let me
100,000
listen. No,
grains of
I'm not
sand
saying that.
become not
No,
a
here,
heap,
let me-
but just a
if
grain of
you can stop-
sand?
you can
I'm not
stop
sure
strawmanning it, I'll
precisely,
explain it to you,
but I can
Kyla.
look
I'm not
at a
asking
heap
for a
of
precise
sand and go,
definition.
that's a heap,
What are you
and I can look at a
advocating
single
for?
grain of sand and
What
say,
are
well,
you
that's a single grain
advocating?
of sand.
What are you advocating for people like Stephen and I who are edgy in ways that you don't like, clearly in some ways, and not in the other ways because you're okay with being
Not the
mean?
edginess at all. Don't care about the
I'm
edginess.
saying that if you listen, I'm agreeing with you. I understand
Sure.
you don't hate the
Okay.
meanness and the edginess, but then what is allowed? Because it's like, well, here it's allowed,
Soy
here
pill.
it's not, and it's
Soy
like,
pill, I
well,
want to answer your question
well,
genuinely.
that's cool, but
You
I'm
gotta
not
let me
asking
answer
you,
it,
so.
and then
Yeah.
Hold on.
Don't talk
Hold
about
on.
kids
I gotta
jerking
be
off.
moderator
There's
for a
my
second.
line.
Wait,
Hold
answer
on.
without saying scorched earth.
Good luck.
Okay, we're gonna go. Soy's going to finish his question. We're gonna give Eerodite a chance to answer it, and then counterpoints.
Yeah.
I know you want in, so
I'm
we're gonna
not
get you in.
I'm not trying to Loki's wager you into the exact position. You have to say this is the line because obviously you're okay with edginess. I know you are. In fact, you were very nice. You clipped the clip of me saying rotarded. That was very nice of you. But when is it okay? When is it not? Not explicitly, but what are you advocating for us to do? Is like, oh, this is like, are we going to call out people every time they cross the line, whatever that arbitrary line is? Are we going to waste a bunch of energy having these conversations every week, every time there's an edgy joke that goes too far? What are you advocating for?
What I'm talking about is two things. I think there's some good general rules I think Connor has outlined. In general, probably avoid children. People don't like children shit. Children
They don't
are
even
super
vote.
special. Parents do. Sorry. People like kids. I don't get it. Kids can be fucking
Yeah,
monsters.
we know.
but
That's
people
why
like
they're trying to cover
kids.
up the Epstein list now, right?
That's true. That's true. They like touching them too. However, in general, I would avoid standing on the graves of dead children, especially within 2 days of them dying. I think in
Yeah, it's
general,
better to swim
you're
over them
always,
like Donut Operator does.
You're
True.
always going to lose that object battle. You just always will. It's never going to be a good stand for you. However, more than that, when I'm talking about like broader, like how we should orient ourselves, I think we need to look at the people that we are talking to, and we need to understand where they are and have a fundamental principle that doesn't say, if you're a Trump voter who's too stupid to engage, I now get to go scorched earth, and anything I say and do to you is okay because you're not worth my time. I think that that is fundamentally an anti-democratic principle, and I think it's harmful to our movement to do. However, I think other people do it worse than you two. Unfortunately, you two were the two called in to do this, right? But these would be my principles. You don't have an orientation towards Republicans, that they are ontologically evil, that if somebody has voted for Trump, that they deserve to be treated poorly. And I think
And
that
I'm
you
not
need to
saying we
engage.
should either.
Your line for your scorched earth threshold is way too fucking low.
Is
it's more about punishing
undecided
stupid
voter
people
who
than
admits stupidity and is speaking as a pundit
yeah,
of authority
it's
on a
stupidity.
panel. Yeah,
I get
they
it.
deserve it. They
Stupidity,
deserve all of it.
stupidity,
No,
stupidity is
I
not
talk
the
a
line.
lot of
It can't
stupid
be.
people. It's stupid people that are smug and in positions of talking down to an audience of people that I am calling out. And if you want to go back and watch how smug Tolly was being in that, you can, because Tolly's smug too, and that's fine. But I'm going
She
to
was
call it
not
out.
that smug. She was exclusively smug after you came in swinging, which, by the way, you earned, right?
Which is fine, by the way. But I said she was smug before I even went on, which is why I wanted to come on, because it was triggering me how she was speaking as
not
a voice of
smug.
authority.
I
Well, you
watched
can
the
say
whole
that.
thing.
All right. Well, fine. That's your opinion on it. But
What
the
I'm
point
saying is my
that a
suspicion,
smug person,
my
Condescension,
suspicion,
or any
she
pundit
wasn't.
that
I'm
is
telling
stupid
you. I'm
enough-
telling
Okay,
you.
Tolly
She
was
wasn't
perfect
smug.
on her panel.
The
She was
reason that
perfect. She
you
did
thought
nothing
it
wrong.
was smug is because she triggers you. And that's fine if that type of person triggers you. Maybe you don't talk to them because I think you're pretty ineffective with them. Maybe because it's near and dear to your heart. But for some reason, you get more mad. You've already admitted it wasn't effective. And if you are just frustrated with conservatives, that you want to vent your conservative exhaustion, you can do that. But let's not pretend it's fucking effective for a single fucking second. And let's be very honest about the psychology of behavior, which is that nobody is going to change deeply held beliefs by being shamed in that way. They never, ever will. Okay, great. So that's what I'm asking. Maybe avoid shaming people.
Counterpoints has wanted to go. We're going to give it to Counterpoints, or he's going to yell at me in his DMs. But go ahead. Oh, we can't hear what you're saying. Beautiful, wonderful. This is great, gang.
Sorry, I'm working with children.
Fair enough. Oh, okay. So I guess he's not going right now. Okay. While
give me a minute.
Yeah. While he's doing that, the problem I'm having, and I'll step in here for a moment, is that it seems to be your line, Soy Pill and Destiny, for that matter, is if I feel like it, right? If I feel triggered enough, then it's okay. then I can do this. And I'm saying that it's not okay to just act on any emotion you feel when you feel it, that we should be
No, we're not
better
saying that either.
because being better.
Oh shit. Well, that is.
actually
I've
being
never
better.
considered that. I thought we should just act on any emotion we feel ever.
A lot of people are behaving like that.
That's so right. Fuck. Oh my God. You're right. We shouldn't just act on any emotion ever. Thank you, Dr.
You know
Wick.
what? Sometimes people need to hear the obvious because while they
True.
say, I
Why are you being
understand
so
this,
mean?
they're
Why are you being so
behaving
mad?
like they don't.
Wick, do not
Say the
act on your
obvious. That
emotions.
was very
Please
condescending.
Lower the temperature.
My
just a
ODD
little
is
bit.
spiking right now. So hard.
Your ODD.
Okay.
Oh, you're obsessive.
Just reiterating that the line for me is talking about kids jerking off. Just stop. Just don't do it. It doesn't
Okay,
help
but when we
anybody.
say kids, do we mean
Connor-
16, 18? What are we talking? Are we including time in the womb like they do in Korea, or?
Let's go with Germany rules. I think age of consent is like 14 or 15. So anything
Jesus
under 15,
Christ.
just don't talk about it
Okay.
because Germans are pedophiles.
Wait, Connor, I have a question. Someone sent me this, and I actually don't know about this, but I think you have like a past feud with one of our mutuals, and it's like he sent me a video of you saying like I'm pro eugenics or something, and it's like, is that something that is also going to turn
What?
people off? I have no idea about.
Yeah,
this
is that
shit, but,
Gibbs?
like,
And by the
yeah,
way, I'll
it's
stand on
Gibbs.
business for that shit.
Also, when we say
Yeah, it's
eugenic,
fucking
by the
Gibbs.
way, that's killing kids. So that's a bad one
No,
for you, Connor. Good
no,
luck.
it's not. Literally, eugenics means good birth. So yes, I'm for CRISPR. I'm for eliminating genetic diseases. I'm for gene editing, the future of humanity. 100%. I'm for
Oh,
good
okay.
birth.
That's a lot more reasonable than it sounded in the clip.
Yeah, it's not eliminating black people or Jews from the gene pool. It's gene editing diseases out of human beings.
Okay.
What if?
Totally fair.
Never mind. True.
Nice try, Gibbs, you fucking dumbass.
He's been spamming.
He's in my
Dude.
DMs too. Okay. Hey.
Okay,
here's
let's just
what-
go back to, could I bring up one thing?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay,
Tali
so
is.
Soy
If you
Pill.
guys are okay, Tali is very upset now.
No, she's a waste of
She
time.
wants
Don't
to-
bring her on. Absolutely not.
I
Bring her on.
brought you
I
on.
support bringing her on.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, but
Okay.
I'll
It's
defer
not a
to
waste of
Destiny
time.
being
And
mean.
just to
I've
be
already been
clear-
mean enough to her.
Well,
If she's a
Eerodite
retard,
finish.
hold on. If she's a retard, do we all agree? Well, Soy Pill. Do you agree
That
that
she
she's a
is?
retard?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
we all
Okay.
agree.
So you think I think she's retarded for a vote too. Just to be super clear, I disagree with her vote, and I think her like grinding her heels in to refuse to say that she regrets it at this point in time is also fucking retarded. And I have this conversation with lots of Trump voters.
Why are you condescending? Is
However-
she not going to listen to you now?
No,
Well,
that wasn't
I'm
full
not being
scorched earth. That was
condescending.
just a little bit mean.
Oh, just okay. So we can be a little mean, but not.
Do you guys want to be like slightly good
Totally
faith, or do you
different.
just want to be bad faith?
It's totally different.
Well, the point is, I don't know
These
what you're
are
actually
obviously
advocating
different.
for because
Well,
you're
no,
saying
no, no,
you
stop,
call her
stop, stop, stop,
retarded.
stop, 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 stop. You guys are
Soy
you're
not
literally
I just
using
Soy.
being bad faith
Clearly,
by
Kyle's
running
not being
away.
scorched earth here. She was just being a little mean. Okay, you should know the
right.
difference.
But
Idiot.
then what are you? I agree, but what are you advocating for
I-
then? 'Cause you
first
can
of
call
all,
her retarded.
shut
You're
the
allowed
fuck
to call
up,
these people
Oren.
retarded, right?
Hold on.
Shut the
Don't
fuck
be
up
scorched
for
earth.
just being a pot
Eerodite,
stirrer.
go
Second
ahead.
of all, I said from the very beginning that I don't know exactly what the ruler is, and this stupid ruler argument is fucking retarded, right? I don't know where the heap of sand becomes like not a heap of sand precisely. However, here's a super key difference. I earned social capital with Tali. I'll call her retarded and still talk to her like she's a person and try to hear her side. And what I think is a big issue is that if you think another person is retarded, you have now elevated your position to them. You are the non-retarded person, you are the knower, and they're the unknower. And
But you're
unfortunately
condescending
for
to her.
you, that means you're not punching straight. And you have to act as though that is the case, which means that if you have deemed all these people below you, if they are intellectually and morally inferior, then unfortunately, these standards for you are going to be higher. And if you act both as though you are superior and smug about that, everyone will hate you.
So
Everyone
How are
will
you
hate
not being
Okay,
smug, condescending,
just
and mean by
housekeeping
calling
here.
her retarded, saying you're smarter than her, and now talking to her and being like, "Well, Tali, this is
I don't
what
think
should
I'm
happen,
smarter
but
than
you're not-"
Tali. I don't think I'm smarter than Tali at all.
So you're also
Okay.
retarded, I guess.
Okay. I'm
Well,
gonna
I
go
don't.
through-
I don't use retarded to
Hold
talk
on.
about people's IQ.
This is what we're
I think
gonna do.
Tali is super smart.
Yeah,
I just
this
think
is-
that her vote was
Okay.
retarded.
No one listens to me on my own goddamn show, and this is getting frustrating. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read some super chats and make a little money today because honestly, it's more important than any of you or the topic or anything else. Then, again, unless anyone but Soy Pill vetoes it, we are gonna bring Tali on because she has been
It's
talking
fine.
about like
Bring her
almost
on.
this
It's fine.
entire fucking show.
As somebody who's better than Soy Pill, I veto his veto because I'm his
Whoa.
caretaker.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'm voting for
Hey.
Trump now. What the fuck?
Okay.
Don't be condescending to me.
Let me read these super chats. I'll go through them as quick as I can. Okay, so we're going to speed through them. $5 from Caleb to say humor is more powerful than heady rationalist rhetoric. Enough of the hand wringing. Pandora's box is already open. Then 20 gift gifted memberships from Grassroots Hegemon. Thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. $5 from Hunter Young to say, for the soys on here, would it be more effective for Crockett to double down on Hot Wheels or to back down like she did?
Double down.
$5 from Fancy Teeth. This messaging isn't for normies. This pulls people from the aggressive far left back from the edge, and it on-ramps centrists to the left. It works. Zetsway for 20. The NordVPN tweet was a banger. Optics are for winning, but what is the point of winning if our memes die in darkness? Also, go look at what any pro-clutching MAGA said back when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. Then talk. Solemn Argus, thank you for the Tier 1 membership. Admiral Gibbs for $5. Counterpoints the Nazi. White supremacists trying to police jokes and language is peak irony and lack of self-awareness.
Hold on, I need to respond to that. Gibbs, if I could end your fucking bloodline, I would.
Okay,
There we
Jesus.
yeah, let's fun.
Prove vasectomy.
But Gibbs is white, right?
Yeah, sure. $2 from
Yeah.
Deadly Sin to say at CP Sandy Hooks they were harassing parents of kids. $2 from Hunter Young to said Red Pill was effective because Destiny matched aggro. $20 from Grassroots Hegemon to say gender is a social construct. Sex is what I have with Destiny's mom. $5 from Feder Methodist to say it's okay to be a tard. $10 from Malik to say put blank in a gulag is funny. Aw, your kids died. Should have voted Kamala is not funny. Jeff Lewis for $7 say I think more people respect a left-winger that's authentic than care about a stranger's dead kids. The medium is the message. $5 from Hunter Young to say civil rights was acquired by shaming and reducing explicit bigotry to shift the culture for enacting effective political capital. I'm gonna only read the $5 ones, gang. Okay, you guys keep spamming the $2 ones. We're gonna up the minimum. Hunter Young for $5 to say Chaz BLM fiery but peaceful is pointed at, but it's all just MAGA hijacked narratives that the weak-willed people here perpetuate. $10 from the Justice, 35 to say as an actual elected Democrat in office, I find progressives and joke police divorced from reality. Voters don't give a fuck about your jokes on X. I would 100% have Destiny canvass for me. 300 canvassers are greater than jokes. $5 from the Daniel to say Destiny taking Vivanese means he's either feeling amazing or terrible right now, depending on what stage of the high he's in. LOL. $5 from Dwill to say Wick said, when they go low, we go lower. I reject this premise. Can anyone actually defend that what he said was worse than things MAGA says? And then $5 from Soyaddle say Wick is...
said that.
I don't know. No one listens to my panel. They just taking the vibes, okay? $5 from Soyaddle to say Wick is giving us new content to talk about. $5 from Hunter Young to say Connor acknowledges MAGA is effective because they otherwise groups that are seen as oppressing majority classes. That's why they flip with Epstein. $5 from Admiral Gibbs to say LMFAO, Nazi points, doesn't even realize he's being peak hypocrite this whole convo, complaining about Edgy being edgy and making kids jokes. Thank you for the $5 Sulak for just a smiley face. $5 from Harvey Marvey to say, has anyone demanded DNA? Oh, okay. We're not going to read that one. $5 from Hunter Young to say NSC says the garbage truck didn't help but defends Tali Vibes, who admits to voting only on vibes, and we need to appeal to people like her away. $5 from Feder Methodist.
Yes.
To say, I've no doubt that everyone on the panel was the smartest kid on their school bus for what that's worth. Let's not mention the length of Soy Boy's bus. $5 from Kyla to say what Kyla is doing is worse.
Jesus Christ, bud, you're making a fucking arm and a leg today. How many more you got?
It's we're almost done. It's infantilization. $5 from Noonian Star to say you can be funny and care about people. Don't let those humorless edits have a piece of your soul. Use code Soy Pill to be based. $5 from Ace to say Tiny needs to stop crying about Trump if he's going to throw out the only means of beating him, aka winning elections. And $10 from Jared W to say turns out those kids in Texas didn't need critical race theory to learn about systemic failure. Drowning in it works just fine. $5 from Testicle Johnson. If those kids were so great, then why are they dead? And $5 from Cage to say who's more effective, Eerodite, Destiny, or BTC? And then $5 from Ace to say Soy doesn't understand that progs are a small part of the Dem base, and Dems more so than the GOP need independent voters. Progs aren't enough to win. And that said, God, gang, give me more money. I'm going to bring on Tali at least. Okay, now we can talk. Now the content's back. Tali, cam up. What you got?
Hello, sorry. I was just talking to Deb backstage. We're gonna bring him out too.
Why not? Fuck it.
Who?
Oh, please.
Oh, Deb. Hi, Dad.
The
my God.
shortest, fattest otaku.
You interrupted our conversation, Wick. How could you?
Well, I told you guys I was bringing you guys on. Okay, that said, let's get back into the conversation, right?
Sure.
Do you feel?
I'll
Yeah, go
restate
ahead, Eerodite.
my criticisms of Stephen and Soy Pill since they're different. My criticism of Stephen is that he goes scorched earth too quickly with people who don't deserve it. And
Oh,
he
one more,
ruins
$100
opportunities.
someone gave me privately. I'm sorry, they gave me $100 to say
Yeah,
this.
fair enough.
Stephen is so deeply wrong here. Before the firefighter joke, his work had real impact, especially for those on the right. For many, he was the only exposure they had to someone on the left who was both intelligent and reasonable. The left is held to higher standards because they chose to hold themselves to higher standards. They don't get to fail because the moment they do, it validates the right's narrative that they were never better to begin with. Okay.
Just to be clear, higher standards, if that means to you about whether or not you're telling a joke, you are so beyond fucking retarded that I don't even know how you got $100 to donate. Unless that came from some government welfare program. It's probably being cut by Trump right now, so congratulations.
That was
I
helpful.
like the $100, wherever it comes from. So. Go ahead. Eerodite.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, my criticism would be that Stephen goes too quickly scorched earth, and I think it's to his detriment. I think it loses him a lot of social capital that he could otherwise have, and that he could be leveraging in times when, particularly, MAGA is falling apart. And I wish that you would do better because I think you're probably one of the more effective voices on the left. My criticism of Soy Pill is specifically your conversation with Tally. I found distasteful, and I was unhappy with it because I think that you generally hold yourself to a higher standard, and I would expect that. Even when Tally is retarded and won't admit that her vote was bad.
Okay, well, I'm much more calm now. So, Tally, what would it take for you to vote for a Democrat in the next election? What can I say to you to get you to come to my side?
There's not just one thing that you could say to me. And I just need to reiterate, I'm not saying that the Democrats should be spending any inordinate amount of time reaching out to people like me. I've declared myself no longer a partisan for the Democratic Party. And so there's a real question, I think, within the Democratic Party of what should the approach be for building coalitions. And you have people built in, the progressives and the more left-wing part of the party, who some of them don't vote, but maybe more of them are more likely to than the moderates, the people who are the disaffected liberals. So I'm not saying that this is anything that the left, that's Connor, I see you shaking your head. I hope that's not what they do. I'm with you, but I don't feel like I'm really truly not trying. I'm not trying to beg to be wooed. I'm here talking as someone who formerly voted as a Democrat and talking about, yes, all the vibes and the cultural things that ultimately pushed me away. I'm not pro-Trump. I wouldn't vote for him again. I just haven't come out and said that I regret voting for him in 2024. I don't know how much that'll do for anyone. I don't, can't change the past anyway. But I'm absolutely a winnable voter in the future. It's not going to be any one thing that you say to me, Soy Pill.
No, it's not about what I'm going to say. I'm saying what do the Democrats need to do to win your vote? I mean, like, you're a former Trump voter, and clearly we need to be listening to what you have to say about the state of the political vibes.
Allie, because I watched the content related to this, could I ask you a couple of things about like what was off-putting about Democrats?
Come on.
Sure. Is this where the conversation should go? Like,
no, I still want to beat them up over their Mott and Bailey. I still want to come at Stephen and Soy Pill for making a beautiful Mott and Bailey and hiding behind it and being like, epic.
Wait, what is the Mott and Bailey?
Okay, I keep on saying that being mean alienates the center, and you guys keep saying Republicans are in hell. They're in hell.
Because our point is that Republicans are the meanest they've ever been, ever. And this is the first time they've won the popular vote in forever. So how do you reconcile those two statements?
Because you've already acknowledged that the reason why they won all of this shit seems like it was a mixture of global trends and acts of God himself.
Not just that,
also
though. It
being mean is effective?
No, Trump did not win because of global issues. The Democrats lost because of global issues. How do you explain the fact that Trump swept with no competition the Republican primary after he lost the last election against the same guy who was supposed to be running again?
Why did he win the primaries? Because he has almost all of the voices and names behind him because they were sick of Joe Biden. They wanted to get rid of Biden.
Yes, just like, hold on. If I say, why did somebody win an election? And you say it's because they got more votes than the other guy. That's obviously not what I'm asking.
Sorry, when I say an incumbent.
Trump's divisiveness obviously didn't.
The answer is, what I'm saying, not because he got the most votes. Sorry, if I didn't make it clear enough. What I'm saying is that he was an incumbent, right? The reason why he
wasn't an incumbent, he lost his election. He was
running
again.
the Republican Party. Stop being obtuse.
When I say incumbent, I don't mean to use if the word is incorrect, I apologize. What I mean is he was the president for 4 years and had 4 to 5 years already of advertising behind him, which
Why
the
did he win
years
in
of
2016
advertising
then?
behind a name is super important. What?
Why did he win in
Because
2016?
Hillary Clinton eats babies.
Because Hillary Clinton was so utterly
no.
unelected.
Why did he win
that's
the
why
primary
Hillary
in
lost. Yes, he won the
2016?
primary. There were way more people
Because
that
the
advocated for your
moderates
guys'
split the
strategies.
vote. No. Fuck this. I'm not going to have you rewrite history right in front of me. I know because I was fucking furious. Trump had like 37% of the fucking vote, and there were 3 moderates splitting the Republican vote. If those fucking cunts, Kasich or fucking Rubio, had dropped out, then we would have rallied around a moderate candidate, and we wouldn't have this fucking problem, and I wouldn't have to
Trump
deal with the
was a
goddamn
moderate-
Republican Party as it
Excuse
currently
me,
exists.
Trump was a moderate candidate. What are you talking about? Compared to fucking Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, you're like staple neocons? Trump's policy-wise was a moderate in that primary.
Do you think MAGA is a moderate movement, Stephen?
In terms of, well, now we're moving south on the political axis instead of left to right. Hold on.
Do you think that some Republicans saw that he was a repellent, incompetent piece of shit all the way back in 2015?
Trump policy-wise was a moderate when he was running in the primary. The fact that he took like a non-committal position related to funding Planned Parenthood, the fact that he bragged about being in Hillary Clinton's fucking wedding photos and shit like that, the fact that he seemed like kind of indecisive or back and forth on like the Iraq war compared to like the hawkish neocons and shit that you had on stage, especially in the form of Cruz and Rubio, he was definitely more moderate than the other guys in terms of policy. He won because he was
Hold on. I feel like you're talking past my point. Okay. Well, maybe moderate is the incorrect word. But there was something called the Republican Party that cared about a republic and talked about the Constitution of the United States and talked about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, family values, all that bullshit. That all existed when Trump was there. But Trump hijacked the Republican Party with a cult of personality, and some people, such as myself, saw that was happening in 2015 and thought he was a piece of shit.
Can you think about just real quick.
Normal Republicans
think about what you're saying.
You said the vote.
You said cult of personality. What was that personality based on?
Wait, but we're talking about different people, though, and that's what Kyla said
No, we
earlier.
don't follow through. No. Why the cult of personality? Well, because it was based on being mean and divisive.
And that's appealing to
40% of the Republican Party being dumb as fuck didn't have to do with the original point that we were making.
It's not about being dumb. It's the fact that it's effective rhetoric. It works.
I don't know if
you think
there's
that Trump
a point that we should follow down here. I think we should probably move to the next point.
How many times did we hear because he tells it like it is?
What? Yeah, wasn't
was
it way more effective though? Because Hillary was like swinging at him super hard, and he got to always claim counterpunching. Didn't that help his claims?
He literally had his audience chanting "lock her up." No, it was not because Hillary swung first. Absolutely not.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? Trump was way more mean in that general election, and I was even asking why he won the primary. He was mean in the primary. He had nicknames for everybody.
He's a uniquely unlikable candidate.
God, possibly. It sounds like an act of God. Moderates were fighting over things.
Okay, so I can answer to the
We're
2016 primary.
people.
Just real quick, Tolly, please. The 2016 primary, one of the reasons, the major reason I would say that the Trump won in that is because he was anti-Iraq war. That was why. And he was one of the few people on that stage who was anti-Iraq war. He was seen as he absolutely was, and he was seen as
anti-war. That's not the reason he won.
It was one of the major ones. He was seen as anti-establishment in the same way that Bernie was.
He was heterodox,
and he was seen as a firebomb into the system that was going to change it up. People didn't really understand. It wasn't his divisiveness so much. It was that he was seen as an outsider.
He shit on them all? Wasn't he like super effective in the debates?
He was very mean to all of them, actually.
Well, he wasn't just mean though, right? He was mean in the right way. No, he was mean in the right way.
Shitting on Ted Cruz's wife and by saying,
"Oh my God, hasn't that been my argument the whole fucking time? You stupid motherfucker! I've been saying the whole time that he's been mean in an effective way, not in an ineffective way."
What does that mean, though? The only thing you say is just don't go scorched earth.
People like when you shit on institutionalists for institutionalist type things. They don't like when you're smug and condescending.
They don't like when you shit on dead kids.
Was his wife ugly? Wait, was his wife ugly?
No, but she made that joke and he got really popular off stuff like that.
He wasn't ugly?
Rosie O'Donnell fat. Ted Cruz is Heidi Cruz is not that ugly. No.
Oh, did they hate Rosie O'Donnell? Is that or the period joke with Megyn Kelly or the jokes about McCain being a prisoner of war, or like what are all these unpopular things?
I don't want you to have the exact policy, but that's why we keep asking you, what is effective meanness? Because you're not against certain meanness, you're okay with certain meanness. What the fuck is effective meanness?
Effective
Probably
meanness
not shitting
is-
on dead kids and joking about them jerking off. That's probably the
Oh,
line. I've
thank
said
you,
it 4
Kyla.
times.
Thank you, Kyla.
Why? Is it because you can't contend with the point that I just made? Is that why you pretend it's a non-answer?
No, I
Well,
just
so
don't.
every
I'm in
other
the
thing
debate
every
with you,
single
okay.
line. I'm
So
not asking
okay, wait.
you.
So is beating the shit out of kids okay, or what? Where if that's the only two categories of things that we can't make fun of, what are the?
Come the fuck on. Come the fuck
what?
on. I don't want to do this heap grain of sand argument. I don't
No,
know
what do you keep
exactly
saying? Keep grain of sand. You're doing the Nirvana.
because
Nirvana
you're asking
fallacy.
me for it. Because you're
We're
asking
not
me
asking you for an exact demarcator. We're
when
just
you
asking
say
for in
mean
general.
right and mean wrong, these don't make any sense. We can kind of get the feels for it. In the case of the primaries, my understanding is that the Republicans were shitting on him first. They were making fun of him for not being a real politician, and he shit down their throats in return. He was more effectively mean at their own game, which is why it unleashed it, because he was
You can just
counterpunching in the first
post-hoc
place.
rationalize any meanness, though. Like, how do we go? What's the strategy moving forward? What? Tell me right now. I'll listen, Kyla. What do I do? What am I allowed to be mean about? What am I not allowed to be mean about?
I think the thing
In
that Kyla
general-
said that though is the most accurate is you need to pick your targets. So, and again, it's weird to talk about this when I'm talking about myself in theory too, but it's not
I
just
pick you,
me. It's
Tully.
people like me or other people with similar dispositions or whatever who are center left, center right. It also depends on who your audience is, who you're trying to speak to, who you care about influencing. It is true that there are lots of people on the right, obviously, who are totally okay with cruelty. Those are people who you're not trying to win over to your side, obviously,
Okay,
yes.
well, my
They're
audience
in
loved
for
it. They
eating the
gave me a
cats and
lot
the
of money,
dogs.
more money
They're
than
in
I've
for all
ever
of
made by
that.
shitting on you specifically and having a little 2-hour venting session.
That's
And then
good.
I went back and
You're
released
right.
a
No,
video
you're
to
right.
apply to
Because hold
Republicans.
on, because
God.
the far left actually gets more pleasure out of attacking
my audience is
heretics
far
than
left?
they do attacking
It
your
is.
Yes.
audience.
Kind of.
It's far left.
It's the
Yes, it
narcissism of
is.
small differences. It's more fun to fight
Yes.
amongst your amongst people who are closer to you tribally
Right.
than it is to fight the opposite, because it's
And if
expected
we
that
were-
you're going to
if-
fight the opposite.
And if I was having
Okay.
a town hall with a Trump voter, I wouldn't do that.
So my advice, again, if we go back to it,
Yeah,
Stephen,
okay.
would be specifically this. I think I've already said it multiple fucking
Can we do it
times.
without saying scorched earth?
Yes. No. Sure. I'll drop the scorched earth for today. But also, why the fuck would that even matter?
Because it
Why
doesn't
that-
mean
why-
anything. What does scorched
It
earth
does
mean?
mean something. It does
What does it
mean
mean?
something.
Define it.
I can't. I've already told you I don't know exactly
like when
where
the
heap of
lights
sand
go
is,
out.
but
It's
it's definitely
when the
over
lights go
50,000.
out.
No,
Like a
stop,
general
stop,
thing.
stop talking over me. It's definitely over 50,000 grains of sand. I know that for sure. And that's the stuff that I'm talking
What
about.
is the
In
50,000
case-
grains of sand?
Sure, one example would be right after a bunch of kids died, your joke has to be really, really, really funny, and it has to be more funny than it is offensive. Otherwise, it won't
This
hit
is a
well.
meme
and it's
answer. I don't
not
understand what you're
good.
saying. You're not saying anything of it. You're not saying that scorched earth or 50,000 grains of sand. You're just saying that the sand has to be appropriately colored. So then all these jokes are okay as long as they're funny enough? Or what?
To some degree, yeah, that's how humor fucking works. Typically, you decide whether or not a joke hits or not is
Okay,
its
so then
level
this
of
whole
offensiveness. It
conversation
has
has
to be a little
nothing to
bit
do
more
with
funny.
being. Then this has nothing to do with being too mean or nothing to do with going. It just has to do with being funny enough.
No, in the case of the joke, I'm giving you a specific answer. My answer to you specifically is that your threshold of when you go scorched earth, which I guess, do you want me to describe it? You get super nasty, you go after them, you don't talk to them, you make a bunch of insane comments about them that go viral, and then that person will never want to fucking talk to you again. That's what I mean by scorched earth. The shit that you've done with Asmongold and that you've done with Tectone. My criticism for your meanness specifically is that I think that your line for going scorched earth is too fucking low, and you are losing a bunch of retarded
What should the
moderates
line
who
for
would
going
be
scorched earth
way
be?
more open to talking to you if you were way less scorched earth in the way that you didn't go scorched earth with the red pill. You never
What is
fucking did.
What? I don't even know what you're talking about when you say I never fucking did. There are a ton of these guys that I blew up. What do you mean?
Okay, you haven't blown up Myron, even though he made monkey KKK jokes.
I've kind of attacked Myron before, but I don't know if
Not
like
scorched
he hasn't
earth.
I say that his shit is crazy. I don't know what else I'm supposed to fucking like. I make fun of the fact that he says the N-word. He's not really somebody who probably should be able to say the N-word because he's like fucking Sudanese or whatever. Like I don't like. There are plenty of
What
red
do you want
pill
me to
guys.
say?
Yeah, there
Okay.
are plenty of red pill guys that I've gone like super in on. I've gone in on the fucking
Sure.
Tates a ton. I've gone in on a ton of other people. Like what Myron
Sure,
is like
yeah.
totally outside of like my area and outside of like everything that I do. If he was the top streamer on fucking Twitch saying fucking
Sure.
insane unhinged shit, I'd
Scorched
probably be
earth.
talking about him a ton
Scorched
more.
earth. is whatever you need to do to blow up the relationship, whatever that would look like, which there's absolutely, there is absolutely things that you could do.
Anytime I make fun of anybody on the right in any capacity whatsoever, because that's what it takes. That's all it takes to go scorched earth.
You're allowed to go scorched earth, you stupid motherfucker. I've already said, just make sure that the people that you go, scorched earth over actually fucking deserve it and have earned it.
did deserve it. He was never going to talk to me. He was dodging every single conversation. Even when he got banned, he still dodged conversations, and he's making the most disgusting, abhorrent things possible on Twitch. And he's got the largest audience, and he's brainwashing to be fucking mega sycophants. What more would I need for him to go scorched? Does he have to personally make fun of me?
First of all, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what that line would be, but Myron has said way worse shit. Way fucking worse shit, and you have not nuked that relationship.
Because Myron is not in any area that I communicate in. I don't know. I don't know what I don't even know how many viewers their fucking podcast gets right now.
Who cares? What the fuck? Who cares about that shit? I'm talking about the level of social capital you have with people and how much you're willing to nuke it if they say things that piss you off. With Myron, you always couch what you're saying to some level of degree because you have social rapport and you're interested in maintaining it.
Literally criticizing
every. I think it's the right thing to do.
You're just wrong. The problem is that Myron is not like a soy fucking pussy. So you look at that and you're like, oh, Steven must not have upset him. But that's not the case. I made fun of the fact that I think his girlfriend had a fucking OnlyFans-ish Instagram. I made fun of the fact that he comes from the wrong place. We say the N-word. I call him crazy conspiracy theorist all the fucking time. Like I roasted the fuck out of Fresh when he had his whole crazy thing blow up. Like I've gone in on him a ton, but you don't see Myron freak the fuck out because whatever, we fucking make fun of each other and he doesn't take it personally at the end of the day. Like that's it. But with Asmongold, if I say fucking anything, it's over. And you're like, oh my God, you went scorched for them. That's his strategy. But you're playing into it. Like if somebody can be that disgusting and that mean to all sorts of other people and they get that turned off because somebody makes a comment about them, then fuck it. Like who cares? You were never going to appeal to this person anyway. You're playing their game.
First of all, what I'm saying is that in the case of Myron, I think you've done the right thing. I think part of why you can get away with being so critical of him is because you have a lot of social relations.
What's the difference between Myron and Asmongold? Myron will talk to me. I could debate Myron at any point in time.
So Asmongold might be a character where you can never talk to. That's super possible. I don't know if that's true for Tectone. In fact, I'm very confident.
The fact that he dodged however many conversations and the fact that he's now fucking slurping cum at a fucking donut, you know.
Come on, somebody flaking after saying yes.
No, I'm good. He didn't flake. Why do you think it's so accidental? These people are not flaking, they're dodging. It's obvious. We have Discord. There's a million ways to talk to somebody. I don't know how you believe somebody's like, oh, whoops, I can't travel, or oh, whoops, I can't make the show, or oh, I can't do a Discord. No, obviously the people are dodging. And then they rely on your understanding and charitability to just further that narrative. Well, they continue to act like a fucking insane person, and then the second you say something mean about them, a whole bunch of people love you like, oh, well, look, it's because you burnt the bridge. There was no bridge.
I think it would have been more effective. Can I jump in on this
friendly online conversation?
No.
Kyla, every single time, every single example.
Let Kyla finish, and then you can go, I promise.
Okay, what I'm saying in the case of Asmongold is it's possible that if you had warmed up and gotten a little cozier that he would have been willing to talk to you, right? People flake all the time. Maybe Tectone was just dodging. Maybe he was actually flaking. It's super hard to know, but I definitely don't think that because he flaked a couple of times and he has some bad takes that I'm going to nuke the entire relationship and any potential of talking to this individual. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's harmful. I think it's unuseful.
It was literally impossible to warm up to Asmongold any more than we already had. Like Asmongold was literally about to invite Dan on because of this whole fucking crusade against Twitch and everything else. And Asmongold even flaked on having Dan on. So no, that was never going to happen. Yeah, intentionally Kyla, not by accident.
Kyla, my issue is like every example you've had, and obviously this is kind of hard to like, project into the future, but they're all post hoc rationalizations where, well, Destiny got a lot of shit for this tweet, so this was a bad tweet, versus, well, this one really worked because clearly it's working, you still have that relationship.
Wait, and like that's not a post hoc rationalization. That's not a post hoc rationalization. Looking at the social response to stuff isn't a post hoc rationalization at all.
How much energy are we going to, how much energy are we going to spend worrying about which eggshell we're going to step on for these people that clearly are able to flip flop back and forth on very little things versus spending all of that energy into our own side, informing the policy. If you can praise me for calling a congressman, let me finish, Kyla. You interrupt. Okay, you didn't let me interrupt. All right. If you can praise me, which I thank you for calling a congressman retarded, and now he's inviting me out to his town halls, and now like there's clearly not a line. You can't define it. I can't define it. Why even fucking worry about it?
You didn't call retarded with malice.
You didn't call him retarded at all.
It doesn't matter. The point is being edgy in this situation. The point is I'm being edgy in a situation.
That was your fucking example.
The point
you want to walk it back?
The point
Do you want to walk back your example because it was bad?
That edginess
you didn't call him retarded,
bad,
and if you had called him retarded, he would have nuked you. You said, when is Trump going to call you retarded, and are you going to get ahead of it? Which was fucking funny and true.
Great.
It fucking matters.
You can't draw the line. I can't draw the line.
This isn't a post-hoc rationalization.
Kyla, please. Please let me finish. You can't draw the line. I can't draw the line. I'm not going to spend energy wasting time worrying about what the line is when I
On
don't
the
wanna
largest political streamer? Are we fucking stupid?
You think on Asmongold? You think that something I
Asmongold,
could say differently would make Asmongold start converting his audience to Democrats? You think something that Stephen or I could do?
In the case
what
of
are we to
Stephen,
do?
there are things that he could do to warm up and pressure Asmongold by being warm, by having some level of pushback that's still like toned and whatnot, that would pressure Asmongold, who is mostly just audience captured, to have Stephen on. I do think that that would have been possible. And getting on those shows, which by the way, because of Stephen's fucking comment, he's going to get nuked from most Republican shows because they are soy hypocrites. But also, now you can't talk to any of these people, which is fucking ineffective, which is my entire argument. It's fucking
Ollie's
stupid.
back right now,
And if
actually.
you want to do it, if
Ollie's
you want
right
to
here.
do it, if you want to do it because you are mad and exhausted with conservatives, you can fucking do it, but don't talk to me about being effective. I think absolutely, Stephen, there are things, you're a smart guy, that you could have done
effective or
to
moral
talk
again,
to
or which one
Tectone.
are we bouncing between? I keep forgetting because
We
you
have
keep changing
already
from whether
said
it's
from the very
moral or
beginning
effective.
you're being bad faith, and you know that you're
Well,
being
there are-
bad faith.
there are
Because you
two
know that I've already
elements.
summarized the position that there are two elements to this, which is that our moral principles are downstream for political effectiveness, but I am talking right now more exclusively about our political effectiveness, and this is not a crazy take to make. In
I'm
the
not saying
case
it's
of
crazy. I'm just saying that
Asmongold,
we bounce back and forth with these two
there's
things.
nothing you could have done. There's nothing you could have done to make Tectone
To talk to
connect
Asmongold?
with you.
For
Tectone.
Tectone, maybe, but probably not. Not now that he's
Come
part of the
the
new.
fuck
Not,
on.
now that he's part of the Texas, sharpshooter group. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Probably
Why?
not.
Is that, do you think that's because you
Because
nuked
those
the
people are all
relationship with
fucking
Donut
deranged.
Operator?
Because those people all fucking hate me too.
No,
what
it's
do you
because
mean?
you nuked your relationship with Donut Operator, which is why he won't talk to you because he's now friends
Because I
and
made
lives
a
in the same
fucking
city.
because I made a joke and he decided he hated me over the fucking joke. Started lying about our real life interactions.
Yes.
Why would I try so fucking hard to appeal to these people? If you want to do it, then knock yourself out. This is
I'm not saying you have to appeal to them and you have to go to them and you have to grovel.
You are.
But for
You're saying, like,
example, you could go to Donut Operator in private DMs, for example, be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. You could, there's probably things and steps you could have taken to mend that bridge and have enough social capital
I give
that
you
the
one question,
relationship didn't get nuked.
Sure, one question. Can you give me a single example in the past 10 years where a single Republican, either a lawmaker, president, alternative media influencer, or anybody online has ever done this ever? One example
I don't
ever.
give none. I
that's
don't want to be
okay.
Republicans. Wait, what the fuck are we even talking about? How the fuck are we going to
Now
say?
you just said,
No,
you said, I don't want to be
How the
Republicans.
fuck are
So
you
is it
going
about
to say
political
that we are
effectiveness or is
more
it about
morally
morality?
correct,
Because
we are
Republicans
more
have both have
morally
Congress.
upright,
They have
that we
three
are
vote
smarter,
lead in the
and that we
Supreme
know
Court
better,
and they have the
but
presidency.
also
So what do you
we
want to do?
have
Do you want to be
play
the morally superior party? Do you want to be the one that's
same
actually winning
fucking
elections?
Really?
Hold on.
Really?
Destiny,
We
you're
have
not
to play the
being- you're not
exact
being
same
entirely
game,
fair.
and yet somehow
No one said
we're
exact same
still
game.
losing. That's what you're advocating for.
I
You're
didn't
saying that we
advocate
should
for the exact same game.
Yeah?
Hold on.
You're saying, look
So
at all these
Republicans do
awful
is make mean
things that
jokes.
they
That's all
do.
they're doing. They make mean jokes. That's the exact same game. It's making mean jokes. Is that what I'm saying?
No.
Is that what you believe anything? Okay, so nobody said play the exact same game, so I don't know why
And
you're
why
saying
the
play
fuck
the
are you
exact same game.
listing all of the great evils and sins of Republicans to me? Do you think that I disagree with these things?
No, I'm asking you. You're saying that this is such a politically effective strategy is to mend bridges and try hard to keep relationships with people on the left. I'm asking if there's a single example of a Republican who's winning everything electorally ever doing this ever. One example.
In the case of building bridges, yeah, absolutely.
Who?
Winning electorally? I would say
who reached out to who to build a bridge and mend a bridge? When did this ever happen?
let me think.
Today,
What?
Thomas Massey, he's doing a bipartisan bill specifically on the Epstein shit, and he basically went hat in hand to Democrats.
Didn't Ro Khanna draft
Massey
that
is
bill?
on his way. Massey is getting eviscerated and ejected from the Republican Party because he's turning into a never Trumper. That's the example?
Good. And to be clear, I'm making a moral argument. Eerodite's making an effective argument.
Okay.
Okay. In the case of which Republicans have done this,
after
I
Kyla's
suspect
done,
that there's
I'll do what
actually a
Kyla
lot.
has
My
on this.
understanding of the Republican network is here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard is a great example of somebody that they were absolutely willing to build a bridge with, despite her being a long-term Democrat, because she was willing to toe certain lines.
She was no, Kyla.
Yes.
She had a history of very right-wing policy, and she flipped
Sure.
all of it before
Sure.
getting pulled over to the Trump. And that's
Sure.
why everyone was saying you're going to be a Fox News pundit in 3 years because they knew she was already a Republican.
Hold on,
That's a
no, this
horrible
is a
thing.
Problem is
self-fulfilling
that-
prophecy. They're like, if I keep calling
We
you
don't know if it's
conservative over and
self-fulfilling.
over and over again, if I keep calling you,
She
you're
was
conservative, you're
making
conservative,
conservative policies.
you're conservative.
That's
First of all,
why.
you're
Every
conservative.
content creator
Eventually,
who says,
people
"I
are going to
left
say,
the left,"
"Fuck it,
they've
I'm
erased.
conservative." That's what they're going to do.
Every single person who has said, I'm leaving the left has been embraced.
Yeah, because
It
they're
is
youthful
just
idiots, and
easier.
Prager says
It
that to
doesn't
their
matter.
face.
You stupid fuck. They're winning. It doesn't fucking matter. We won't
Oh, so
even
we
let
can
these
be
people
mean,
onto our
but
side.
accept them,
What
and
we're
it's
going to
fine.
do instead
You just said, wait, you
is
said
we're
it
gonna
doesn't matter
nuke-
they're winning, but then you said morals are important. Which one is it? You can't keep going between both arguments. What is it? Is the
I
only
said
thing
it
that matters how
doesn't
to
matter
win?
because
or is it
they
being
are
moral?
winning. I'm saying that the build bridging fucking
losing
worked for
because we're not
them.
building bridges?
Are you fucking
They didn't build the
stupid?
bridge. He jumped
They
ship.
did. Every single person who wants to move towards the left, they embrace warmly.
What part of the Republican platform changed to embrace Tulsi Gabbard?
Nothing. They just embraced
they
her
didn't
and then
build the
she
bridge.
shifted
They don't need
because
to.
people
You're
are
missing the
stupid.
point.
What
They
are you
don't
talking
need to.
about?
Okay. They don't need to use
What are you
policies.
fucking
We're talking about
talking about?
interpersonal
What
interactions.
Wait, when the fuck have I ever said that by building the bridge, Republicans are going to suddenly shift their policies?
That's what building
not
a bridge
what I'm
means.
talking
Building
about.
a bridge is another way of saying meet in the middle. If somebody jumps ships and goes completely to another party, that's not building a bridge.
What word would you like me to use for saying not meeting in the middle, but instead welcomes them to their side and are willing to talk to them kindly? And when I say kind, I don't mean nice.
Didn't Tulsi
Willing
vote
to
to
them.
impeach
Willing
Trump,
to
by the way?
respectfully disagree.
You could just match
wait,
energy. You
Tali,
could just
please.
match energy. And
Tali,
I think
if you
Destiny
came
does
out
that
and started
a lot of
supporting
times.
70% of the Democratic platform, I would accept you, but you don't.
Hold on. We're
She
not
already
talking.
does,
Hold on.
Soy Pill.
Stop,
That's the
please.
fucking
We're not
point.
talking. Look, the thing
Why
is,
aren't you going to vote for a Democrat?
you guys are talking about policies, and we're not talking about policies. We're talking about how we treat each other interpersonally and how we act on an interpersonal level, and that's going to be far more powerful than any policy you might have. Tali did want to say something, so I'm going to give the mic to Tali. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's like getting lost in all of this here, but I'll just pick up on what you just said. Yeah, it is the way you treat people. And again, it's about who you're trying to communicate to when you're communicating in that way. And so you can match people's energy. If someone is obviously a freak, if someone obviously is mocking death on their own side, then sure, you can do what you're doing to that. You're going to turn off some people, right? You do have to question, do you want to become the other side? I mean, everyone I think was rightfully horrified when all of the people on the right were making jokes about that trans kid who jumped off the bridge, right? And now
Wait, just to be clear, you're wrong. You're just totally fucking retarded if you believe that. Who is horrified?
People on the left, people in this conversation,
people with conscience.
My bad. Hold on. I
rescind that.
I thought you said people on the right were horrified because nobody on the right gave a fuck about that.
Well, she said everyone.
I rescind.
Bullshit.
I rescind my retarded. Go ahead.
Bullshit. I'm still here. No,
like-minded people here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Bullshit. There are people who have consciences, who are normal, who are not online all the time, who see somebody mocking someone who committed suicide, and they do care and they do find it repulsive. You thinking that everybody is some dissident right-wing psychotic
Alligator
freak
Alcatraz
is
in the building
bullshit.
right now? Alligator
It's
Alcatraz,
bullshit.
where the joke is
gonna
if they
help them
swim
or
away,
hurt
they'll
them?
get eaten by alligators.
Do you want me to go? Hold on. Do you want me to go talk to my conservative parents and ask them if they find that shit fucking repulsive?
Yeah, wait. People don't like that stuff either. And this goes back to what Kyla was saying earlier. It's like you would have to prove that people were voting, that the disaffected liberals, that the people who held their nose were somehow voting for Trump because they like the cruelty. The cruelty is the point for some people, not for the people that Kyla and Connor are talking about reaching and being open to and just treating like reasonable humans. They are different
But the point is that Connor, are your parents there right now, Connor?
No, they're in South Florida.
Okay. Don't want to.
Stop trying to talk to my mom.
Alligator
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz.
Stop trying to talk to my mom.
The problem is here's the issue. Because this is what I was going to demonstrate if Connor's parents were here. Because Connor's saying, "Oh, well, you want to ask my parents what they think about it?" And here's what I would do. I would go, "What do you guys think about it?" And I'm sure Connor's parents go, "Oh, I think that's really mean." And he would say, "Look at that, I owned you." And then I go, "Oh, just curious, do you regret your vote for Trump?" And they'd go, "No, I would still vote for him again. I'm going to vote for him for a third term." Fucking bad guy. And then I go. And then the problem is that what you can do is you can be cruel for the people that like the cruelty, but it doesn't turn off the other voters who don't give a fuck about it. So what
is not happening in a vacuum.
Stop. I want to talk. This isn't hypothetical. Okay. So what ended up happening was both of my parents, they lived in the Pacific Northwest for a few years, and they got exposed to a bunch of liberals and Democrats or whatever. And as a result, they kind of moderated in a lot of their perspectives. And so my dad got into a bunch of contrarian podcast stuff. And so as a result, he did vote for Trump in the last election. But my mother, who's been a hardcore pro-life fucking Republican forever, got so repulsed with what the Republican Party has become that she did not fucking vote in the presidential ticket, which, by the way, people can accuse her of being a fucking traitor for that because she didn't vote fucking Republican. I don't think that she voted for Kamala, but she didn't fucking vote for Trump. So acting like those people don't exist, you're losing those people when you conduct yourself this way.
Those people don't matter. Didn't Florida vote more for Trump this election than the last one?
Shit, moderates matter. Fuck you.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
I wanted to go with the fucking vote numbers when we could just have your mom as an example. I got to use that legitimately, by the way.
No.
But like, what's the point? Yeah, maybe your mom got turned off by the rhetoric,
Go with
but
the
did more
voting numbers.
people...
How much of people are independent or moderates who vote in general elections? How often are elections swung by moderates and independents? By the way,
Don't bring up Al Gore. He doesn't want to think about it. He doesn't want to think about it.
Shut up. Everybody shut up. I'm not done. Everybody keeps saying that the Republicans have been sweeping for a decade, but you omit the fucking fact that Donald Trump fucking lost. You can blame it on COVID. You can blame it on economics. He still fucking lost in 2020. So don't tell me that it's been a 10-year Republican sweep. It hasn't been.
I don't think anyone made that comment
Okay,
specifically.
I'm
But
gonna-
Kyla,
You
wait, I have
said
a
it
question.
multiple times.
I need to hold. No,
I did
stop.
not. Wait,
I need to
Kyla,
hold Steven because
Kyla,
he keeps on.
wait,
He
let
keeps
Let
on.
Kyla go then.
completely-
Kyla then
Wait,
Soy.
wait,
Kyla then Soy. Kyla then Soy.
No. Okay, I just want to be super clear. I don't know why you need to do this, Stephen, because if you're right, you can just engage with what I'm actually saying and not a new version of what I'm saying. I'm not waffling
Stephen.
back and forth between effectiveness and morality. I've said from the very beginning that it is pluralistic, right? You can have principles that are, having principles is effective because shared principles is part of how you collectivize, and holding yourself to those principles or failing to do so matters to the group.
What are the
And
principles,
Epstein-
though?
Yeah, but you
Epstein
couldn't
is a good
What are the
example.
principles, though?
Stop
Are
talking
the
about kids
principles
jerking off.
are the principles not being mean to people or not bullying people?
No,
No, stop
that's not
talking
the
about kids
principles that I'm
jerking off.
asking for. That's not
What
what I've
principles
ever
are we
said.
asking for?
What the?
Stop talking
sorry.
about kids jerking off.
I have said it.
Kids
at this
in
point
debt is a good line.
so many times. I don't even understand how you're possibly
Then
still
just answer it again. You
characterizing.
could have answered it at the time you're going to say that. It's the principle not
I don't care.
being
I don't care.
short-term.
I'm gonna grandstand at you too because you're being fucking bad faith, and I don't understand why you need to do this.
No,
if my
Kyla,
argument is so
we
bad,
really
you don't need to
understand what your argument
mischaracterize it. Shut the fuck up. You don't need to mischaracterize it as being mean is bad. Also, the argument Trump is mean, so being mean effective is fucking stupid, right?
Okay,
Because
Connor,
it's-
summarize Kyla's point, and let's see if Connor can summarize it. What
I
does Kyla
think
mean when she's saying-
kindness
when
is
we say-
effective. The
Oh
reason
my
I
God,
want you
okay.
to be kind is because I think it's good and I
what
think
is
it
our-
works.
So
And
we
what is our
can be
evidence?
kind, but we
What
can't
is
be
our
mean.
evidence?
But like,
Steven, if you build and maintain
What is the
relationships,
evidence of
Kindness
kindness
you can
being an
leverage
effective political
at
The
the
tool?
evidence is
it would be
2018,
more
2020,
effective.
2022.
You don't need to be kind. You need to be.
Love
you need
Trump's
to be
hate,
good,
guys,
You don't need to
2016.
be right, but you should be good faith to people who are good faith to you. You don't
Kind
need to
doesn't
be
mean
kind.
nice.
You don't need to
Sorry,
be kissing
whatever
people's
fucking
ass.
word you guys
Sure,
want to
yeah.
use. I didn't say don't be mean. When I'm saying kind, I'm mean to people all the fucking time. I'm also not saying don't be be perfect. I'm also failing my own standard regularly. So just to be clear, I'm not talking from a fucking pulpit. What I am talking about is
kind doesn't have anything to do with being mean. What is kind? What do we say when you say being kind?
kind. When I say kind, what I mean is like a more broader thing of understanding them as a person, trying to get into their worldview and engaging in good faith, actually engaging with what they're talking to. And at your best, which by the way, you, Stephen, at your best, is when
I'm
you
not an
steel
elected
man, shut the fuck
politician.
up. Shut the fuck up. When you steel man your opposition, you understand what they are saying and you give them
and if
the
you want to
best
build a
version of your
YouTube
argument,
channel, you can
and
do
then
that.
you
We're talking
dismantle it.
politics right now. When did the Republicans ever do this? One example.
What? I'm sorry. What the fuck are we talking about? Do you not think that YouTube channels and YouTube debates have any effect on
asking,
politics?
What do we think? I'm saying of all of the Republicans, what Republican channel emulates this idea that you're talking about the most?
I've already
It's not
said that.
Republicans, but
Constantine
it's-
Kissin.
it is seen. It's the center right that, especially leading up to the election, was seen as the open-minded space.
Yes,
an area
Joe
where yes, you
Rogan's
could have
were seen
reasonable
as open-minded.
conversation.
They would have
There you go.
anybody on theoretically.
They would have anybody on when he started hosting conservative after conservative after conspiracy theories. When he would
Yeah,
dodge
he
people.
sure
Didn't
got
we have-
sucked in
didn't
by
we have-
audience capture.
didn't we
I
literally
wonder
have a
why.
guy-
I
didn't
wonder
we-
why people like being conservative more than left. I wonder why the fuck that is.
True.
That's my
remember
whole
when,
issue.
Remember when
That's so
Flint,
mean.
when the Flint Dibble guy went on and he was so mean and so aggressive and so horrible, and then Joe Rogan re-brought on the other Stephen Graham or whatever the fuck guy or Graham Hancock or whatever who roasted the fuck out of Flint when he literally is dying of cancer.
Yeah.
That's the that's the guy we need
That
to
was
appeal
really
to. Holy
bad.
shit!
Joe
We should have
Rogan is
no,
not
that
as
was
neutral
so
as he
bad. And Joe
pretends to
Rogan,
be.
and then his Spotify
Kyla-
deal got canceled.
Think
He
about
lost
Brett
all of his
Weinstein.
money. All
Think
the
about
Republicans
Brett
lost their
Weinstein.
elections.
Kyla,
Like, oh my
Kyla, do you
God.
think it would be more effective to be edgy and authentic in front of Joe Rogan, or to be like, "Oh, Joe, you're so nice, and we're not going to be mean to you, and we want to accept you into our party"? Like, what do you think appeals to
Yeah,
you
no,
more?
it
All the
feels like- it
comedians
feels
that go
like
on and
you
do
don't need
edgy
to- you don't need
questions,
to
or the
be
ones who-
insincere.
Hold on, you're
Soy Pill?
strawmanning-
If
hold
this
on,
is
hold on.
genuinely-
You're strawmanning Kyla because she's obviously pro being edgy and being real.
But yeah, so
was
she
on
keeps
the-
saying
was
that,
on
and then
the
but then
go
she
to
can't point to a thing,
politicians
and then
say
saying kindness is
retard
really
things.
What the
important,
fuck
except
are we
for when
even
it's
talking
not.
about, Soy Pill? I've pointed to multiple things. I've talked about his nuking of Tectone's relationship. I talked about the way that you talk to Tally. I have given you
No,
very
I'm
specific
different
examples.
examples.
The
Please, but
reason
talk to
you
me,
guys
Kyla.
need to strawman me is because the reality is that
asking
I
about
am not
Republicans being
incorrect.
nice.
If
We're
if it
asking
was
about
the
Republicans
case
being
that
nice.
the left was so cozy and it was so fun to hang out with, then maybe we would win against
Fun
a
to hang
fucking
out with is
rapist.
autistic
But we
and
didn't.
Republicans
I
We
just have a
didn't, did
housekeeping
we?
question.
And it's not because of edgy
We're
jokes.
asking about examples
in
for the
part-
Republicans being nice. When are the Republicans nice? When are they being nice
I'm
to
not
people?
saying that. I'm not saying any of this shit.
Well,
On
is
an
it offensive?
rating
interpersonal
alone.
level,
The political
hold on, no,
effect
I'll
there.
answer Destiny's question. On an interpersonal level, Republicans have been on balance nicer to me than Democrats have.
Okay, well, you're not a
Same.
Republican.
I'm
guys,
not.
I
I
gotta
know
go,
because
so I
I'm not
just wanted
retarded, right? And I believe in
Did you vote
actual
Republican?
principles and things like that. But unfortunately, not everyone
Wait,
is like Wick, and there are a lot of
Asking
people
somebody who's
who are much more
principled
retarded
doesn't
than Wick
change their
is.
principles because
Okay.
somebody
Let
was
him get
mean
in.
to them. Is sorry.
Why are you
I
talking
have to
to
leave.
Natalie by
So
saying
I
her
want to
principles
make.
change?
Can I make
Yeah,
a kind of a closing
counterpoints.
statement
You
and then dip
gotta
out?
go. So we're gonna give your spiel and tell people where they can find you. I know this
Okay.
is run long, but it's good content.
It's okay. I gotta go take care of stuff. So, anyways, the line that you guys have asked for repeatedly is probably kids jerking off and dead kids. That's my line. I've repeated it probably 3 or 4 times. And then also, I forgot what the fuck else I was gonna say. Have fun ripping each other apart. I parasocially love you. Have a beautiful night.
Okay, go find him. I have a link to his
Connor.
politics channel in my YouTube description. Go click that link and give him a follow. He spent his time with me. Bye.
Bye, Connor. But
Okay.
yeah, so
The
Kyla,
only reason that I
as
can
disgusting as you
possibly
found my
conceive of-
behavior to Tali, she is back now talking to me and is open to a conversation. So clearly it's not so politically ineffective that it can at least continue a conversation. So what the fuck are
If
you
you're
talking
going,
about?
Soy Pill,
a
if
few
you're just
things.
going, hold on, let me respond. If you're just going to be disgustingly bad faith with me, not actually engage in my ideas and not talk to me, I'd prefer if you
Kyla,
weren't here. Actually,
I
if
promise
I'm being
I'm
quite
not being
frank.
bad faith. I genuinely don't understand what you're trying to say or
I have
propagate.
told
Like
you guys-
it does feel like you're jumping around a lot. I'm not trying to.
I'm
strong
not.
man it.
I'm
Literally,
not.
I don't know what
I'm
you're
not.
advocating for us to do.
You guys, first of all, Steven has done a really good job of strawmanning me as jumping around. I have not jumped around at all because I've said multiple times 2 things. Number 1, morals and ethics can be downstream of political efficacy. In fact, I think sticking to your principles and values is politically effective. Number 2, I think going scorched earth, like nuking relationships before you have any chance to build any warmth, is bad for political efficacy. I also think making jokes about dead kids immediately is optically always going to be an L. I have said this over and over and over and over again. And if you guys can't handle that, that's fine. But that's what I'm talking about.
No.
And now to
Okay,
Soy
let me
Pill,
try to
my
let me try to
criticisms
clarify
of
this.
you.
Can I
No,
ask-
I'm not.
Because you
I
just
have
said 3 things, and now you're going to move on for. We need to clarify this, okay? Like
I don't need you to
promise I'm
respond to
trying
my criticisms of
I'm
Destiny.
not
Why the fuck would you
responding.
talk for your
I wanna
boyfriend? He can
understand
respond for
it.
himself.
Can I understand it, please?
Sure.
Okay. So you're saying that morals are downstream of policy, right? Or policy is downstream of morals, correct?
Effective policy can be downstream of principles.
Okay,
Yeah.
can be right. But now it seems like you clearly don't
is.
have a hard line. I mean, well, you do. Dead kids are a hard line of meanness. You shouldn't go about dead kids. But in general, you don't have like some.
Well, they're not a hard
exact...
line, right? I already said that, like,
You
probably. 2
just
weeks
said
after
don't
would
do
die.
it.
Jesus fucking Christ. I actually feel like I'm talking to MAGA people right now. I said when
Blue
he
MAGA.
said it quote tweeting people actively looking for the children within, like, I think 48 hours of the tragedy happening. The reality is it was
wouldn't
more
be edgy if it was
offensive.
20 years later.
I don't care about it being edgy. I care about the reality that the public reception to it, including even on his own
That's what
base,
edgy
was
is.
overall.
You can't dodge away from the word edgy. That's why it's
Can I
edgy.
just
because
ask
it
a
is
quick question?
recent
I
and
can
Hold on,
make
I need
jokes
to
about black
ask a
people,
quick
but I might not
question.
make it right after, like, a shooting on
Yeah.
black people.
I
right?
just
I
need
might
to
just
know.
say,
What if it's
Hold on,
really
stop,
funny, though?
stop,
What if it's
everyone
really
stop,
funny?
everyone
It's
stop,
more
everyone
edgy,
stop,
and if
everyone
it's
stop.
really funny
Kyla,
and it
please.
hits well,
Please.
then you will get away
That's
with
why
it.
it's
Soy!
about rationalization.
Oh my God!
It's
It's not
I will
post
mute you
hoc.
if I have to.
Just because
I just have
things
a.
are going to be relativistic, it doesn't make it fucking
Okay,
post hoc.
I have a
Otherwise,
question.
your moral system couldn't fucking exist, you fucking retard.
Okay, well,
Obviously,
great.
I'll go
things
to
are
Trump
going
now.
to be socially informed.
Okay.
If every single person, including on Steven's own side, is like, yeah, I don't love that. If consistently,
Wait, don't say every
Republicans
single person on my
don't-
side, because that's absolutely not true. There are lots of
If
people
it-
on my side that also
Sure.
really like the super edgy,
a large
aggressive stuff,
percentage.
so-
A large percentage. If most Republicans that I talk to that like Steven and think he's smart cite that as a really hard no-go, I agree that it's soy and beta and loserish behavior on their behalf. However, I am willing to basically look past that because I would like to pull them to my side more than I care about holding their feet to the fire for being mad over a joke, if I'm being completely blunt and honest.
Okay.
Do you think-
Okay. Stop.
Wait, can I ask you the
Stop.
fifth question,
Nope. You're going to
please?
get muted because otherwise no one will stop and no one will actually let me ask my question. Dev, why
Also,
the
dead
fuck
jokes
are
are
you
always
here?
edgy.
Dev,
saying.
you have said nothing this whole time. Why the fuck are you here?
Well, you pulled me in. I don't know. I was talking. Tally had me talking to her privately. You just pulled me in.
Do you not want to be here? We're gonna let you go.
Oh no, I can still be here. That's fine. That's no problem.
No,
I mean, I have been watching this and taking notes. I have
contribute
a few
is what I'm
comments.
telling you to do.
I have a few comments, but
Go
it's
ahead.
nothing related to what you guys have just said. It's a different thread of the conversation. But if you're okay with that,
Go ahead.
So it seems like everyone here is talking about two different things, because what Soy Pill has done to Tally is a different type of thing than what Destiny has done on Twitter. Because with Tally, it's a single person, and you have to approach a conversation with a single person very differently than putting out a public statement towards a larger audience. Which is why the edgy joke excuse works in one of these; it doesn't really work in the other one, basically. I'm not sure if leaning full into the optics conversation. I don't know if the optics stuff even hurts the Democrats, frankly, long term. It might, but like it is like you say, the right seems to suffer no real blowback when they do really edgy or even really disgusting stuff. So I don't really buy the argument that, oh, this is hurting us. This is hurting the Democrats. But at the same time, on an individual level, I think it absolutely hurts long term, if not short term, absolutely long term. I mean, I was friends with Sargon until 2024, from 2015 to 2024, and he was not the right winger that everyone said he was in 2015. He became that guy, and he became that guy after leftists got him banned from Patreon. And it's like, well, you created the monster, basically. And I think that's something that you should probably reckon with.
The left's fault. Okay, Kyla. So do we have to make a funny calculation, like before it happens, of how well it will hit?
Wait, are you just not going to engage with Dev?
No, I just don't give a shit whether or not Sargon was forced into being a right winger, and he just summarized things that we've already said. But I have a genuine question.
You don't want to ask
might move
one of Sargon's
the conversation.
close friends about his
I
okay.
don't. The conversation's not about Sargon. It's not about Sargon. It's about if you treat people like Tally poorly, who they will be in 5 years.
They'll turn into fucking Nazi rhetoric.
If you could stop that, why wouldn't you? If you could stop that simply by exercising some self-discipline and self-control and not being a fucking retarded asshole to them, why wouldn't you?
Oh, shit, it's like the meme with the guys in the mine, and it's like the Democrats were just one nice comment away from finally hitting gold with Republican empathy. We're so close. Fuck.
No,
we need one more restraint.
It's again.
It's a simple concept. Moderate. I'm sorry, but it's a simple concept. If you treat people well, they will respond positively. If you treat people poorly, they will run away from you, or in some cases, oppose you. When you treat people like shit, they're gonna fight you. I don't understand.
So like when Trump played games with FEMA funds in 2019 and in 2016, even 2017, after that one hurricane with North Carolina, nobody gave a fuck. Or when he threatened to do it with California, and then Biden came in and he played games with FEMA funds. And then Trump came in and then he played games with FEMA funds again. It's
why are we even assuming? Why are we assuming that the bases of these two groups are going to be galvanized by the same thing? I don't know why would we assume that Republican bases will be galvanized.
Because we probably assume that all humans are galvanized by about the same shit always. It's typically we're all kind of more or less the same.
Really? Between left and right? I don't know if we should just presume that. Right?
What is the fundamentally different aspect of humanity between the left and the right?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, typically when we do personality tests, we can like almost perfectly predict the political predilection that they're going to be towards. Because typically, if you're conservative, you're going to have things like low openness to experience and high conscientious.
So first of all, you absolutely cannot perfectly predict. The highest predictability is where your parents' political parties are. Number one, okay, you can make slight predictions, sure, but even so, somebody who has
now you're softening it too much.
I'm not softening it at all. Pretty sure the most predictable thing is the political party of your parents. I think the political heritability, I think, is the most important thing. But even that, I think, is like 60% or something. Regardless, though, the even if one person might score differently on their big five or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't appeal to the people more or less the same way. You might do it like with a slightly different group, like an in-group versus an out-group. But I think more or less humans are all kind of the same shit in terms of like what makes us laugh and what's funny. And making fun of out-groups is a thing that most people enjoy doing.
Sure.
I don't know about that. I'm not going to agree with that.
Okay. Do you think that shame tends to make people move towards you or away from you?
Well, it probably depends on the type of shame. I can probably do either one. It depends on what you're shaming. It depends on how you're doing the shaming.
Sure. Okay. Let's get into the nuance. What type of shaming is effective and when?
I imagine that it probably depends on who the shame comes from. So if it comes from like role models, or if it comes from people in your life that you look up to, it's probably more effective. So if you've got a role model that's saying something like, oh, smoking is cool or smoking is bad, it's probably more likely to have an impact on you. Probably depends on the age that it hits you at. So shaming at an earlier age is probably something that would discourage somebody from a behavior more likely than shaming somebody at a later age. Probably depends on the other types of like coercive control that is around the shame. So if you're shamed in like a classroom environment where then a teacher and your social group can reinforce it, as opposed to like a TV commercial shaming you and then you can turn it off and it's a little bit more isolated. I don't know. Probably, I guess there's a ton of different ways that it can work or can't work. It depends on the thing.
Yeah. So one of the things that we know as well, that shame is very ineffective on things that are really hard to change or like deeply ingrained into us, such as, for example, I'm given this a lot, being fat. Doesn't work to shame you. Unfortunately, shaming fat people, if it did work, it would have worked. It doesn't make people want to change their lifestyle enough to get skinny because it's very lifestyle based.
Yeah, but I don't think being fat is a good marker here for who you vote for or your political beliefs.
I agree. In fact, I think that being who you vote for is often way more deeply ingrained into your identity than being fat. And so if it's not even effective,
just to be clear, that is absolutely not true. That's not even remotely close to being true.
You don't think that being Republican isn't deeply ingrained into a lot of people's like strong political identity?
Nope. I think that you could, I think it is, compared to being fat, do you think it would be easier to go from obese to ordinary BMI or to change from Republican to Democrat?
Hold on, I'm talking about how much it's closely tied to your identity, not how difficult it is for the behavior to change.
We're talking about what else would we be talking about? We're talking about the effectiveness of changing a behavior, and then we're saying, well, let's see what's more closely tied to a person's identity, or we just bring that up as an irrelevant reason. I thought we're bringing this up
tied to an identity. I don't think being fat is nearly as closely tied to people's identity as being Republican, right?
Okay, maybe not, but I mean, like shaming somebody out of a political belief would probably be a lot easier than shaming them out of being fat.
Why?
Because I don't think shame is an effective way to change somebody to being fat, because there's a whole bunch of other systems that are working against a person to make them fat than systems that work with people's political beliefs.
What systems would be working against somebody from shifting from R to L?
It super depends on the environment that they're in. If they, for instance, if it's like
the average environment,
not like core biological functions that are being preyed upon by hyper sweetened and fattened foods, like it's not the same.
I think like you could have like friend groups maybe that are keeping you in a certain political thing, maybe. But I mean, like there are whole groups that can change slowly over time. We saw it with the tech bros and the whole liberal thing. You'll never see that with like being fat.
Yeah, people will often drift in the direction that as you said, their parents voted, right? So like the family group around them is going to be super important for predicting who they tend to vote for, right?
Yeah.
So if you're asking them to shift from right to left, you're asking them to not just unearth one behavior, which is a vote, but potentially to unearth all of their social connections as well.
Yeah, it's hard.
Depends, but I mean, like, again, there are whole groups sometimes that shift. Like all the tech bros kind of shifted in this weird MAGA direction, and that didn't require any of them to abandon their friend groups.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to shift your identity, which is why I'm saying I don't know if I'm convinced that shame is going to be super effective.
Okay, yet the Republicans weaponize and utilize shame, and they have for the past 12 years, and they have all of the levers of power right now. So I don't know what I'm supposed to make sense of that as. Are they doing this to their detriment and they could be even more effective?
So people are voting for Trump because he's shaming them now?
He seems to be shamed. It's not about you. You seem to think that it's like there's 100 people going into the ballot box and we have to fight over those 100 people, but it's not. There's 330 million people and like 40% of them don't vote ever. And it's a matter of like, who can you get to go to the ballot box? Trump works on shaming and attacking other people. He'll shame his own fucking party if he has to. If there are people in his party, like he's doing it right now with the Epstein shit, or he does it to Massey, or he does it to the Never Trumpers, and he gets them excised from the party. So yeah, it seems like Trump literally operates around like shame and fear.
Yeah,
and it's been really effective for him.
So, sorry, you think that shame has been the thing that's been effective for Trump and not something else?
I think there are multiple things at play, but shame and divisiveness and everything. Seems like it, yeah. I would guess it is, yeah.
Really?
Given that he seems to be the most shameful and divisive president in the past, my lifetime,
he's like rated as like one of the least popular presidents.
Yeah, but least popular because of how divisive he is. Like, he might be the least popular overall because the left doesn't like him, but the right love him. It's like 90% popularity.
Yeah, Republicans seem to like him a lot, like the MAGA people. However, there's a massive schism happening right now where people are incredibly
you keep saying massive schism, and that is yet to be determined. We don't know if that'll even be the case.
That's the question.
In
wild.
a second,
first of all,
after they go, I'm
to
going
not
to read
call
a
it a
couple more
massive
of the super
schism when
chats.
Trump himself is calling it a pretty major schism. You're right. We don't know
I
the
don't
effects
consider
it's
truth
possible.
or tweets massive schisms. When it comes to voting, we'll look for the massive schisms.
It's not just tweets. Come on, it's people burning MAGA hats. It's people calling for Pam
Who's
Bondi to be
resigned from
fired.
this?
It's
Okay,
Dan
has he been fired?
Bongino.
Has anybody resigned? Bongino is no longer talking about being fired. He moved back. Now the conversation about whether we're firing Jerome Powell. So, and I don't think Bondi's going anywhere. And Bovey might leave because he's trying to be nominated to be a fucking federal judge. So it seems like none of that is happening.
I think Candace Owens even came out saying that she might have regretted her vote for Trump.
Candace
Right?
Owens is always a wild card. She's fucking insane. She's not like a reliable person on any side.
Increasingly, Joe Rogan is talking very negatively of Trump as well, right? He's very upset about some of the deportations that have been happening, and he's very mad about the Epstein files. He's way less mad about the
that's cool that he's finally moving that direction. But if one mean tweet or if one odd statement by Biden is enough to totally change somebody, and it's taken like 6 months of the most unhinged possible behavior from Donald Trump to finally get Joe Rogan to kind of start saying some mean things about him, maybe on his podcast, fuck that shit. What a waste of fucking time. Turn out your own base.
Okay,
so those people are completely worthless. They're not worth appealing to in any way, shape, and form. Just galvanize your own base.
I didn't say
base is
they
smaller
weren't
than
worth
the time.
I'm just saying that
Our
if your
base is smaller than theirs, so we'll lose
hypothesis
every
is that
time.
bullying people is a bad thing, it seems weird that the most bully candidate in like all of our lives' history is the one who's had like the most political success in terms of at least like winning, votes and shit. That seems to be kind of weird to me. I don't understand. Maybe he just happens to be doing something else really good and that's hurting him, but we can't see it.
Yeah, but we've had how many like historical unprecedented events that led up to him winning back the election? Because he didn't just win it consecutively. He lost it to Joe Biden, right? And then he won it again with, major historical events that we've never seen before. In fact, every single incumbent, I shouldn't say every single because you're going to get me on that one. Most incumbents globally also lost their race, right?
Yeah.
So why are we assuming that it's because he's mean and divisive and that therefore it's effective for us to be divisive?
Because it doesn't seem to be hurting him at all. And it seems to be... where's the evidence? Where would I look to see the evidence of it hurting him?
He's the only president to ever lose an incumbency until Joe Biden. Well, I guess he didn't
technically
lose it.
He
got out while he was still winning, actually. Yay, Joe Biden.
Hey, Jimmy Carter, one of the nicest presidents ever, actually lost his incumbency.
Yeah, what are we looking at for Trump to see if the bullying is not working? Well, what seems like it's not working? Like, how do we see this as evidence that it has been ineffective in the past?
Well, we can look at people running away from his policies almost across the board.
He doesn't bully the base, right? So he bullies like politicians and stuff like that. That is true, which is different from the type of vitriol that we see from the left, which is again just like punching at other vaguely liberal people who are not as pure as you.
Everybody here, everybody here. Well, I hope even Soy Pill thinks that that's fucking stupid. That's dumb.
Also, by the way, and this is part of the shit that I get is like, why you focus so much on the left, and it's because that's where I spend all of my time and have spent all of my time my entire life. So yes, the right is guilty of all of the same things that we're talking about.
Sure.
But it's like
that statement that you just said. Wait, can you explain this? I'm just curious, okay? Because that statement that you just said, nobody on the right would ever say that. That would ever say like, oh, the reason why I attack the right so much is because I'm on the right more. Nobody on the right would say that. Why are there so many people on the left like you that would say something like that? Like, oh, I attack the left all the time because that's where I spend all my time at. I'm not like attacking you. Sorry, that came off really aggressive. But I'm just curious, like, what is it that caused it to happen?
I have no idea. Well, I don't know. Who was it that was saying the other day?
I can answer it if you want.
Nev, right? The loyalty, priority basically on the right. Is that
I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That was basically what I said in last week's conversation, which is the same conversation as this one. Is that and Eerodite, I know you know this because I know that you know Hyde. The right tends to prioritize loyalty more as a value. The left tends to prioritize self-criticism more as a value. This is a personality difference, very broadly speaking, in the two sides. And that leads to basically right-wingers being more loyal even as things start to fuck up, while left-wingers, they'll be more self-critical when things fuck up. And so that it leads to, you have like more purity spiraling on the left, and you have more circling the wagons on the right, basically. It's a difference in behavior of the two sides.
Here's something that I really want to understand, because what I would point...
I've been holding it in for like 15 minutes.
It's up to Wick.
Okay. Wick, can I ask a question?
Your question.
Kyla?
You've been holding it in. Release.
So this is okay. So this is about the whole idea of like these edgy jokes, especially when they don't land, are going to alienate a bunch of moderate voters, specifically people like the Joe Rogans or these like, average, like you said, these kind of dullard people that do have these huge audiences. My question to you is, if these people, if you watch these shows, if you watch Joe Rogan, if you watch the Nelk boys, they're making edgy jokes constantly. They're mocking dead kids. They're making 9/11 jokes. They're making Holocaust jokes. And if anything, it endears them when people are able to cross like over that line and be like, hey, look at me. I'm authentic. I'm not scared to say this, which is something something that people were saying was alienating about the left, that they're too purity testing. So why is it that somehow like there should be any line of edginess that is going to scare away these people who live and thrive in it? It just doesn't make any sense.
Because in general, even the edgiest edge boys tend not to love jokes at the expense of kids, especially when the kids are like actively still missing and might be dead. Like people just tend not to like that. I'm not saying that that's like some morally good thing or something that's like defensible in a rational way. This is just like how people feel, and you can base that on how people react.
Real quick. This is why we're really confused, because you keep saying it's not about jokes, but then you keep like centering it on like that particular type of joke. I think the broader question
I've talked way more about your scorched earth stuff than I have about the joke.
No, but I don't think Soy Pill's thing was what about this one joke. It was like, why can everybody on the right make all of these unholy comments constantly, and it's seen as an endearing quality? But then on the left, like you keep bringing up this one thing, but it's anything. You can't joke about anything about the right on the left.
Their jokes endearing.
Well, their audience does. Their own audience, their target audience.
Andrew Schultz audience, Joe Rogan audience, Nelk Boys audience.
I feel like I'm pretty sure I've seen major Republicans make like rape jokes about a fucking autistic Swedish girl who's that one Greta Thunberg or whatever, about like fucking her when she turns 18 or whatever. Like, so I don't understand where all of the head ringing comes from.
I agree. What I'm saying is that their jokes are funnier than they are offensive to their target audience. If your target audience is going to be moderates don't really like dead kid jokes.
No, those people make the jokes. Joe Rogan's make the jokes. Andrew Schultz they're making Holocaust jokes, dead baby jokes, like all. And
everyone still found it distasteful within 2 days. I don't know what to tell you. People aren't super rational.
Okay,
I'm not saying don't make edgy jokes.
Okay,
no, it's working for them.
Hold on, it's
the moderates. It's working for
because
the
they are
moderates.
making jokes that are more funny than they are offensive, and unfortunately, the timing of a joke matters. Wait, this is obviously fucking
true. First of all, you
said
never dead baby jokes. By the way, you said no. The time doesn't matter. You should never joke about children. But these people are joking about dead kids in the Holocaust, dead kids in Khmer Rouge shit. Go watch any Joe Rogan with a comedian on. They make edgy fucking jokes all the time. I should have never say make dead baby jokes. I'm saying in general, the timing of dead kid jokes kind of matters, right? And when dead kids are still actively missing, people don't tend to like it because it's more offensive. That joke has to be so fucking funny to be defensive. And that's how humor works all the time. I know you're getting mad about this. This is like
before we loop on this.
I don't know what to tell you.
Comedian is different, and
stop!
also it's different.
Let me get my thoughts out. Stop. Comedians will tell you this all the fucking time. I'm not even making up this rule. This is just how it seems comedy works. If something is going to be offensive and edgy, which most of us like, it needs to be more funny than it is offensive. It has to be to their target audience.
The comedian crowd has literally fallen into the exact same trap that you have, though, where they talk about how being edgy and all this is so important, and they won't fucking make fun of anybody on the right. They do the exact same thing, but they'll be as edgy as they can. Like, I'm about to tell all my friends a real edgy joke. You know, trannies have fucking girl cock. Oh, and they all laugh. Oh my God, so edgy. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan, the king of comedians, has some guy on that does an RFK impression, and after saying 3 words, he's like, stop that. That's not okay. So even the same folly that they're making, you're like quoting them as though they're giving you some actual good advice here, but they're not. They don't even follow their own advice on that, because if you had a really funny, edgy joke about Trump, they just get ass pain. They don't like it. They want to hear their own shit.
And they're probably going to start getting in trouble. In fact, I'm increasingly seeing lots of moderate comedians who are super critical of Joe Rogan because he's not that funny, and he's increasingly getting sensitive. So it's coming for them too, their own hypocrisy. I agree that that's too soy. We should be able to make fun of RFK Jr. at any time. His voice does sound fucking stupid.
But not dead kids.
Yes, there's a difference between making fun of RFK Jr., who is alive, and a dead child.
Probably not a good look.
Unless you can preemptively determine it'll be way funnier than it is offensive.
Again, I don't know what to tell you.
Wait,
what the fuck are we even talking about? Have you never had social interactions where you have to gauge whether or not the joke's gonna land well or not? If you haven't done that before, go outside and make some friends. Everyone else understands that yes, you do a preemptive calculation to figure out whether or not something will land well or not or not. And unfortunately, in the case of Steven's joke, it landed well with his base and certain liberals who are very angry at the hypocrisy of the right, and it didn't land well with anybody else that he might try to build a relationship with later. And in fact, it is the result of nuking him.
That's every single offensive joke ever. It lands well with your group, and it doesn't land well with the other group. The only difference is here, we're trying to say like, oh my God, like our jokes have to land well with literally everybody, or else we're going to be offended over it. But their jokes are allowed to land well with their...
I'm saying your jokes, unfortunately, in this instance, have nixed you from interacting with all these people that you should be able to, because you're one of the most effective communicators on the left.
Something completely different if they had liked that joke. It was the whole point.
Of course, I'm already said it's It's fucking subjective. Keep the fuck up, Soy Pill.
No,
the entire
the
time,
point is
humor
that, like,
is
you can
always
look back and be like,
subjective
well,
about
that one
the target
didn't particularly
audience.
work
Now,
very
if what
well.
Destiny
But
wants to do is burn all bridges with Republicans and not be able to talk to them, then he's doing it fine. If all he wants to do is galvanize the left, which he's saying he might want to do, then honestly, I have no complaints. If his goal is to talk to the right and to talk to moderates and to pull them to his side, which is what he's good at. By the way, my husband used to be a conservative, is left because of him. Almost like 5 people every fucking Canvas event came out to me who were conservative before they started listening to you. So that is what you're good at, Stephen. And I would be shut the fuck up.
10 years.
You haven't been tracking. I'm
Being
sorry.
edgy
He
is the
fucking
problem.
lost.
Erudite
He lost
is
in
pro-edgy.
He lost his election in 2020. Nobody here is reasonably going to say that Trump won because he's mean and edgy. He probably won despite him being mean and edgy. What I am saying here is that if Stephen wants to target a moderate
That's the most
audience,
random thing to assert without evidence about the most edgy guy ever.
it's the most random thing to assert as obviously being the case when we have no evidence. What the fuck are we even talking about?
He is the
Destiny,
most
I hear what
edgy
you're saying. I
person.
hear what you're
He is the
saying. Wait, but
most
hold
offensive
on.
president ever.
Well,
And
we
we're saying,
don't
like,
know
well,
if
maybe
that,
that was hurting
wait,
him.
isn't it possible
but
that people
Kyla
would
is
like him like
stipulating that
8
there are
times
people
more?
Well,
If he
and there are
wasn't
people
like
who held
this?
their nose. There are people who are held their nose. So you can count the bases of each side. And then there are the people who were movable in the middle. Maybe they all made a terrible mistake in voting for him, but there are people who held their nose in doing so, that it was not the cruelty that they were voting for.
That's my argument, though, is that they can hold their nose and vote for him, and while they're holding their nose, there's a whole bunch of other people who love the smell of the pig shit. Like, that's the problem, is he's able to capture both. But that's because on the right, they'll hold their nose, and then the left will go, oh no, we're above that. And then they're just like...
No, the left who
I have
didn't
a
show up to
feeling-
the vote,
I
where the
have a
left were
feeling-
like, we did, like, oh, Biden, he's not wanting to kill all the Israelis. We're not going to vote for him. That's why they didn't vote, right? It's not because of like, oh, we're being too mean to Republicans, right? That is because Biden.
No, I'm not implying that Biden left because of edgy jokes or anything. I'm just saying that, or I don't know if that was the implication. I'm just saying that this type of like hyper fascination with if we're being too mean or not is a conversation that only happens on the left.
Fascination. It's not a hyper fascination, at least not of mine. I'm not super overly concerned.
Okay, I still can't enunciate your position or articulate your position. Whatever your position is,
Really?
nobody on the right cares about it or talks about it. And they seem to be doing really well politically. So I just don't know why we would have a whatever adjective you use to describe about it.
Is it that we barely lost, or we lost by a landslide? Which is it? Because I feel the left is saying.
In some ways, I would say we lost by a landslide. In some way, it depends on who I'm talking to.
Interesting. Okay, my argument is that edgy jokes can sometimes be politically ineffective. I think the 2 examples of the fireman shooting and the dead kids joke recently are evidences of political inefficacy. I think it has closed Stephen out from opportunities that he would otherwise have access to.
Is this a personal conversation about me, or is it about edgy jokes in general? I don't know what we're talking about. Or is it not even about edgy jokes?
I literally said these are my
Wait,
criticisms.
if this is just conversation about me, then the answer is I don't want to appeal to those people. I've said that for like over a year. I have no desire to appeal to those people anymore.
Sure, and I'm saying that they could damage relationships with certain people, especially.
I'm okay with people's relationships not damaging. Or I'm okay with that. If they're gonna make absolutely disgusting jokes, then okay, that's
super
fine.
disappointing because I think if you got
that's
a chance
okay.
to talk
I'm
to
not
most moderates, you'd be effective. You'd be more effective.
That's okay. I like to do what I like to do, though. That's okay.
Okay. Okay.
If that's the whole. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read some of my super chats, especially for the ones who's giving me like $100 and shit, and then. I don't know what we're going to do. We might go to closings. I don't fucking know. We'll find out how I feel. Pondering Politics for $100 says, I'm 24 minutes behind. But doesn't the GOP also try to brand itself as a morally superior party? The party of Christ and Christian values, family values, law and order, free speech, freedom and liberty, real America. Why imply that only Dems claim moral superiority? Okay.
The answer is because I think like the Dems claim moral superiority on the things that we actually care about, right? We don't care about like all this religious bullshit, right? Which is why we don't appeal to it. If we think that we're like better on treating people kinder, we care about the vulnerable populations, like we have all these care principles and values, then if we fail to live up to those care principles and values, like for example, being bad faith and not interacting with each other well in the way that Soy Pill did with Tally, or he's kind of doing with me, I think that shows, for example, a question of like, do you actually believe in these principles? And what I am saying is that somehow the left, despite being better at policy, Joe Biden's presidency was fucking excellent, and besides being, I would argue, more morally upright, objectively, Not a single left pundit has been charged with lying knowingly to the public. Despite all of that, people find the left so fucking repugnant that they're voting for Trump instead. And I think that that's a shame. And in fact, other people are just not voting at all. And I think that that's a shame. And I think we need to fix it. And I think that this is one of the small ways that we can improve.
Okay, $100 from Alexander Wynn to say absolutely nothing at all. I love those super chats. Those are the best. $50 from Dr. Adam to say, I'm a centrist who loves edgy jokes. Who cares? Rich pricks hoard gold like goblins. Weepy women flood kitchens. Minorities churn flowing garbage like Puerto Rico's mess. Kids sink in Texas floods. Lie scrim. Fate smote them for their parents' sins. Thank you for the $50. 20 euros from Mary Mead Park to say it's good that Destiny isn't friendly towards a right-wing YouTuber. Streamers don't have to be bureaucratic. They're not politicians, and Destiny's right. It's not effective to collab and boost views of bad influencers.
Okay, the platforming argument, really? Is that what we want today?
Look,
good job,
$20,
guys.
you can say whatever you like. $10 from Optimizing You to say, dark humor and edgy jokes work when people think deep down that you're not evil or heartless. The problem with Destiny's jokes are when he defends them. He refuses to show that he has a heart. $10 from Audacity. What is weird about tech bros shifting to the right, specifically MAGA? Oh no, wow, I can't believe social awkward tech bros rebelled against the Karen class of HR aristocracy. No way. $10 from the Trib 1 to say the test is uneven. We need education and expert opinion to prevail. To me, the lack of that voice is where MAGA wins. Do you guys think experts would care enough to push aside the way Elon did? $10 from Dr. Adam again to say shaming works on individual stuff, identity, fat, or slut choices, but not collectives. That's why folks dig deeper into ideological crap, never changing, reality bites. $10 more from Pottering Politics to say Trump went scorched earth on his base in a big way in the past 24 hours about Epstein. Long-term effects to his coalition, TBD. 200, whatever those are. Sex? I don't know what they're. Anyway, Tag Erlander is a clear example of how democratic stability and social responsibility can counter the rise of totalitarian and populist forces. His pragmatic, humble, principled approach made his legacy. $20 from Lawson Harrison to say, how do you get a nud pregnant? $20 from Tanner Maxwell to say, Utah Senator Mike Lee says it's a nightmare on Wall Street in the response to MAGA sycophant and psych assassinating Minnesota lawmakers. $50.
That was a pretty crazy tweet.
Yeah, it is. And I think they're going to suffer for that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, they will.
I do.
I'm praying. One day it's coming.
Hold on.
Let's see how Donnie Trump slips out of this.
No,
one.
I gotta
Let's
get
just Moloch. You're right, guys. Let's just Moloch game our way all the way to hell. That's going to be so much better for the democracy.
$50.
I actually think it's way better to talk about how much more moral our messaging is while 65 million Americans are being shoved into alligator Alcatraz. I think that's the way better thing.
Hold on, that's going to hurt them. They're setting up to get.
You should just.
Who the fuck is standing on the immigrants? Like, what the fuck are you even talking about right now?
I'm talking
also-
about the
you shouldn't
prisons
talk
that
about
all
how
of MAGA
morally-
are
Yeah,
collapsing.
it's
their
really
hands
fucking
about, like,
bad,
children.
Stephen. And I think
Is it
you're
bad for
nerfing
them?
yourself
Is
on
that
being more
hurting them?
effective. Yeah,
Yes.
it's really bad. It's not
Okay.
hurting the Republicans because most Republicans don't give a fuck about immigrants. It's fucking horrible. And you have nerfed yourself out of all of those spaces so you don't get to go in there and push back on it. So now other people have
True,
to. And a
because
lot of
me
people
going
are
in and gently saying, like, don't you think calling it alligator
What the fuck did I ever say gently say?
And you're like,
I said-
and
I
they're
said
like,
you were
well, you
great
know,
with Myron.
I think that it's probably, maybe not
No,
the
this
best
is
word,
such
but
a
it's kind of
strong man of
epic and
everything that I've
hilarious.
said. I have
It's
never
kind
for
of
a
epic
second
and
said don't be
hilarious.
edgy and don't be harsh and don't be mean. I said have to fucking talk to them. You can't nerf yourself out of relationship entirely. My criticism of Soy Pill is separate, which is why it's getting confused, but I've made it clear multiple times that my issue with you is scorched earthing yourself out of these types
Yes,
of conversations.
we've heard scorched earth like
or
4
edgy
million
jokes.
times, but the problem is the entire Republican
Yes.
Party has been on perma-scorched earth for 12 years.
Isn't it
and
crazy
has the most
that I've said
political power
scorched
to
earth
show
multiple
for it?
times, but you
Like,
still can't seem
like-
to understand my position? So which is it exactly? Have I said it too often, or do you still not know what my position is?
It's the fact that it's vague, and it seems like you keep jumping between multiple
I
things. It's
acknowledge
hard
that
to
it was
know.
vague right from the
Okay.
beginning, but just because a concept is vague does not mean that it is poignant or that we can't recognize when something is happening.
You're like a Mott in a Bailey because you don't know where one starts and one ends. It's just both. at the
Is
same
this
time.
the what is a woman
No, I'm just
conversation
fucking-
where
I'm
I'm
just
being like,
fucking with you.
well,
I'm
what
just
is a
fucking
woman
with
is
you,
kind of
Kyla.
abstract and hard to define and hard to
Do
put a
love
finger on.
that.
Four-dimensional
You guys are being like,
Daily. Oh, no.
actually meanness is XY chromosomes. And it's like, it's not. And you're like, well, what is it? And I'm like, well, it's something a little bit more ambiguous that's harder to put your finger on. That's what we're doing right now.
Okay, what we're doing right now.
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
The point is
Hold on.
because
Soy
it's
Pill,
ambiguous.
Soy Pill,
Wait,
Soy
I
Pill,
really
Soy
want to
Pill.
say this right now.
Soy
Okay,
Pill,
look,
please.
because it is ambiguous. No, Wick, please. Because it's ambiguous, we should spend little to no energy worrying about whether or not this is the one thing that's going to set people off, and instead put that energy into mobilizing our base in the moderate.
We're not asking you to only focus on this.
Hold on. Have I ever DM'd either of you about this? Have I ever wasted any of your time? Or is it the fact that Wick put a panel together that I came to talk about this?
Hold on,
Do you think I'm wasting a lot of energy on this?
Was the question was, have we ever spent time asking if the left are losing the optics war? Was that the question? Because I feel like the answer is a resounding yes. I feel like that's like one of the things we talk about more than anything else.
That wasn't the question.
I'm pretty sure we've had an exact panel on like tweets. I think we had these exact panels on my fucking firefighter tweets with Wick. I think like 6 months or a year
wasn't
ago.
a panel. I was the first one to talk to you.
That's crazy.
Yes, it continues to be a problem.
Let's build a bridge. Wick, let's build a bridge. Let's never talk about this again once we hang up. Okay?
Of course not. Of course we're going to keep talking about it because it continues to be a problem. It's getting worse. And that it continues, in my view, to contribute to the rise of MAGA and the rise of Trump. Because we are failing to provide an actual alternative to the
it's just the lack of examples. It's the equivalent of somebody coming together and be like, I have this hypothesis that actually being tall is a detriment to being really good in the NBA, and we should draft a whole team of 5'6" kings, and maybe they can do even better. Even though all the NBA guys are really fucking tall, maybe that's actually hurting them in the game. Who knows?
Crazy. That's crazy because I'm pretty sure there's an entire like field of psychology that talks about how shame is completely ineffective, both at a micro level and at a macro level. There's plenty of studies that I'm happy to show you about how ineffective shame is. And what I'm talking about here is that we should probably reduce.
Just to be clear, that's absolutely not true. You know that shame is an incredibly powerful shape for human behavior. Like, does all shame work all the time? No. When you're talking about stuff like about being fat, these are literally behaviors that are hard to change because the actual
also not super effective with policy. Typically, if 50,
it depends exactly on what you're talking about. It
you can't shame 51% of the population. You can't do it. They won't move. Their in-group is too strong.
Out of his cool jokes, I guess.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna hold on. What we're gonna do right now is finish my fucking super chats because I gotta make money. And gang, we are almost gonna break my record again. So if you want to keep giving me money, I think I need a little like $150 more. Give that money to me because I'd like to break the record and save some fucking sanity. Okay, $50 from Grassroots Hegemon to say, I know for me, I voted Democrat only because of Trump. In any other circumstance, you lost your absolute ass in this election. I'm fine with seeing you lose it again. Suits me. Emotionally challenged will always lose 100% of the time. Thank you.
Tell him to give another $100 and ask him to say what he would do that we need to win him over, and we'll say it right now.
True.
Okay, you know what? Go for it, Grassroots Hegemon. Prove them foolish and ask them the question. Landon Stewart for $10. Why are they these supposed moderates calling all the cruelty on the right based and funny? They aren't. Do they really care? Does it really exclude them? How do we know that when even Asmund says shit like black fatigue? $10 from Eternal Kazuma.
Did he really say that? Did Asmund say black fatigue? Because that's probably one of the most racist, like recent right-wing memes that I've ever heard of. And apparently there's some sort of like level of edginess that will push him and his audience away, which is ridiculous.
If Asmongold wants to come and talk about it, he's welcome to. I just don't know. I don't really watch his content. $10 from Eternal Kasuma to say, if these kids died in the Rio from the barbed wire, Trump and conservatives would have been like, well, better they got taken out there than voting Democrat or ending up at Pizzagate. Ho, ho, ho. Maybe.
Yeah,
but
they're pretty fucking evil. I guess we should figure out how to win.
Okay. Grassroots Hegemon did give me $100 to ask that question. So.
Hold on. Talking about bad faith or strawmanning, nobody here is saying that we should have an immoral position. We're talking about making jokes. Nobody here is saying that we should like actually murder kids. Nobody here is saying we should actually drown people.
That's my position.
We're talking about making jokes.
My position. Yeah, my position is jokes are bad. Good job, Steven.
Then why are you saying, is our position that we should do anything to win? I don't understand where that position keeps coming from.
It keeps coming from
Kyla's position is that you are extremely valuable, rather, to the movement, and that she wants to make sure that you're going to have. I mean, that seems to be the bottom line of her position. And I disagree with some of the specific examples. So, for example, with Asmongold, I don't think anything that you've said or done is what pushed him away. I think he's probably afraid to speak to you because you're much smarter than him, and it would be embarrassing for him.
Absolutely, absolutely fucking true. This
I
person's
think that's
come
more
on,
like
fuck
what
you.
if you knew that you
Soy
wouldn't hold
Pill,
his
fuck
fist
you
to
for
fire
attacking
quite
this
so hard,
queen, okay?
and you'd
Fuck
let
you.
him land softly, I bet you if you knew that, like, if you had some social capital with him and he knew that you'd let him land softly for a few times, I bet you he would be more open to talking to you.
You're
Particularly someone
probably
like
right, and what you just said is exactly the reason why I will never talk to these fucking people again. Is because allowing them to land softly over and over and over again, and only allowing them to land softly, drove me fucking insane. And I will never be a part of that again. Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. You were the one good liberal in their mind view, and I know that you resent that. I know that you think that was bad.
It's not that I
but
resent it.
that's
It's that when you're
no,
the one
that's
good
a
liberal, it means that they
paradigm
don't view you
shift.
as the liberal. No, it's not a paradigm shift. They go,
Yes,
I
they
like this
did.
because he's
Yes,
not like
they
other
did.
liberal.
Yes,
Okay.
they did view you as liberal. I don't know what the fuck to tell you because I get the feedback all the time.
Wait,
They
but Kyla,
absolutely
Why do you think you get
if
more
he's the
feedback
one
on
good
me
one,
than
then
I
why
get
would
on
they vote
me?
for them?
You know that I get
Destiny,
100
but
times more
Destiny.
feedback on my own existence than you get on my existence, right? You who
I just think
exist
you're
in this
collecting the
community,
wrong
of
data.
course,
They
I'm not
absolutely view you as liberal. They just do.
People-
Every
hold
single
on.
person says that
Wait,
you're the
Kyla.
good liberal. What the
They
fuck
do.
does that mean if
Kyla,
you're not
Kyla.
liberal?
When hold on, when somebody says,
hold
when
on.
somebody says, hold on, no, wait, we can apply this to literally any other thing. When somebody says, this is the good woman, this is the good black person, are they saying that like, wow, this is the good minority figure, they must all be like this? Or are they saying this person is exceptional because they're so dissimilar to the rest of the group?
It
Yeah,
depends
like-
on what
No,
your
you're right.
fucking
Hold on, Destiny,
follow-up
hold on,
is.
hold on,
For
hold on.
example,
Wait, you're
what
right,
the fuck
you're
are you
right,
talking
you're
about?
right.
If your
Wait,
rhetoric,
hold on,
if your
hold
entire
on.
rhetoric is, I'm not the only one. There's tons of people like me that will make edgy jokes and joke around and talk to you in good faith. Have you ever met my friend Soy Pill? He's happy to talk to these type of people. All of a sudden, now you're promoting other
Soy Pill
left
is
content
nowhere
creators.
near as
You're getting
based
us
as
more
Destiny.
access, and you're like growing these sorts of things. So yes, it definitely matters. If you went, for example, and said you're the only good liberal, and you went, yeah, I am. Then yeah, I'd say that you're tokenizing yourself and you're being a piece of shit. But that isn't typically what you're doing. And in fact, what we see is people go, this is one good liberal, and their paradigm has fucking broken because before it was a binary. Before this entire thing was a binary, and if there's one good liberal, there can be two.
Okay,
I
so
don't think that's certainly
let
the
me
case.
just-
I want to hear from Tali,
So-
and I still got like a bunch. Anyway, Tali, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, you're right, Destiny, that you are being tokenized in those circumstances. They are seeing you as the exception. I don't think it's a fair analogy to compare it to black people or women. These are immutable characteristics as opposed to your worldview, something that you can logic yourself into or out of, right? So these things are different. But something that maybe to push back a little bit, they do see you as different from the rest, and you are different from a lot of the rest, which is what makes you valuable. And I wish there were more people like you, because then there are more people who are in the sort of disaffected.
Yeah, but you didn't
liberal
vote for
zone
the Democrats,
who-
despite Destiny being the one good one. So why does it fucking matter?
What do you
That's
mean?
not politically
So-
effective.
Hold
We're not
on.
winning
If
you over
more
despite
people
you
were
liking
like Destiny, would you have voted for
I'm not.
the?
Yes, absolutely. If the
Okay.
left was, if the left was
Yes,
was
that's why I'm
less-
here arguing that we all need to be making fun of dead kids instead of just me. And then people would
No,
stop
'cause it's not-
hand-wringing
well,
about
that-
it so
this is
much
also what got-
because then conservatives wouldn't attack the leftover. They'd be like, oh, those fucking lefties, we're going to make fun of their dead kids even more in the fucking next time there's a disaster. Because that's what they do anyway.
Okay. So Destiny, so the whole thing that I said originally that got everyone laughing it up in arms, that I said I like Destiny and Ben Shapiro, right? And people interpreted that as, oh, you like the cruelty. You like that they're both so loud and mean and stuff like that. But that's
What
actually
other-
not
what
the point
other
that I was
overlap
trying to
do you
draw. The
like?
point that I was trying to draw is that I see both of you as really smart and competent and able to go into any conversation without any type of preparation and completely handle yourself and speak for your side and your perspective. That is what I think it makes you really so particularly valuable. And again, you have the added benefit of not being an annoying woke school. That really
That's fine, but
does
just to be
matter.
clear,
That type
that's
of
a unique
interpersonal stuff
that's a
does
unique
matter.
trait. It's not very valuable in the current political environment. Because if I were to ask you to point to other people who are amassing huge value doing that, Republicans don't do that. They don't need to. They haven't really done that. Who in the left? Maybe
Yeah, they
maybe
don't-
we
they
can say
don't-
like
they're not-
Pete
they're not-
Buttigieg
they're
does
not-
it, but I mean, like, what is he politically right now? Like, I mean, like, what?
Well, sure. So
Nobody
Republicans
does this. It's
aren't
not like
buying
that's a valuable skill set. It's like a wandering swordsman in an era of guns. It doesn't matter right now. That's not what is
Republicans,
politically
they're
winning
not vying
things.
for the same people. But what Kyla said before was true is the vague, the general right, not Republicans, not elected officials or something like this, but the vague general right did give a soft landing spot for people who were questioning and saying
Wait,
things
Tali,
that
I have to
were
ask.
deemed as unacceptable
No,
from
Tali,
within the
Tali,
left.
Tali. Did Ben Shapiro
That
push you
just
away
is
when he
what
said Arabs like to live in sewage and bomb crap? Did he push you away when he said Trayvon Martin would have been 18 if he hadn't fucking gotten killed? Like, these things don't matter to you. You don't give a shit. You clearly like both of these people anyway. So why is that at all relevant when these people make horrible, awful, dead kid jokes? Like, this is not a fucking, who gives a shit?
Is that a okay? So first of all, I've never listened to either of the things that you're saying right now. I
How
don't
Ben
think
Shapiro?
that
cared about the dead kid joke.
I don't think that Ben Shapiro is a racist person. Much like I don't think that Destiny hates children.
You should read his books.
I don't think Ben Shapiro is racist.
He wants to pardon Derek Chauvin. Do you know about that?
Okay, does
how
that
many
make him
how many
racist?
big Republicans? How many big Republicans are hypercritical of Alex Jones for being the Sandy Hook was a fucking staged event guy? And this is
Well,
like
and this is a
was
big
one of the
problem that
most
I have too.
popular
And,
people
and
to write.
this is and there are again people in my cohort of people, the disaffected liberals, right, who were wooed by the center right, who are now seeing, oh, the right has some not that obviously Alex Jones is not a new entity here, right, but he has been re-accepted. He has been allowed back into the fold in a way that he really was marginalized previously. And yes, the far right.
Wait, just to be clear, he was not marginalized reasonably. He was getting destroyed in court. That's why he kind of took a step back for a while. And what was one of the ways to save him? Wasn't it? Am I making this up? Or didn't Elon Musk himself offer to buy Infowars, or was it another huge right-wing group that offered to buy Infowars back from the bankruptcy court to give it back to him to allow him to host it? Like, this is all I'm saying, the different standards of like who's allowed on both sides.
I agree with you. And that's what I'm saying is that will be a turnoff. Again, it just depends on who you're trying to talk to and who you're trying to win over.
Hold on, I understand. No, I'm just trying to listen. I love you and I appreciate you. Okay, listen, you're a queen. Okay, but the fact that people like Andrew Tate exist over there, the fact that it's like you're having a conversation with me.
Disgusting.
No, but it wasn't for you. It wasn't for you. No, that's wait. But the point is that it wasn't for you, right?
It was. It absolutely was. And again, so
you still voted for him.
It was.
But then it didn't matter that much.
It was not representative of my vote at all.
What? But it wasn't enough to turn you off from it, though.
Dude, like. You just don't care.
Like what I'm saying is that Republicans can have like 10 different pieces.
Andrew Tate was at the White House.
Once they're done, I have a question.
Okay.
No, I'm saying that Republicans can have 10 different pieces on the board, and all of them can be, or like 9 of them can be abhorrent. Be like, well, I'm not voting because of that guy. But then on the left, we're like, we have to play the same piece every single time because somebody might turn off some part of the voter base. It's not the same game. It's ridiculous. And the reality is that you just stop caring about it as much on the left. The right want to tag you as much for it, and no one will give a fuck about it. You move on to the next thing.
So I hear you, but again, this is also like part of the conversation that I was trying to have. Is like this is true in certain segments of the right and certainly in the alt media sphere, but those were not the people again, and I don't want to make it all about me because whatever, there are other people like me voting for similar and similarly different reasons, but the people that I was following, that I was influenced by, they were not Andrew Tate supporters at all. They were among the people who were calling it out. They weren't very right-wing people. They were the sort of heterodox centrists.
But you're supporting a president who's motioned for Romania to free Andrew Tate. Like these little quibbles over like what exactly you support at the end of the day doesn't matter.
True. I thought that was denied by the administration.
Oh, well, if they did, wait. I don't know. Did they, if they denied it, then they didn't do it because they would never fucking hide anybody.
That would be just absolutely literally despicable. Yes, the man is a rapist.
It wasn't the reason you said that you voted for Trump in 2020 was because of like the woke and like the scolding and the meanness.
Trump in 2020.
Sorry, 2020. Oh, it was 2024. Sorry, I forgot. You're recently stupid. So you voted for him in 2024 because of the wokeness and the scolding. But now, like this scolding is somehow like also has to exist within the left to make sure we don't tread over some arbitrary line of meanness to other people. Like, is that not what turned you off in the first place?
I'm not concerned about it.
Hold on, no. Soy Pill.
Line of meanness.
Soy Pill. The scolding on the left is you're a white man, sit down. Right? That's a different kind of scolding. They're not the same.
Okay. Well, no, wait. To be clear, the scolding is also don't be mean to Republicans, right?
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
No,
you have a lot of Democrats right now. I'm in a minority. I'm the severe minority.
When has there ever been a cancel campaign on the left driven because
2 years?
Excuse me. What about literally Al Green got censured in Congress for standing up and holding his cane at Trump during the fucking
a Republican-controlled Congress? You mean?
He got censured
by Republicans.
That vote.
Wick for 2 years after 2016, the whole narrative was these were disaffected poor people. You can't be so mean to them. They're not all racist. They're not all terrible people. We need to be nicer and reach out to them. Like that was the fucking narrative for like years.
No, it's not be nicer. It's be curious. And Kyla,
I'm not curious. You've told me you have a dumb fucking opinion. I'm not curious anymore, Tali. I don't care.
You were never curious, and stop pretending that you were. All you do is disingenuous. Okay, fine.
I'm not curious about you because I've heard these stupid opinions before.
If you're so
okay, wait. I'm curious. What did Republicans do? What did Republicans do? After Republicans lost, okay, now I want to be careful because it's really offensive because a lot of Republicans believe they didn't lose the election, but when Republicans lost the 2020 election and then they decided to run the exact same...
to say that Donald Trump lost in 2020.
When Republicans ran the exact same campaign with the exact same candidate against originally the guy who beat him before, what did Republicans change to win in 2024 to appeal to the moderates and the left? What did they do differently?
Frankly, they were the less cringe, less woke side. That is how I think they.
You're speaking in negatives. Tell me what they changed. Did they change anything?
No, yes, I'm speaking in negatives because there were people who voted out of resentment for the left and held their nose to vote for the right, who are not conservatives, who are not MAGA.
And the
again,
resentment
maybe
of
this is
over
a tiny
what?
portion of the population, and that's fine. What'd you say?
The resentment was over what?
Left.
What was over what? Over what? The
Leftist.
left, like the direction? Is it
Leftist.
Zoolander?
The culture on the left, sure.
What
yes.
is the culture on the left that they were so?
Obviously, they were not. They were
Come on,
about
come the fuck on. Wait, we know this answer, right? You guys aren't it at all. And I'm not saying that you are, but you know what the cringe culture of the left is. Because
It's what the
you
right
don't.
shows you. That's the difference. It's
No
what the right
fucking
shows you.
way.
I'm sorry. Do you think all these blue collar workers are being chastised in their real life by their fellow coworkers about? You don't think Leah Thomas?
No,
heard her
no,
fucking-
they're on their
By HR,
Instagram.
they
Wait,
might-
no,
by
they're
HR,
on their
they are.
Instagram. If they ever go to college, they're experiencing it there. They're experiencing it in primary and like all through like public
college
school
goers.
education. And then they're going on their phone and they are seeing it, right? Not just what Republicans want to show them, but leftists are also championing this. You have fought leftists on TikTok. You were canceled in your career. You understand what the cringe is. Now, to be clear, I would argue, and this would be my argument against Tally, is that your principles should matter more than whether somebody is cringe or not. Your principles about what you believe in. Hold on, Tally. That should matter more always than who you vote for. The issue is that that is not true for like 90% of voters. And that's a problem. And so my question to you, Stephen, would be, have you become like more abrasive with some demographics of people because it was making you go insane to be the token liberal, like you said, or because you think the approach will actually be politically effective?
I think the approach to energize your side and to seem like you could actually stand on business for something, which regardless if you realize it or not, that was actually your main complaint with Biden, is that it felt like he wasn't standing on business with stuff. I think that would energize the base more. I think that if Biden, when he had his debate with Trump and he started going senile, and instead at halfway of the debate, he just pushed you know what? You're fucking retarded. And he just did that for a half hour. I think he would have had a better performance and people would have voted for him.
But that's
100%.
a substantively, no, you're right. You're correct. But these are not the same thing, right? As when we are not advocating don't go after Trump. We're advocating don't go after Trump voters, especially their children, especially making and mocking their dead children. That's what I'm advocating
Just be a little bit more effective when you go after them. That's it. That's all we're asking for. I'm not saying don't make edgy jokes, all right? I'm sorry
Don't
that
stop.
your
You're
joke
speaking.
about
You're
dead-
not saying anything right now. I don't know what this means. Just be a little bit more effective when I don't even know what that even means.
You can go ham and go crazy. Like if you're talking to the type of people who are calling into the Dean Withers show, go crazy. Make fun of those people. That's blood sports. That's just feeding each other's bases. These are people who are immovable on both sides, frankly. But yes, you and it's not just to you. People, I think, and frankly, Destiny, I think you're good at this. So I don't know if I share the same, I have criticisms, I guess, but I don't know if I share the same criticisms. I do think that generally you meet people where they're at with their energy. I think that if people are being reasonable and open in good faith, that you're pretty good at that. I agree with Kyla. You clearly, and you talked about this openly on your streams, you built up a resentment of going onto all of these conservative shows and stuff and being nice, and then basically they get to frame it, right? They get to frame the conversation.
Tolly,
they get
Tolly,
to
can I ask
feel
you
No,
the
let
way
Tolly
we-
finish. Let Tolly finish. Go ahead.
Well, no.
She hasn't
I'm
got
not
to her
gonna let her
point.
No, yeah, because the point is that Tolly doesn't have
This is
principles,
Wick's
and the reason that I met you at the point of,
okay,
how do I
that's
convert
where
you?
that's where
but
I'll
Is that what you
agree
get
with
from
Kyla.
Tolly? Is that she doesn't
get
have
this.
principles?
No, yes,
I have
she
no
literally,
principles.
because she understood January 6th, she understood all the damage that Trump did, and after all that, what policy am I going to demonstrate to Tolly that, oh, this is why you should vote for the Democrats? Look at these hurt people. Look at all these people. No, actually, it's vibes and cringe. So why the fuck should I waste any time? It's completely pointless. That's the point.
You shouldn't. Once again, I don't know how many times I should reiterate that I don't think that the Democratic Party apparatus needs to be vying for my vote or anything like this.
Okay,
Okay,
but
I do
then you
wanna
agree that I
push
should be
back on
mean
this
to
idea.
you because it's
You wanna
pointless to
push
try
back
to
on this
convince you?
idea. Part of
Just
the
don't be a condescending
No,
prick,
you don't-
because
why-
maybe
how is
Tally won't
that
ever
the-
change your mind. Well, maybe Tally won't change her mind, but maybe a whole bunch of people that would otherwise potentially be warm towards the left is going to get turned off because you're being so smug.
Yeah, there's a
right?
lot of people who don't
fucking
like
hate
you.
Why
that
is the
shit.
only
Well,
For
what about your
example,
smugness, Kyla? Is your smugness turning them off? You're being very smug right now.
watch the way that Stephen has talked to Tally this whole time and the way that you've talked to both me and Tally.
It's a good
They're
classic
just
good
different.
cop, bad cup routine. It's how you get
It's
all the
not.
information
It's
out of
not.
them.
Everyone finds you detestable when you do it, which is why people hate the fuck out
I
of
find
Dean
you
Withers
very
except for
smug
his
right
own
now. And
base.
it's very, I do
I'm
think
not
it's
being
turning off a
smug.
bunch of
You
left
can
people.
just
You are. You're
use the
talking
words
down to me.
against
You're
me.
literally
I'm
above
being
me in the
aggressive and
Discord
mean.
call.
This is not the same thing as being
I
smug.
don't know. This
Smug
isn't
is sitting
convincing me.
back
It's
and
not working.
smiling and thinking that you're smarter and then talking down to people. I'm being aggressive and rude to you. These are not the same thing. And in the case of Stephen, when he's been talking to Tally, he has also mostly been meeting her energy and couching a fair bit of his language to try to understand her. I'm not
Well,
saying
Stephen,
that
I
you
think you're
don't get
wasting your
to.
time.
I'm not
Aggressive,
saying
yes, and
that you
being
don't get to
aggressive
go.
is okay.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not saying that you don't get to go gloves off on people. I'm not saying that you don't get to go scorched earth. My criticism to Stephen is he's too quick with it and he loses opportunities to go into these spaces where he would be even more effective. That's my
Kyla,
criticism. It's not
If you
don't
had a
make
doctor's
fucking edgy
appointment
jokes.
and someone
Shut
was
the
standing
fuck
in
up.
front of the
Shut
door
the
and
fuck
wasted
up.
your time
Please
for
mute
2
him. I
hours, would
actually
you
don't want to
yell
hear
at
his
him?
voice right now. I don't want to hear his voice right now.
This
This is how. This is. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
I've
pick
been
up on the
nothing but
abandoning
good
your
faith
morals
to
and
you, and I
principles
have been
point.
aggressive and rude. That's what I've been to you, Soy Pill.
Okay, but that's fine.
You're yes.
I think
yes.
part of the reason that I
I
don't
think
like
because
the
I think a lot of
language
people, a lot of my
kindness-
chat right now is saying you're kind of turning them off. They don't like you. They're not going to subscribe to you anymore. So
Cool.
like, what's
How
the-
many
why
Your
are
chat
you doing
doesn't
that?
vote.
I can't
Do you want me to open up
I
and
don't-
check?
I don't know,
They're
700
leftists. They don't
according to
vote.
OBS.
Why
I
should we
don't know.
appeal to people who don't fucking vote?
These people, all my
They don't
chatters
vote.
because they're all
They're
smart.
leftists. They
All
don't
of
go to
them
the
vote, every
ballot
single
box.
one of them.
They don't
Well,
have any
Kyla doesn't vote
power
'cause she's
because they don't
Canadian,
vote.
so-
I'm really glad that your own side agrees with you. But what I'm talking about is appealing to people who might not vote for you. That's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Speaking of smug.
Okay. Tally, finish your point and then fuck this. I'm
Sure.
getting done.
I'll make it quick. And I had this on the last conversation with Wick too, when he was giving the story about his uncle. I think we're straw manning this too much. So being nice is not because if you're mean to someone, they're going to change all their principles and change their vote. I don't know anybody who changed their vote based on who was nice or mean to them before they went into the voting booth. That's not what I'm trying to represent when I say that people voted against the left. They didn't overnight change all of their principles. There are a couple of things going on. People are very resentful of the culture on the left. They feel that it is detrimental to themselves, to their community, to the country as a whole. And so yes, for me, like I said, I live in a blue state. My vote was not going to change the election. People don't have to like that or not, but it is just true. And that was what I was trying to represent with my vote. That doesn't mean that I changed all of my principles overnight. But to Dev's point, if you keep people out and you shut people out, and they are embraced, even if it's by evil, sketchy, nefarious actors, people are going to change over time. And now a lot of my views and opinions have changed over the 4 years or whatever that I've had this ideological shift, but a lot of my core principles have not. I'm still very much dispositionally liberal. And to Dev's point, there are other people that we can point to who were this way 4 or 5 years ago who now are very much more captured on the right. And that doesn't mean that you need to be nice to them and to pander to them. It does mean that you should keep the door open and be curious and talk to people in good faith who are being good faith with you. I think that's an easy bar. To
I welcome your vote in 2028.
$100 from Audacity to say Eerodite dressing down and scolding Soy Pill while he wears his silly hat is really fitting. Thank you for the $100. Okay.
It's just frustrating because Soy Pill is such an effective communicator and he is good at what he does. And it's frustrating. It's actually offensive to me, being frank, that you won't just be like, yeah, I am being smug. And I'm being smug because
I'm not saying I'm not being smug. I am being smug. 100%.
And why are you throwing it back at me like I'm being smug and just
I think you're being a little smug. My point is I don't think it's a bad thing.
When have I been
smugness
smug to
is
you?
a bad thing. People,
I've been
I mean,
rude.
it's a little
Don't
subjective. It's a little bit of a subjective
unless they
thing, but I
fully
think you're being
agree
a little
with
smug,
you,
and that's
unless
fine.
they fully
I'm
agree
fine with
with
it.
you, no one likes smugness.
Yeah, the issue is that people on the left think that being mean to people is really politically ineffective. And then they do that to themselves and they argue about themselves about it. And then people on the right say that being mean to people is really politically ineffective. But they only say that so that they can convince people on the left that, so that people on the left aren't mean to them. Meanwhile, when they go back to their right camps, they're the meanest motherfuckers in the world. That's why people will pretend to be mad about like dead kid jokes or whatever. And then Alex Jones will literally build a career on questioning Sandy Hook victims in a way that was so fucking traumatizing to the parents that it's what literally drove them to sue him and bankrupt him for $1 billion plus fucking judgment. So somehow we like get mind fucked by people on the right saying, oh no, trust us. Like when you're mean to people, that's really what turns them. But like the tally is is living proof right here. I thought your first vote was in 2020. You abstained voting in 2024. I know you voted in 2024. So truly, there is like no fucking bar for you. Like Trump could have fucking raped the woman right in front of you, and you still would have said, well, I don't know, man. The fucking trans woke shit was like way too much for me. Like if I'm going by voters like that, like what we should do is if we win in 2028, okay, we shut down Alligator Alcatraz and we open Camp Crocodile and we just start shoving fucking whatever Republican we get in there, and then we laugh at it on TV
TV until we win 2032 because they run out of people to vote.
See, I disagree with this
Yeah, I think
completely,
that's
and it's because the left and the right do actually operate off of different moral principles. They aren't the same thing. They aren't the same
I
types of
totally
people.
disagree. I think they are the same types of people. I think we get
I don't
we
think so
lose
at all.
ourselves in a whole bunch of bullshit, like attempts to analyze both sides. I think more or less everybody's pretty fucking similar.
Are you
We
familiar
like to
with
make fun
any
of
of Jonathan
outgroups.
Haidt's work?
I don't think that.
Yes. What? I listen. Hey, listen.
Aren't they on
send an
average?
email.
Their
We could
IQ
come
is
on. And we
also
can.
typically lower. Like the right has an average, like slightly
we
lower
do
IQ than
we
the
do
left
gotta
too.
wrap it up. So
Yes.
I just think it's politically ineffective.
Yeah,
for
we're gonna
people
get
whose
to
mind you want to
closings
change. If you
real
want to
quick.
galvanize your base, though, yeah, it is very effective for galvanizing your base. And if that's all you think that we need to do politically, then honestly, that's the end of the conversation for me. But if you want to pull people towards the left, that's actually something that we think that is effective to do. I think that like being condescending and smug is ineffective. I think edgy jokes are effective typically, but they need to hit the target audience correctly. And if they don't, whoops, L. Not good.
Okay,
I just think it's clocking to you guys, okay, that we need to stand on business and we need to make fun of people on the right more. And I think until somebody creates a successful 5'9" NBA team, I'm going to assume that being tall is probably makes you good at basketball. I'm going to assume that being mean to people seems like it makes you good at politics. So
I don't think we have any evidence that Trump is a 6'4" mean boy. I think that we've got a lot of unironic, like the worst set of circumstances. Like fuck, what he didn't die is fucking.
So it just
insane.
happened to be. So the fact that he's like the meanest, most divisive person ever is just a coincidence.
No,
Just-
it's not
no.
a coincidence at all. That's not what I've said. I'm saying
It's not important.
Nope, didn't say that either.
But it hurts him. It hurts him more than it
It
helps.
hurts him.
We don't have good evidence that with moderates it hurts them. We don't know. And what I'm saying is we do have psychological theory to suggest that it's probably not effective.
But we
right?
have a
That would be-
moderate right here who said that she voted for him in 2024, despite him being the most divisive and mean president of all time.
because she thought the left was worse.
She
do
thought
we
it
not?
was
Do we not? Hold on.
By
Do
the
we not?
way-
Hold on. Stop. Do we not at least take some introspection, some reflection?
No,
and
wait,
like,
I didn't
why
truly
is-
didn't know that. Wait,
Why
I'd love
are
to hear that.
the
Wait, no, wait, I'd
moderates
love to hear
thinking
that. I
that
didn't know
Trump
that.
is better
Wait.
than us?
I didn't know that. Hold on, wait, Tally. So your issue is you thought the left was more mean and
more
divisive and nasty
mean.
than Donald Trump?
not mean. It's obviously not about meanness. No. I never made the
What's
point
it-
that it was
what-
about meanness.
It's about
Is it about
worse
being
Why
than-
again I came in and
divisive?
said that
He
I
hated
don't
the
think I don't
culture.
think that the
He
left
said
is
it a million
definitive-
times.
What is the
What about
culture?
the
That's a
culture?
nothing statement. The culture. What does
It's
that mean?
not
The
a nothing
culture.
statement, Stephen.
It's a
I'm
nothing
sorry
statement.
if
What
you
is the
want to fall
culture?
into what is a woman argument right now, but I'm sorry, these concepts are vague, but still are meaningful. The
If we were
left
having a
culture,
conversation about
the
trans
left
Hold on, hold on.
healthcare, and we wanted to give
culture,
hormones to be a
every
woman, then
single
that would be
person
a
can
different
identify it.
conversation.
Here,
What is a-
I'll describe it for you. I'll describe it for you. Okay, so you remember, like in your 2022 arc, when you were kind of pushing back on the left a bit, and then they completely fucking obliterated you.
I
Not
remember.
not rhetorically,
yes.
but like you lost you burned all the bridges. Yeah, that's the culture.
Okay, but none of that got me even a micrometer closer to voting for Donald Trump,
Correct.
right? So something
Yes, it
different is
didn't. It
happening here on the
didn't.
other
And
side,
all of
right?
us- Right. And so
Yeah,
and all
being
of us are
divisive
different,
can
right?
be
And
effective sometimes. And I'm just saying, in the way that you guys are being divisive at times, I think it is less effective. You can take advantage of people's discontent, right?
it's not just being divisive.
Okay, wait. So wait,
But
what
sure.
part of the culture of the left was it that drove you away from? I'm just curious. I need to hear from one of the rare moderates.
This is the problem too, because like nothing that I could possibly say in a sentence or two is going to satisfy anybody, because this is a process that happened over a long period of time. But it's the purity testing and the spiraling. It's the basically anti-racist racism. It's the
Okay, well here, well, okay. So when you say the purity testing, right? Did it bother you that for Donald Trump, like if you didn't carry like water for all of the insane shit that he was saying, that they would like try to excise you basically from the fucking party, that everybody seemed to fall in line behind like Make America Healthy Again?
because I've literally never been a part of that. That's what I'm also trying to express. It's like you could see my vote as similarly to not voting.
Okay. I gotcha.
There are also
So wait,
people, in fact,
just
who
so I
feel
can
like
understand.
me, who just hated Trump enough that they decided to vote against him, but still are completely disaffected from the left. And so their
Okay,
vote is
so
not
if
Tally.
somebody were to clone Hitler and bring him back to life, and he were to run for a political party, since he hasn't had a party yet, you don't know what it's like. You'd try out the neo-Nazi party just to see what it's like, because the other two have been bad, or
yes, Destiny. I would vote for Hitler. Yes,
Okay.
I'm glad that you're accurately representing the situation.
thank you, gotcha. Okay, I was just trying to
So-
understand.
So Tally, I mean, before we got pulled into this, you and I were having a side conversation, and I brought up, for example, as one of 1,000 possible examples, because you're right, it is a death by 1,000 cuts thing. There was that, like in 2023-ish, there was that arc where you had trans people claiming they wanted to get into lesbian spaces, and you being a lesbian, that probably bothered you a little bit, possibly. And like it's instances like that, but just so many of them over the course of, say, the past 5 years that probably cause you to turn away from the left. And I understand that. I get it. However, I just don't understand why.
To that, though? What was my response to that when you brought that up?
Well, you said it didn't bother you personally, but that it was like a type of thing.
I think that's... Yes, I do think that like radicalized some people, but yeah, no, for me, I think that's like very bottom of the barrel. I don't think people are being raped by trans lesbians. Yes, I don't think this is an actual issue.
Sure, but like
more of an issue,
it is a
more
type
of an
of thing.
issue than
it is in this bucket.
Sure, yes, but it's because of the larger issue. So more of the issue than like trans lesbians on lesbian dating apps is the left wing idea that like sex isn't real, right? And that women and men are actually entirely equal, neck down and basically neck below, actually, depending on who you're asking. Because there are people who will go on to Piers Morgan and stuff, famous people on the left, and will say that yes, actually, you can have a giant fucking man if he announces that he's a woman the very next day playing women's sports. And you can say that these are sort of fringe things, and fine, sure they are. But to me, overall, they were enough to turn me off from the left because, again, I think it's detrimental. I think the left is believing things that are fundamentally untrue about the world, and it shapes the way that you want to implement policy. If you have a faulty view of the world, then your efforts to try to change the world are going to.
And on that note, $100. Hold on. First of all, I'm going to get my $100. $100 to say from Audacity to say, you know what was really mean? Steve's neck game. Thank you for the $100. Okay, now Destiny, then Soy Pill, then Dev. Yeah.
Do you think that trans women and the understanding of what a woman is more of a threat to women than women who are dying of sepsis now because abortion is like outlawed in 20 states or whatever?
So you would have to like I don't think that women dying of sepsis from abortion and stuff is actually as big a problem as people try to push it to be. But no, I don't think that trans women identifying as women is a threat to women. I don't. I'm not a crazy anti-trans.
Do you think the abortion thing in general is like do you think all the abortion bans are hurting women?
I think that I don't know.
Are you enjoying being
honestly,
curious, Stephen?
Like,
are you learning about the moderate voter right now?
I'm about to kill myself. You're about to see some real neck game with a fucking thick rope. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You guys don't want to appeal to them, then don't.
Who were resentful about them being told that the only way to vote in their interests, the only way to vote in their interest was to vote for basically abortion at any point in time. So I would like a more moderate position on abortion, but no, I don't want abortion to just be outlawed. And
okay, wait, let me build a bridge. Let me build a bridge. Wait, let me build a bridge at least. Wait, what state are you in? Do you say, or is it top secret?
I'm in a blue state. I've said it before, but
okay, that's okay. Okay, I'm just curious. Can we build a bridge? Can you agree with me that they should have forcibly tested all of the dead little girls in Texas to see if there were any fetuses inside the body so we can get an accurate death count? In case like one of them were pregnant, we didn't know. Like they did with the woman in Georgia where she was like 5 weeks pregnant and then they kept her body alive for like 6 months. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page, right? We have equal harms and everything, right? I just want to make sure
it would be definitely good to know. Yeah, if any of those teenage girls were pregnant, that would be good to know.
Okay, Tally. I don't even. Tally, I want to re-ask you. I want to here. Let me just re-ask you a question from last week, because I still don't fully understand. I understand the objection to the far left craziness. I don't think anyone here is a far left crazy person. I just don't get why you chose to vote Trump instead of voting for third party or not voting. Why was that the message you sent?
Right. Sure. So again, the only viable third party candidate was Jill Stein. I was never voting for Jill Stein. Her entire platform was being an anti-Zionist.
What is viable about voting for Trump?
Well, that's my point. Exactly. So it didn't matter either way, and I wasn't going to vote for Jill Stein, so I voted Republican.
But you'll give him the extra numbers for the person who you apparently vehemently disagree on all of these policies, especially January 6th, right?
I wanted to be part of the trend that we saw in, what was it, like every single district where there was a trend moving to the right. I wanted to accurately represent my movement, which my move away from the left was not towards the Jill Steins of the world. My move away from the left was towards the center, which is in the direction of the right. Some of my views moved more in line with people on the right, but again, I'm still just a fucking centrist. I'm still a liberal. Okay. Like, I don't know what to say.
$50 from the witch's persona to say the panel is missing the point. The right doesn't shame people into voting by shitting on the left. They position the left as doing the shame. Think SJW, evangelicals, etc. Thank you for the $50.
Yeah, but then they do the shaming at the exact same time. Like they absolutely do.
They're just not shaming people for
No,
like not
they
being,
shame
being right
others.
enough. They're not doing
And
it.
it's
They're not being
especially to
like
the
you're
people
not
who
right enough. Shame on
They
you.
literally
They're being like
excise
you're
Kyle,
stupid.
No,
Joe
they are.
Rogan,
No, they,
Tommy
I mean,
Lauren.
they do
Like
that.
they do this all the time. What are you
To
talking
bring it
about?
back into the fold, yeah.
Totally, yes,
Yeah, they are
totally
increasingly
make loyalty
purity
requests.
politicking, and it's bad for them. It's in
All
fact
three of those things
increasingly harmful
happened
for them.
before Trump won, just to be clear.
Well, and
Yep.
none of those
And
things
Tommy
matter to
Lauren
me
is
because
also falling
because
out again,
don't-
which is good. And
don't
if we
identify with those people.
imagine what social capital we would have if, say, for
If you were just
example,
a
some of
little
our
bit
biggest
nicer, the mining
left
meme.
content creators had
No,
built a
it's not
social
being nice.
rapport with people. Yeah, being nice to people is called social rapport. Okay, imagine how much more effective we could be if they weren't shaming. For example, you know who's they're not shaming? The Republicans aren't shaming the middle. It's pretty simple.
True. Okay, gang. This has been, I don't know if it's been productive at all, but it's certainly been profitable. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to give each of you a brief shout out. Tell people where they can find you. $50 from Hope to say it like so Zoomers can understand. Magafieds like Cobra Kai, loud, aggressive, and reckless. The left wins by being Miyagi-Do. Stay calm, let them overreach, then punish the mistakes. You will not beat them at their own game. Thank you for the $50. But give closing statements, and then we're just going to, I got to do other things. We're going to let Soy Pill go first. Go ahead, let Destiny have the last word. Soy Pill, go.
Yeah, so Kyla, again, I know you perceive me as bad faith in this debate, and I promise you I was really genuinely trying to understand. But the problem with your argument, which does make sense to me, is that it is an incredibly vague thing. There are a lot of lines that can't be drawn. And yeah, sure, there are times, I 100%, I would never disagree with the fact that there are times where an edgy joke or a certain kind of behavior is going to turn off people in the middle that we need to win over. My point is that the amount of energy that needs to go into policing ourselves and making sure we don't say the wrong thing in these spaces is completely disproportionate to the amount of energy and the people we can win over just by having better messaging and better policy. And you can look at all of these people that are able to disseminate these ideas and win those people over. I don't want to waste time walking on eggshells. I don't want to waste time on Tali and describing like, hey, I know you have all of these principles, but this one little thing is going to push you over to voting for this other person. I just don't care. It's not worth the time. It's not worth my energy. I'm going to try to get people out to vote who are going to vote based on the principles of what the left is going to deliver. Because if the platform of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was so fucking good, apparently people didn't know. That's what needs to happen. Not, oh, whoops, I was too mean. Ooh, whoops, I was edgy at the wrong time. That's, I think, completely a waste of time. But yeah, I was not trying to misunderstand you. I genuinely didn't.
Okay. Ollie.
Thanks for letting me jump in, guys. Great to meet you, Destiny. Big fan. Good to talk to all of you guys. Kyla, hopefully we'll reschedule soon. And Dev, thanks for chatting with me. I hope we can do it again. I really like talking to you, and I appreciate your insight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kyla.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to waste that much time on it. These two will probably both notice that I don't think I've DM'd them about how they've talked to people. I don't think I've done much on wasting time other than being brought to this panel and sharing my position, which is about political efficacy. I think that if you are just conservative fatigued, that's totally fine. And you just don't want to deal with it anymore. I think that's fair because I think Republicans have been fucking horrible. I'm just saying it's ineffective. The right is willing to cozy up to moderates and make them feel safe and warm and happy and pat their back. And those moderates who are oftentimes vibe-based will vote for them. And I think that we need to do the same. And I think that we are losing out on opportunity by not doing so. Not asking for tone policing. I'm not asking for no edgy jokes. Fucking obviously. It's my entire platform. I'm just talking about being effective and that when we're not being effective, don't cope. If you're just mad at Republicans and want to be mean to them, just say that. That's fine with me. But don't pretend that we're being effective. It's not effective except for very specific individuals. There is times when shame is effective. I do not think that it is most of these times. And if either of you, Soy or Stephen, would want to talk to me about it more, we can, so that it's less quibblesome and we get less bogged down in different criticisms for different people.
Thank you for being
There's
here,
a great
Kyla.
book. I'm going to be super quick. There's a great book about shame. So You've Been Publicly Shamed by John Ronson. Highly recommend everyone in the audience and on the panel read it.
Dev, go ahead.
Thanks for having me on again. It's good talking to you all. Destiny, I know you disagree with my view on this, but I do think it's correct. I think Haidt's research shows it. I think that the right does, in general, value loyalty more than the left. The left values self-criticism more than the right. The right wing is currently fracturing because they view Trump and the Epstein files as this big betrayal, and it's based off of loyalty or violating that loyalty. Meanwhile, the left does way more purity testing than the right, because that is a negative form of what criticism is. On some level, I think the right wing just has a natural advantage when it comes to this sort of edgy speech, because loyalty allows them to ignore hypocrisy. And leftists don't do that. Like liberals don't ignore hypocrisy, but right wingers do, because they have different moral values here. Because the left generally is more focused on criticism rather than loyalty, that highlights the hypocrisy. So I think in this conversation, in this domain, the left just always has a natural disadvantage. That's that.
Okay. Thanks for being here, Dev. Talk more next time. You were kind of window dressing for most of it, but Destiny.
That's a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, Destiny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that there are like these political phenotypes that emerge from people where the left doesn't like loyalty as much as the right. I think that these are cultural values that are driven a lot by our political leaders and by our political commentators. I think we should drive it a little bit more on the left. I'm not saying we need to be horrible and evil people. I'm just saying that there have been great men in history, okay, who have demonized their political opponents to some extent, and they've done it to unbelievable ends, okay? This guy was the Time Magazine Person of the Year in 1938, and he managed to kill 13 million people because of how strongly he held his convictions and how much he dehumanized him, okay? And even if ultimately Hitler killed himself, I'm just saying there are things that we can learn from these political leaders to unite our countrymen and do great things.
Things we can learn from Hitler. Okay, maybe that'll be a panel topic another day. Gang,
Silly.
if you enjoyed this content, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching this. Well, you won't be watching this on Twitch because we're not streaming this on Twitch. But if you're on Kick, hit the follow button. It won't hurt. We got some shows coming up next week. I don't know what they are. My brain's fried. I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.